Dad can't even find a reliable partner with $300. Immediately set me up with a female CEO as a wife. Package 168. Never comes home. Also throws in a black card with no limit for me to spend freely. To avoid disturbing her date with her white moonlight, I consciously took the black card and kept spending at the club. In a luxurious private room, Xu Yan Shu's phone rang. She gave the screen a casual glance. She picked up her glass and sipped leisurely. Lu Jinian, sitting next to her, watched her. His eyes held love and restraint. Yan M.I. Today is your wedding anniversary. Why are you here? What will Ji Yu Haoming think of me? Su Yanbing's voice was quite negotiating. You don't have to worry about him. Then her phone rang again. This time she picked it up and took a look. After 2 years of marriage, this is the first time I used her card. Su Yanbing's fingers moved up and down the screen. He smirked slightly. Lu Jinian pursed his lips and replied, Yanbing, why don't you just go back? Xu Yan's mouth. Another message popped up frequently. Your account has a spending of $188,888. For the first time, I felt the joy of spending without looking at the price. Enjoying service as if treated like a god. The consumer desires suppressed for over 20 years became increasingly uncontrollable, causing Su Yanbing's phone to ring from time to time. She didn't look again. After a meal, her hand was. Only after settling the bill did she take a glance. She was just about to put away her phone. Then her best friend called her. May's voice couldn't hide her laughter. Sister Yanbing, I just saw your husband come to the meeting. In one fit of anger, she made 7 calls. If you don't come again, I'm afraid her head will turn into a green grassland. Su Yanbing was so angry she laughed. Ji Yu Haoming would go to the club. And it's a woman. How is this possible? May secretly sent her a photo. Don't say that your husband looks like this today. I almost didn't recognize him. In the photo, the man had delicate and handsome features. Dressed in a black suit jacket, exuding luxury. Wen Mumu continued to tease. Can you recognize that this is your husband? Su Yanbing once again felt like she was blind. How could this possibly be Shang Haoming? At this moment, Lu Jinian continued speaking. Yan Bing, why don't you just go back? I can go watch the movie by myself. Su Yanbing put away her phone. Accompanied Lu Jinian to the movies, unfazed. Lu Jinian posted something on his social media, commemorating the premiere of his first movie. 20 minutes later, Su Yanbing received a notification of the card transaction. Ji Yu Haoming recharged 1 million at a certain entertainment club. She completely lost her composure. Left the cinema with a cold expression. In another private room of the club, I enjoy lounging on the sofa, sipping on a drink that costs hundreds of thousands per bottle. A girl with an incredibly attractive figure, providing attentive service. They were surrounding me, massaging my shoulders and legs. I couldn't help but comfortably close my eyes. This service is simply paradise on earth. Even at home, they treated the original owner like a decoration. As a result, I ended up transmigrating into the love-struck male supporting character with the same name in the book. The original owner was born into a top elite family, adored by everyone. Yet I had to chase after the girl Su Yanbing for 5 years. But in Su Yanbing's eyes, there was only her white moonlight. In the end, it was forced. Xu Yan had no choice but to accept the arranged marriage and marry me. After marriage, Su Yanbing often didn't come home. Thinking back to when I had a monthly salary of 3,000 and died from staying up all night reading novels. The original owner couldn't stand being neglected and started to cause trouble. In the end, it led to a tragic outcome of family ruin and death. It's simply squandering a good hand. I clicked my tongue and shook my head, facing the club manager's promotion. Acting with a strong aura, topped up Su Yanbing's card with 1 million. Su Yanbing pushed open the private room, and saw me fondling a woman's thigh, unable to resist. The touch feels nice. How long have you been practicing this? The girls eagerly displayed their long legs. Brother, I have one too. Do you want to feel one? Brother, I have one too. Just look at what they have. I'm about to bleed from my nose just from watching. The life of the rich is quite enjoyable. I was just about to reach out again. Immediately, a sharp reprimand came through. Get out of here all of you. I didn't expect Su Yanbing to show up. Good times interrupted. Reluctantly, I pinched the waist of the pure girl. You all go out first. Brother will find you when he's free. Su Yanbing's face was as cold as ice, as if it could kill a cow. Soon, the room was quiet with just the two of us left. I sat on the sofa and examined her. She truly was the woman the original owner fell in love with at first sight. This face instantly made the girls just now seem dim in comparison. She just stood there with her hands on her hips. The charm he exuded was droll-worthy, just as I was getting captivated. Then I heard Su Yanbing's angry voice. Using my money to cuckold me here. Ji Yu Haoming. Do you really think I wouldn't dare to do anything to you? Su Yanbing examined me with a cold face. With sharp brows, cold eyes, and a high nose bridge. His features were deep and well-defined. The collar was unbuttoned, revealing a sexy Adam's apple. She had never seen such a handsome Ji Yu Haoming, and there was not a hint of panic from being caught. Compared to that man who was just crazily jealous 2 hours ago, it was like 2 different people. I said with confidence. What about your money? We are a couple. Isn't your money just my money? You can spend money to have fun and party with your white moonlight. Why can't I spend money to find someone to keep me company? I'm not afraid of her at all. The book repeatedly depicts Su Yanbing's disgust towards the original character. Don't push your luck with me. In short, her touching me is equivalent to self-harm. Su Yanbing laughed in anger. Stop being so hypocritical. You deliberately made such a fuss by using my card. Not living. It's just to let it go this time. I raised my gaze to look at her. I gently held her hand. Then you left Lu Jinian to come over here. Does that mean I'm more important to you than Lu Jinian? Su Yanbing's face instantly showed a hint of. I said come in. It's reached a point where even a touch makes me feel sick. This is the last time. If I see you like this again, then our marriage is also at an end. After saying that, she disdainfully pushed me away. I picked up a tissue from the side to wipe my hands. Just like it's written in the book. Disgusted by any physical contact with me, I almost chuckled out loud, rubbed my chin, sat back down on the sofa with legs crossed, not even letting me touch. I have long stopped wanting this marital relationship. Throw the divorce agreement over here now. If I hesitate for a second, Ji Haoming is a dog. Su Yanbing paused her actions and glanced at me. A smile slowly spread at the corners of her mouth. Divorce? Are you sure? He married her so passionately back then. Just now he looked like he was insatiably thirsty for her. Hearing the word divorce come from this man's mouth is simply a huge joke. My gaze lingered on her face for a moment before moving down, finally landing on her long legs. Or let me touch you. Either divorce me. Su Yanbing's face instantly darkened. He called my assistant right in front of me. Draft a divorce agreement. Deliver it to the house first thing tomorrow. I picked up the unfinished drink beside me. I finished the drink without wasting it and put the glass down. Then, I stood up. You chose. Don't regret it. Su Yanbing's beautiful willow-leaf eyebrows were knit together. Just as I was about to say something, I completely ignored her and turned to leave. Su Yanbing stood there in a daze, watching. I was increasingly sure that I was drunk. It was out of character for me to dare to challenge her and bring up divorce. When I got home, I went straight upstairs to my room. Ji Haoming, who was completely devoted to Su Yanbing, was oblivious. It was only after my figure disappeared that she realized. I sat down on the sofa. The man who wanted to divorce her tonight appeared in my mind. I couldn't smile anymore. The laughter was gone. She wanted to see what it would look like when the divorce agreement was thrown in front of me tomorrow. Thinking of this, Su Yanbing got up and went upstairs. I paused in my tracks. Then I heard my voice coming from inside. Today is a good day. Everything I wish for can come true. Tomorrow will also be good. 1,000 treasures await. Su Yanbing listened to me howling like a ghost in my drunken stupor. She paused, wanting to stop me from going insane. She turned the doorknob only to realize I had locked the door from the inside. The man who usually tried every way to sleep with her as soon as she got home. Now he had actually locked the door from the inside. My singing continued to spill out. I believe I am who I am. I believe in tomorrow. I believe youth has no horizon. Su Yanbing looked at me in this drunken frenzy. In the end, she turned around and left. The room I'm in is the master bedroom. Because Su Yanbing wouldn't agree to stay with the original owner, I went into the room. She chose the guest room. Now this place has become the original owner's room. I looked at the spacious and luxurious room. The wardrobe was filled with a dazzling array of beautiful clothes. Finally lying on the comfortable and soft big bed, a song is sung, comfortably between the two people. She glanced at my room. It feels like a dream. Seems incomplete, real. On the third morning, Su Yanbing got up. Seeing that there was no breakfast prepared on the dining table as usual, there was no me waiting for her with eager eyes. She glanced at my room inquiry. Couldn't help but smirk. As expected, this man got scared after sobering up, wanting to be a turtle and hide. Remembering how I was so determined to get a divorce last night, she instantly smirked. Threw the divorce agreement on it. Seems incomplete, left the company. I have never been in such a comfortable bed. So having slept until I naturally woke up, it was already noon. Seeing myself still in the luxurious room, confirming that I really have transmigrated, I once again went over the plot in detail. In the book, our marriage lasts less than 3 years. In other words, in less than a year from now, Su Yanbing will make my family go bankrupt and leave me with nothing. The book's description of business warfare is just glossed over. I don't even know what methods Su Yanbing is using. But there's a public confusion. But the lives of wealthy people are tough. What a hassle. I got up, tidied myself, and went to eat. I saw the divorce agreement on the coffee table. I immediately picked up the pen and signed it. Even hesitating for a second felt like disrespecting the divorce. Then I took out Su Yanbing's card from my pocket. I placed it on top of the divorce agreement. Then I took the important items of the original owner back home. My mom saw me come back. She immediately put down what she was doing and came to greet me. Chet, what time did you come home? Did Su Yanbing kick you out? I smiled and shook my head, saying, truly, there's nothing. My mom clearly looked a bit concerned. Usually at this time, I'm just busy delivering lunch for Su Yanbing. How could I possibly remember them? My mom came forward and took my hand, saying, then why didn't you call ahead when you came back? So I could have the staff prepare your favorite dishes in advance. When did you change your hairstyle? It looks really good. This outfit looks nice too. You look super handsome. My mom looked at me, her eyes filled with joy. While talking to me, she also called for Aunt Zhang to make a few of my favorite dishes. Every move she made showed her delight at seeing her son. I'll call your dad. And have him come back for lunch too. I couldn't stop her in time. My mom's call had already gone through. I took the chance to glance around the house. The more I looked, the better I felt. After my mom finished the call, she pulled me close to ask about my well-being. It was clear that the original owner had a good marriage. My mom had always been worried that I wasn't happy. You should definitely share any issues with your dad and me. If something's wrong, you must tell your dad and mom. We will always be your support. I looked at this beautiful and warm mom in front of me, thinking of her unfortunate ending in the book. I couldn't help but step forward to embrace her. Firmly in my heart, I decided to rewrite their ending. My mom's body stiffened for a moment. How long has the son been able to embrace her like this? What time should I follow? Sorry for making you worry. It won't happen again in the future. Listening to my words, my mom's eyes turned red instantly. Ever since I got married, the time I've returned has decreased. Even when coming back, it's always because of Yan. Back then she said that a forcibly bent melon isn't sweet. But the son wants her not to marry. They all gave. Always pampered by them. I want to marry Su Yanbing. They then complied with me. After marriage, they saw that I wasn't living happily. Watching my pride and brilliance fade bit by bit. Watching my world seem lonely. The remaining Su Yanbing began to be unable to distinguish right from wrong. As a mother, she feels it deeply in her heart. I could hear the choked sob in her voice. Seeing my mom with red eyes in tears, I used my hand to wipe her tears. I smiled at her and said, "No direct translation, likely a typo or a fragment. Look at me, I'm fine now, aren't I?" My mom looked at her son with relief. She felt that I had changed a lot this time I came back. It was like returning to a long time ago. When the meal was ready, my dad also came back. He also brought Ji-Yu Wanner back with him. Ji-Yu Wanner is the daughter of my dad's good friend. She is 3 years older than me. After my parents passed away, she lived with her grandmother. But it was difficult for the elderly to raise a child. The Ji-Yu family took her in to care for her like a daughter. They continually supported her in life and studies. Until she graduated from university. During university, she worked at the Ji-Yu group. After graduation, she became a senior executive in the company. I stole a glance at her. The gaze she casts upon me. The original character in the book always treated her as an older sister. When pursuing Su Yanbing, I often told her how much I liked Su Yanbing. Then I sought her advice and strategies. The way she presented herself in front of the original character was that of an elder sister, pampering me, protecting me, helping me, never crossing the line. Even the readers didn't think much of it, until they learned that Su Yanbing and I were getting divorced. Ji-Yu Wanner came to find me. Seeing me at the scene of the car accident, she trembled as she held me, looking at me, covered in blood. Her eyes instantly turned red. She kept wiping the blood from the corner of my mouth. She spoke in a dazed voice. "How Ming? I regret it. Regret not stopping you back then." The deep affection in Ji-Yu Wanner's eyes seemed like an unbreakable mist. At this moment, she didn't want to hide it anymore. She wanted me to know. She has liked me for many years. She desperately wanted to hold on to me. Yet no matter what, it can't be held onto. I could only watch my life gradually fading away before her eyes. Seeing this, I looked at Ji-Yu Wanner and changed the subject. I have mixed feelings of love and hate for her character. At that moment, my mom smiled and approached. "Wanner is here too." I also greeted her. "Sister Wanner." This line seems incomplete or unclear in context. There was a hint of affection in the words. "Aren't you the one who delivers her lunch every day? How could I bear to return at noon?" I smiled and shook my head. "On such a hot day. She thinks sending meals is too much trouble for me. They said I shouldn't send her anymore." Once I said this, it wasn't just Ji-Yu Wanner. Even my talking parents looked over at me, clearly skeptical. Sure enough, the one who cares about me the most. No one believes Su Yan will be fine. It was also at that moment for me. "Sister Wanner, how's the company been lately?" Upon hearing this, Ji-Yu Wanner couldn't help but glance at me. "Recently, I have been discussing several major projects. To put it straight, the company can reach the next level." I looked at her, puzzled. Taking on several big projects. In case the funds don't circulate, it will break the cash flow. The family will just sit by and watch. Ji-Yu Wanner smiled and said, "Several major projects. The company can handle." I shook my head and looked at her seriously. "I think the market environment right now isn't great. The most important thing for the company is to seek stability. We need to ensure there is sufficient cash flow to deal with the risks the company might face." I couldn't say it directly, so I could only give an indirect reminder. Ji-Yu Wanner looked at me. There was a hint of scrutiny in her gaze. "How Ming? When did you start being interested in company matters?" I realized the original person never cared about the company's affairs. I stroked my chin and glanced at Ji-Yu Wanner. I still couldn't help but remind her again. "Regarding the project, you and my dad must consider it carefully, especially considering the project, and whether the risks it may bring can be borne." Wanner looked at me. She seemed to want to read something from my face. "Did you hear something from Su Yanbing? She wants us to give up the competition, to hand the project over to her. It's purely a love-struck situation. Previously, the family helped the Su family with stocks, suddenly wanting to stop them from taking the project. It's normal for Ji-Yu Wanner to think this way." I shook my head and said, "I've been having this dream lately. I dreamt that the family business went bankrupt. So I'm really worried." Ji-Yu Wanner fell silent. But it was clear she didn't believe me. I hesitated repeatedly. I glanced at my parents not far away. I moved closer to her and raised my hand to cover my mouth. Actually, I secretly heard that Su Yanbing wanted to bring down the Ji-Yu family. After saying that, I pulled away. Then I saw that Ji-Yu Wanner's ears turned red. I didn't expect this would be enough to flirt with her. I awkwardly pretended not to see. I explained in a lowered voice. "I'm worried that Dad and Mom won't be able to handle it. I don't dare to tell them. I don't understand anything about the company. I can only leave this to you." Slang, get it together. He was singing a bit off-key while looking at me. "Ji-Yu Haoming, what about you?" Slang, to get ready or to smooth things over. I didn't have time to say it. My mom just walked over. She called us to eat. I looked at the table full of delicious food. Instantly, my mood improved. My mom served me food. "Eat more. You've lost weight recently." I looked at the table full of good food. Seems like a placeholder or brand, not translated. I haven't had home-cooked meals for too long. That's why I've lost weight from being hungry. Once I stay at home for a few days, I'm sure I'll gain it back. My mom heard me say this. She kept serving me food. "You want to eat home-cooked meals? From now on, Mom will have someone deliver it to you every day. I waved my hand. I will live at home from now on. For a moment, my parents and Gu Wanner all stopped what they were doing and looked at me. I also paused my actions. I looked at them very seriously. Mom and Dad. Sister Wanner. I plan to divorce Su Yanbing. I used to think that as long as I worked hard, I could make her fall in love with me. But I now know that matters of the heart cannot be forced. I don't want to love her anymore. I just want to come back and be with you all now. I spoke very freely, without sadness or reluctance. But the original owner's feelings for Su Yanbing were too deep. In the eyes of the Gu family, they were deeply rooted. My parents looked at me. They didn't believe me when I said I could just let it go. Why aren't you saying anything? You're not disgusted with me, are you? You don't want me to come back and be a freeloader, right? Seeing me say this, my mom reacted and smiled brightly. How could that be? You can come back to accompany Mom. Mom is so happy, she can't wait. My dad picked up his phone and transferred another 10 million to my card. If you want to come back, just come back. The family can support mother and child. Looking at my parents in front of me, I was somewhat touched. The book on national bankruptcy, family bankruptcy situation. Unable to realize that his own daughter-in-law is the mastermind behind it. High blood pressure caused a brain hemorrhage. Couldn't wake up and became a vegetable. The taste was refined. This color was done. Became severely depressed and ultimately ended it all. I want to change all of this. I also served them some vegetables. Just about to put down my chopsticks. A soft voice suddenly sounded. What about mine? Gu Wanner was watching me without me noticing when it started. Her face showed a hint of jealousy from being pampered by her parents. I glanced at her. Gave her another piece of meat. On the other side, the Su group. The assistant walked into the CEO's office with the documents. Su box. Sir didn't come to deliver lunch today. Su Yanbing glanced at the wrist. Just a little more patience. I already brought her lunch a long time ago. Turns out, he was afraid I would divorce him. She didn't even dare to give herself any food. Hey. She raised her eyes and gave the little assistant a faint glance. You have eaten. Do you want me to call and ask for you? The little assistant quickly shook her head. No, no need. I just casually mentioned it. Actually, every meal that was delivered. In the end, it all went into her belly. After eating for a long time, one gets used to it. In the end, the little assistant was really curious. Couldn't help but ask. Sir, this is the first time he hasn't come to deliver food. Seeing Su he looking unhappy, she quickly grabbed the signed documents and left. It's rare for Su Yanbing to have a day without being disturbed. After finishing work, last night's image of Gu Haoming in a suit flashed through her mind. In her eyes, there was no hint of wanting to divorce her. Shu Yan slightly curled her lips. She headed straight for the bar. As soon as she entered the private room, she noticed a few people looking over at her. She sat on the sofa, looking at a few people still staring at her. She immediately turned sour. Why are you all staring at me? Are you crazy? Best friend, go ahead. The best friend is getting stronger. She tentatively asked. Why isn't Gu Haoming following you anymore? Su Yanbing shot them a cold glance. Didn't you all used to hate him following you? Now that he's not coming, isn't that just perfect? Don't be hypocritical. Lin Shanyao picked up on their words and expressions. She poured a glass of wine for Su Yanbing. We're mainly worried about you. Afraid that others won't care about you anymore. You're starting to care about him again. As Su Yanbing's close friend, they know better than anyone where Su Yanbing used to be. Gu Haoming would follow her there. Gu Haoming wouldn't go to the club to look for a princess at all. He definitely wouldn't leave Su Yanbing behind to go travel in Haicheng. Su Yanbing's entire face was devoid of expression. If your eyes are useful, then you should donate them all. She let out a laugh. Hi. As long as you don't care about him, let's all have a drink together. To celebrate Yan Bing's brief escape from her troubles, Su Yanbing raised her glass to drink. She didn't pay any attention to what they were saying at all. Until, while drinking, Lin Xinyao spoke while holding her phone. Sister Yan Bing. Although Gu Haoming's forced marriage proposal once humiliated you, his looks and wealth are more than enough to match you. How did you manage to keep him from touching you for 2 years? When I used to only see Yan, I had the satellites of every friend around her, so they could all see my social circle. In the past, my social circle was all about Su Yanbing. It was either showing off my love or declaring my status, or just little essays about how much I love her. Because I knew Su Yanbing had turned off my social circle. When I posted the little essays, these few close friends often teased her in the group. But that was just 2 hours ago. They discovered that I deleted friends, everything related to Su Yanbing in the circle, and then posted it in Haicheng's moments. Su Yanbing slammed the wine glass she was holding onto the ground. A beautiful photo of watching the sunset by the seaside in Haicheng. It's still one of those 9 grid types. The caption is about enjoying the most beautiful scenery with the person who loves me the most. Su Yanbing noticed everyone was looking at their phones. She casually glanced. It's a photo of me smiling happily by the seaside. Qin Shiyue said, staring at her phone. It feels like Gu Haoming has changed a lot all of a sudden. Wen Mumu nodded. Looking at him like this. Quite handsome, actually. Lin Xinyao smiled slightly. This is probably what it looks like to no longer love someone. It went crash. At this moment, she also posted a photo of me wearing beach shorts. Her delicate face was as cold as frost. Su Yanbing looked at them coldly. Are you all crazy? Come out for a drink. You all are chatting about Gu Haoming while holding your phones. After washing up, Yanbing slammed the door. Ji had a confused expression. Wasn't she indifferent? Why is Su Yanbing so furious? Laughing like crazy. She doesn't actually like Ji Yuming, does she? Lin Xinyao said with narrowed eyes. It's unknown whether she likes Ji Yu Haoming or not. On the contrary, I kind of like it. Wen Mumu and Qin Shiyue both looked over at her. Are you joking? Su Yanbing sits in the car, pulling out my phone to open the work app, flipping through my friend's circle. Only now do I realize that I traveled to Haicheng. In the photo, my eyes are filled with laughter. It seems like light is spilling out from within. Whether it's the profile with his head held high, still in front of the camera, every gesture of his radiates happiness. His eyes seem to hold the beauty of everything in the world. This is Ji Yu Haoming. It was the previous one who didn't have love for her in his eyes. It is just anger towards others. Love involves unruly rich kids from Beijing. But now I feel it's worth it. One spot. Su Yanbing doesn't believe the person in the photo is the real me. She is the house, possibly referring to a position of power. Ji Yu Haoming is avoiding the topic of divorce with her, posting my own photos on social media. I just want to please her. But I know what my purpose is. Yet she is still affected by these three. Long Ping's sentence won't end like that. Long Ping's plan has been discussed. On the other side, I enjoyed my first trip in my life. Haicheng was also the place I wanted to visit most when I was alive. A seafood feast with a gentle breeze. Enjoying the night view while eating. It gives me only one feeling. The world is so beautiful. When I was alive in my previous life, my wallet just isn't enough. I haven't had the chance to experience this kind of life at all. There really isn't anything beautiful worth recording. A person is not that big. There are so many beautiful moments to record. For example, delicious food and beautiful scenery. There is also the love of family. The next morning, I wanted to go scuba diving. My mom spent money to hire me a private beauty coach. He took me diving. I enjoyed weaving between the corals. The joy of playing surrounded by schools of fish. It was relaxing and fun. At the Su Group's office. The group office. I received a call from my mom in the middle of it. Son, how did Ji Yu Haoming go traveling with another woman? Did you have a fight with him? Su Yanbing frowned. There is stock. Mom Su said seriously. Without him, he wouldn't be this close to another woman. He even deliberately posted it to his social circle. Su Yanbing checked my social circle. She saw that a few minutes earlier, I shared a diving video. I even specially added some text. The diving. It's hard to describe in words. It's difficult to for. There was a woman in the video. At times, she held onto my arm. At times, she supported me a bit. It looked like her behavior was intimate. Because I was wearing the diving gear, I couldn't see the woman's face. But I could tell she had a great figure. There were comments from mutual friends in the comment section. Showing off love leads to a quick end. I don't want to consume this kind of fare. What a perfect match. I won't say who envies me. Other classmates also noticed. Everyone mistakenly thought it was Yan Shui, tagging her in the best friend group. She smiled lightly. After divorce, there is still a 3-day cooling off period. Ji Yu Haoming is a bit too anxious about this. Can't blame Ji Yu Haoming either. At a young age, he can handle it. The reply to them was a system prompt. Su Yanbing left the group. One by one, eyes. Su Yanbing felt quite confident inside. How could Ji Yu Haoming ever bear to divorce her? His social media updates have always been for himself. From the heavens now. Although Ji Yu Ming has not contacted her, his social media occasionally updates with new posts. Updating so frequently. It's obvious it's for himself. Send this diving video. This is similar to last time when she ordered female models at the club. To draw her own attention. She wanted to feel a sense of urgency. He needs to give her a way out. Shu Yan lightly took a bite. Su Yanbing tossed her phone aside. He doesn't come to disturb her. Ji Yu Haoming is overestimating himself too much. She called her assistant over. But of course. Bagu's drastic changes were frequently in her thoughts. Occasionally, it popped into her mind. It made her feel a bit irritable and restless. Continued to handle work. Filled her schedule with work. That night she brought Lu Jinian to their affluent family's banquet. Soon, Su Yanbing took Lu Jinian to the banquet and hit the trending topics. But that wedding of Su Yanbing and Ji Yu Haoming. The sensational grand wedding that shook the internet. The live broadcast has left a lasting impression on everyone. Both the Ji Yu and Su families are not to be trifled with by journalists. No one dares to make a fuss about their private lives. However, every time Ji Yu Haoming sees the trending topics, he thinks Lu Jinian wants to seduce Su Yanbing, and goes to find trouble with him. He warns him and threatens to hit him. Su Yanbing returned to her hotel room. She saw the trending topics. Ji Yu Haoming flashed through her mind alternately, his crazy looks and travel photos. For some reason, she felt a hint of anticipation. She took a shower and went to bed. On the other side, I experienced diving in the morning. I went surfing in the afternoon. I can't even begin to describe how happy I was. In the evening, after taking a shower, I lay down and picked up my phone. I saw that the original owner's former informant sent me the trending topics about Su Yanbing and Lu Jinian. I took a glance. They were in the same frame without any scandal. I felt anxious for them. Just as I was thinking of telling them I no longer wanted to know everything related to Su Yanbing, Ji Yu Wanner called me on video. Are you having fun? I nodded. Quite happy. Ji Yu Wanner had just finished showering too. Still drying her hair with a towel. Since she just finished taking a shower, there was a bit more emotion in her gaze. Her skin looked more radiant. Her lips had a slight red tint with a hint of allure. I almost couldn't contain my desires. Ji Yu Wanner murmured as she looked at me. I want to go too. I glanced at her. Just focus on your job. I wasn't joking about what I said last time. It's true. The Su family will fall out with the Ji Yu family. You need to be on guard in advance. The company is counting on you. I paused my actions for a moment, staring straight at me. Aren't you afraid that I might be like Su Yanbing? Also scheming about the company? I smiled and shook my head, saying, not afraid. I believe in you, but... Ji Wanner looked at me, her beautiful eyes slightly warm. I didn't expect that this would flirt with her. I could only quickly end the conversation. Alright. I'm going to bed now. You should go to sleep early too. Ji Wanner said with an expectant look on her face. Remember to bring me a gift. I lay on the bed, thinking about Ji Wanner's unrequited love for the original owner for many years, planning to fulfill her little request. The next day, Su Yanbing woke up and opened her hands. The trending topic is still there, but Ji Haoming actually didn't look for her. There was no one with Lu Jinian either. She couldn't help but click on my social media again. I had just updated my status 5 minutes ago. It was me riding a rental at the tourist spot. A video of my mom touring around on an electric bike. My handsome looks in the video. So vibrant, it was like a spokesperson for happiness. It made the scenery along the way pale in comparison. This left Su Yanbing completely stunned. Ji Haoming hasn't come back and is still traveling. He has time to post on social media. He couldn't possibly have missed the trending topics. But he came back, and acted even more open, fuming with laughter. Threw the phone aside. This time he actually showed up. She wants to see how much longer I can hold on. Su Yanbing's schedule for the day was packed to the brim. In the evening, she returned to the hotel. Su Yanbing was so tired that she collapsed onto the sofa. She gazed at the warm light. Images of me joyfully riding an electric bike flashed through her mind. She took out her phone. She checked my moments. She saw that I had updated my status a few hours ago. The caption read, "There's no one as good as mom." In the 9-grid picture, I was either eating various local snacks, or flaunting some little trinkets I had bought. In the center was a photo of me and my mother. In the comments, my dad left a message. Isn't dad good enough? I quickly replied, dad is great too. Seeing this, Ji Weiner also came over to join in the fun. Hao Ming is really biased. I'm not that great. I felt somewhat helpless. Sister Wanner is the best. She's the best in the world. This seems out of context and needs clarification. Shu Yan seemed to be feeling a bit inquisitive after a few days. I hadn't contacted her for 3 days. I also hadn't reached out to her. Yet, she was getting happier day by day. Shu Yan wasn't comfortable inside. Su Yanbing felt uncomfortable in her heart. It felt like swallowing a dead fly, slightly nauseating. At that moment, her phone rang. I sent her a message. The tension in her chest suddenly dissipated. This man finally couldn't hold back anymore. She opened the chat with a hint of expectation. Her mood fluctuated as she clicked on our chat. But my words were very cold. So many signatures on the divorce agreement. Shouldn't we just finalize it? Su Yanbing looked at the screen. Her beautiful eyes trembled. Her hand holding the phone tightened again. She gripped the phone tightly. After a long while, she got up and walked out. She drove home. No matter when she returned, the house waiting for her with the lights on was completely dark. Only the streetlights outside were monotonously following their routine. She turned on the lights in the hall and walked in. The house was empty and desolate. Only the lonely outline of the waiting figure remained. Her card was placed on the divorce agreement on the coffee table. She picked up the divorce agreement to open. The handwritten name Shang Jiaoming stood out prominently. The paper in her hand was wrinkled from being squeezed. Emotions were rising and falling in her eyes. Ji Haoming. The man who was jealous of her just a few days ago. That he actually wants to divorce her. Su Yanbing was incredulous to the point of laughing. Meanwhile, in the Ji family, my mom is taking out the specialties from the big bag, taking them out to share with the family. These are all said to be delicious by Hao Ming. Brought some back for you all to taste. Everyone received the local specialties, happily expressing gratitude. The joy of sharing spreads throughout the house. My dad is having tea after the meal. Ji Wanner is on a work call. The house is big but it's not lonely at all. Warm and wonderful. I'm holding my phone, watching as Su Yanbing hasn't replied for a long time, thinking of giving her a call later. Ji Wanner sat next to me and asked, "Where's my gift?" I raised my gaze and met her clear eyes. There was a hint of expectation hidden in there. A woman with a filter effect. It's hard for me not to favor her. I got up and opened the suitcase. I took out 2 small night lights from inside. One is made of bone shell. Which one do you want? Ji Wanner glanced at both. Who is the other one for? I won't expose her little thoughts. For myself. Ji Wanner smiled sweetly. She picked up the bone shell night light and looked at it again and again. After my mom finished distributing the gifts, seeing the night light in my hand, she casually mentioned it back. This was made by Hao Ming himself. Ji Wanner heard this line. She looked up at me directly. The unexpected joy in her eyes was almost impossible to hide. Did you make this? The original owner only made things for Su Yanbing by hand. She has had a crush on the original owner for many years. The first time I received a gift I personally made for her. This kind of joy is understandable. I shot her a cold glance. You dislike it. If you dislike it, give it back to me. Ji Weiner immediately shook her head and said, forcing me to divorce and leave with nothing. In the book, Su Yanbing drives the Ji family to bankruptcy. I felt that there was hidden deep affection within. It almost overwhelmed me with the temptation of her beauty. I stood up holding my phone. I went back to my room to rest first. I returned to my room and opened my phone. I discovered that Su Yanbing had replied to my message. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. After saying that, she looked at me like this. If you don't mind, let's not finish. Let's get a divorce now, ahead of schedule. Does this mean the ending of the Ji family's bankruptcy can also change? I was in a great mood. Afraid of oversleeping. I even set an alarm clock. I woke up before the alarm went off the next day, thinking about regaining my freedom soon. I even dressed up on purpose. When I went downstairs, Dad had already finished breakfast and gone to work. My mom was trimming the flowers she brought back from the backyard. She called me over to have breakfast when she saw me. I was in a hurry. I found an excuse and hurriedly left. I planned to come back after the divorce and give them a surprise. The original owner could drive and had a driver's license. But I can't. I only know how to ride a small electric scooter. I was very poor before transmigrating, so I never learned to drive. The car I called in advance arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau. I took out my phone to call Su Yanbing. I arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau. When will you arrive? Duo. Fen Yan replied with 2 words. She made me wait under the shade until 9:30. I cursed her ancestors for generations. I saw Su Yanbing's car coming. I couldn't wait to go up. Su Yanbing looked at me through the car window. Why does this man seem to be getting more handsome? I walked towards Su Yanbing, facing the sunlight. She seemed to glow, making everything around us pale in comparison. I stopped in front of the car and knocked on the window. Su Yanbing lowered her gaze. Exiting the car, our eyes met. She was not in my eyes at all, and not a trace of sadness. Only a happy smile, carrying several lifetimes of feelings, different from what she had imagined. I merely glanced at her briefly. After saying that, I turned and walked toward the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Her steps were light, reflecting a sense of urgency. At this moment, Su Yan sought confirmation. I really want a divorce. She looked at my back. The scene of being forced into marriage floated in my mind. More than a year. Still as clear as yesterday. Being forced to marry me. It was a humiliation for her. From the moment we got married, she was thinking about the day she could avenge her past humiliation. I wanted a divorce even before this day arrived. I took a few steps. I saw her still standing in place. I frowned slightly. She came back and asked again. I looked at her silently. I suddenly had a bad feeling in my heart. Don't tell me you didn't bring your ID. You're here to get a divorce. Aren't you bringing your ID? Then hurry and have someone bring it to you. Su Yanbing kept looking at me with a cold expression. But she didn't say a word. I had a speechless expression. Just call someone. What are you waiting for? Only then did Su Yanbing lower her gaze slightly. She glanced at me indifferently. Safe return. Will do. We'll discuss the divorce later. The meeting makes me frown. Now that you're here, why go back again? Let's postpone the meeting a bit. It's not too late to go back after we finish the paperwork. You finally made it here. The variables for next time are too great. I don't want to wait. The reason I'm saying this is because. It's because in the book, Su Yanbing often postponed meetings because of Lu Jinian. Clearly, the meetings weren't that important. But I didn't expect that just after I said that. Su Yanbing's expression changed as she looked at me. It was as if I had committed an unforgivable sin. Nothing is more important than your divorce situation. His expression was icy cold, almost deadly. Gu Haoming. Do you think your issues are always the most important? Thousands of employees are. It's like a crime. You yourself. I was stunned for 2 seconds by her scolding. A miserable double dog. If Lu Jinian asked her to delay the meeting, it would be fine. I asked her to delay a meeting. It will only affect the employees' livelihoods. And the divorce is my own business. Isn't it hers? Su Yanbing didn't give me any time to react at all. Just leave. The divorce we agreed upon. In the end, she didn't bring her ID and was late. Clearly, I should be the one who's angry. But she slammed the car door and left with a dark expression. I was so angry I wanted to curse someone. I've even thought of a caption to celebrate being single for my social media. I've already decided where to go out tonight. As a result, the divorce didn't happen. I went to the supermarket and bought a ton of snacks. Then went to the GU group. Shu Yan came back after the meeting. Just saw me sitting on her office sofa playing games. I was still biting on a spicy strip. The whole office smelled like spicy strips. A huge pile of snacks on the coffee table. They're all things I would never eat before. Su Yanbing frowned in disgust. What happened to you? I was eating spicy strips while looking at my phone, not even lifting my head. Coming to wait for you. Su Yanbing paused and glanced at me. Walking back to her own space. She glanced at me and spoke. Eating snacks and playing games. Looks a bit lacking in image like a Beijing stock. Such a Gu Li. I raised my head to look at her while moving my hands. Wasn't the divorce paperwork not completed this morning? I know you're busy. I'll wait here until you're done. Let's go again. Su Yanbing looked at me coldly. I'm busy all day today. I took another glance at her. Half believing, half doubting. So when are you free? Su Yanbing picked up a document from the side. I will naturally contact you when I have time. I feel like she has changed her mind. She wants a divorce. How could she not find the time? But why would she change her mind? She despised the original character so much. Isn't divorce a relief? Hasn't she tormented me enough yet? Although the female lead in the book didn't say so, her attitude towards the original character clearly carries a sense of revenge for my forced marriage. The more I want her love, the more she makes me taste the pain of unrequited love. Now I want a divorce. Is she going to make me experience again the pain of wanting to leave but being unable to? I angrily stood up. Yan Shui, do you not want a divorce? I'm giving you 3 days. If you don't go with me to get the divorce in 3 days, then I will file for divorce myself. I'm not discussing this with you. I'm just informing you. After saying that, I picked up my snacks and was about to leave. Just then, Lu Jinian pushed open the office door and walked in. He saw fear flash in my eyes. Did I come at the wrong time? Just as Lu Jinian was about to leave the courtyard, Su Yanbing waved her hand and said, You came at the right time. Lu Jinian is the male lead in the novel, a character with a tragic background. His father was addicted to gambling and his mother was in poor health. During high school, His father couldn't pay off his debts. He started fighting from a young age. Su Yanbing saved him. And Su Yanbing signed him into the company. Made him a hot and popular star. As the male lead in the story. Kind, hardworking, and morally upright. He fell for her the moment she helped him. But he always felt he wasn't worthy of Su Yanbing and didn't dare to confess. He wanted to work hard to become better and worthy of her. After Su Yanbing was forced to marry. Even though Lu Jinian secretly loves Su Yanbing. Also adhering to the principle of not being the third party. Maintaining a friendship distance with her. And the novel largely features the perspectives of the male lead and the original character. The female lead's love for the male lead is portrayed through events. In the parts I've seen, there hasn't been a confession yet. So, the mutual unspoken love between the main leads. Gained infinite sympathy and anticipation from the readers. And the original character, this malicious villain. I'm being urged to finish my tasks every day. At this moment, I was planning to leave. Glancing at Su Yanbing, then at Lu Jinian. The speed of leaving was very fast. The smile on his face is very genuine. You two can chat slowly if you have something to discuss. I won't disturb you anymore. Walking past Lu Jinian. I can clearly feel that Lu Jinian dodged away. It's no wonder Lu Jinian is afraid of me. The original character always saw him as the third party ruining my marriage. Every time I see him, I want to teach him a lesson. I've even looked for someone to fight him several times. Now, in order to clear my name, I walked out of the office. He also thoughtfully closed the door. Lu Jinian looked at me leaving in confusion. Then looked at Su Yan Shui. Just saw her looking at it close. Her face was painted to the extreme. Wait for Lu Jinian to walk over carrying the specialty he brought back. Just saw the signature pen in Yan's hand. On a section of the document, Su Yanbing withdrew her gaze and looked up at him to ask, "You are?" Lu Jinian smiled and placed the bag on the table. "Local specialty from Zhangcheng. I think it's pretty good. So I brought you some. Thank you for helping my mom find a doctor." After speaking, his gaze looked at her with restraint. "Are you going to divorce Brother Haoming?" On the other side, I came out holding snacks. Encountered an assistant with documents who was going to find Su Yanbing for her signature. I stretched out my arm to block her. "You family have important matters now. Things like documents. Wait until Lu Jinian comes out to take it in." The little assistant looks at the office door. And looked at me again. I felt a bit dazed. Lu Jinian is inside. Mr. Gu surprisingly didn't go crazy with jealousy. Can still be stable here. I opened my snack bag. The little assistant saw the snack bag raised in front of her. As a foodie, she couldn't resist the temptation. She took a pack of spicy chicken feet. "Thank you, Mr. Gu." I chuckled. "Be a bit more perceptive in the future. When Lu Jinian comes to find Su Yanbing, just don't go in and disturb them." The little assistant nodded and didn't say anything. I dropped that line and left. By helping them, I am helping myself. They might as well quickly suppress their desire to be together. Let Su Yanbing finish the divorce procedures with me sooner. After all, getting a divorce requires evidence of a broken marital relationship. It seems quite troublesome too. The little assistant ate the spicy chicken feet while waiting for Lu Jinian to come out. Entering with the documents. Couldn't help but speak up. "Do you know what the sir just told me?" Su Yanbing glanced at her. The assistant continued. "The sir said Lu Jinian left. That's how I was able to come in. He also said that when Lu Jinian comes to see you in the future, I shouldn't come in to interrupt." Su Yanbing threw a document at the assistant. "I'm the one who pays your salary." The assistant caught the document. "Don't you think the sir has changed? He seems to no longer be jealous of you. This line seems incomplete or unclear. He seems to be trying to set you up with Lu Jinian." A smile tugged at the corners of Su Yanbing's mouth. "Have you been up to something recently?" The assistant immediately shut her mouth. She grabbed the signed document and escaped. Su Yanbing slammed the pen down on the table. The smile at the corner of her mouth gradually froze. Her gaze gradually withdrew. I walked out of Su Yanbing's company. I glanced at the time. It was almost noon. I hailed a cab directly to go home. I had lunch with my mom. I found a nearby driving school online. I called to inquire about driving lessons. After all, Curry has so many sports cars. I can look but not drive. It's really too painful. The original owner had a driver's license. I just need to learn how to drive. The driving school has a specialized training area. It's the most suitable. After making the appointment over the phone, I called a car to go to the driving school. Following the principle that money can get things done. The boss found a super nice beauty instructor for my driving lessons. The beautiful instructor taught me to drive one-on-one. I have to say, you get what you pay for. I felt like I was so stupid. But after one afternoon, the beautiful instructor didn't frown at all. She kept encouraging and comforting me. The emotional value was off the charts. I spent an entire afternoon. I finally managed to learn. To show my gratitude to the instructor, I invited her to dinner after we finished. Meanwhile, Su Yanbing had just left the company. She saw that Wen Mumu had sent her a message. "Yan Bing. Last time, it was our fault. Without considering your feelings. Tonight, we few were treating you to dinner. 20 minutes. While smiling, I felt a chilling gaze. I caught a glimpse of a familiar figure. The man smiled particularly. Su Yanbing slowed her pace a bit. I heard myself openly referring to her as a woman. "Coach. Just like you. If it's about looks, she has it. If it's about figure, she has it. How could she stoop to being a coach at a driving school?" Shen Xinyi smiled and explained that she wasn't a coach. So she is the boss's daughter of the driving school. I was forced by her dad to teach me due to a talent shortage. I couldn't help but laugh. Shu Yan entered the restaurant we had made a reservation at. I raised my eyes instinctively. I saw Su Yanbing standing aside. Her entire face was as cold as frost. I hadn't had a chance to speak yet. Su Yanbing just grabbed my hand, pulled me out of the restaurant. Ji Hao Ming. We are not divorced yet. You just come out to look for wild men. I looked at the woman who was so close. Such a waste of that beautiful face. How can her temper be so vicious? How can her temper be like this? I rubbed my wrist. What kind of person? I was just having a normal meal with someone. Don't talk nonsense. Su Yanbing shot me a glare. Just a normal meal. Do you think I'm blind? I didn't want to look at her face. So I looked up at the sky. If you think you're blind, there's nothing I can do. Su Yanbing laughed in anger. Ji Hao Ming. Do you think this is 2 years ago? I have to endure whatever you do. From now on, I have the final say between us. I watched her hurt herself by bumping into me. So I smiled and moved closer to her. I raised my hand to touch her slender waist. Bold and indulgent. Then why don't you say something? What do you want? Shu Yan swallowed hard. She grabbed my wrist with an ugly expression. I knew that Su Yanbing hated the original owner's touch the most. Every time I touched her, it was like 1,000 shocks. Su Yanbing's disgust for me would grow stronger. I saw her darken dangerously. I raised my other hand to hold her hand. Continue with her. How about we find a hotel? Summer clothes are inherently. She was wearing something nice. I used my hand to touch her leg. It felt like we were going back in time. A sensation like ants crawling, itching at my heart. Su Yanbing looked at me intently with a flushed face. The old me wouldn't have dared to do this at all. Wouldn't be a person. Clearly in his eyes, there was no love for her. Yet he had a look of desire for her body. It was like treating her as a hostess. A quick moment. Dangerous yet something good came out of it. I saw that she didn't feel disgusted enough to push me away. Pretending to kiss her. Su Yanbing then pushed me away. Took out a handkerchief to wipe her hands. Ji Hao Ming. Put away your delusions. You will never get what you want from me. As expected, she won't divorce because I want to. I rubbed my wrist and chuckled coldly. There is a possibility that you cannot obtain. Not to. You can get from other women. Although I crave your body. But women, you see. Actually, it's the same when the lights are off. I'm not someone who can't live without you. Su Yanbing's face darkened as if dipped in ink. She gritted her teeth, threw away the handkerchief and laughed bitterly in anger. Then you can give it a try. I smiled and said to her. I was just thinking of giving it a try. But you interrupted me. If you have other matters, I will just go in and continue. My phone is still in the dining room. Seeing that Su Yanbing was no longer blocking me, I went inside. But just as I sat down, my phone rang. I picked it up to take a look. Su Yanbing sent me a video. I clicked to open it. My face instantly turned pale. The video contained evidence of the original owner hiring someone to kidnap Lu Jinian. There was footage of me pushing someone onto the road. Evidence of a car accident. And there was a video of me hiring someone to beat Lu Jinian. This evidence could get me sentenced for several years. Su Yanbing didn't reveal it before due to fear of the Jiu family. Now she has brought it out. It seems she isn't afraid of the Jiu family anymore. I had just started enjoying a few good days. I didn't come here to enjoy sitting in prison. Su Yanbing sent me a message. She gave me 2 minutes. Be good and come up. Su Yanbing wants to use this to threaten me. Although I am unwilling, I even less want to go to prison. Shen Xinyi saw that my complexion was bad. She poured me a glass of water. I waved my hand. Sorry, I have something to take care of, so I need to leave first. Take your time eating. After saying that, I quickly settled the bill. I went upstairs to the private room to find Su Yanbing. When I arrived at the private room, I happened to see the scene of Su Yanbing and me in front of the car. It was a little bit. I shared it with my girlfriends in the private room. It was taken from her perspective. The photo looked like Su Yanbing was overwhelming and close with me. Then everyone went to the window to look. They saw me walking away without looking back. It became increasingly clear that Su Yanbing had forced me. Wen Mumu said with some surprise, let's not mention Ji Haoming tonight. As soon as Su Yanbing walked into the private room, everyone immediately went up to greet her. Everyone was chatting and laughing. No one mentioned my situation at all. When I pushed the door open to come in, the three of them were unexpectedly stunned for a moment. Their eyes were sharp. It was quite a leg show. They quickly got up to make room next to Su Yanbing. They placed the new tableware for Ji that hadn't been unwrapped yet. Ji Haoming is here. I smiled and waved to them, glanced at Su Yanbing, then walked over to her. The three of them looked at me and then at Su Yanbing. As usual, they treated me like I was invisible. I gritted my teeth. I directly poked the plastic wrap on the bowl with my chopsticks. Moved a little closer to Su Yanbing. I lowered my voice and said, what do you mean? Su Yanbing raised the corner of her mouth. I just want you to be obedient. My fists clenched. This damn woman, apart from torturing me, doesn't she have any other hobbies? I pretended to smile and picked up my chopsticks to serve her food. Okay, dear wife. If you tell me to go east, I won't go west. If you tell me to warm the bed, I won't just warm the room. Su Yanbing glanced at me, placed the empty wine glass down. I immediately filled it up for her. Practiced driving for the whole afternoon. I'm actually hungry too. Seeing that Su Yanbing wasn't bringing up any requests, I started eating happily by myself. After finishing a bowl of rice, I noticed everyone was looking at me. I added another bowl of rice. I replied to them with a smile every day. You guys? 1271, I'll help you add more. The three best friends were even more surprised. Ji Haoming, whose eyes only have Su Yanbing. You actually want to help them with more rice. Yan finally returned. The next moment, Su Yanbing finally. You really like to help others. Help me peel this box of shrimp. I love to eat. I was so angry that my fists clenched again. Damn it. I don't even want to peel it myself, even though I want to eat it. I sat down smiling and looked at her. Good wife. I picked up that box of shrimp. While thinking about how to break the deadlock. I don't want to be threatened by her like this forever. Thinking too deeply. The peeled shrimp easily went into my mouth. Su Yanbing watched me eat the shrimp into my own belly. She still seemed to be eating with gusto, oblivious to the situation. Her gaze became murky and unclear. I felt a gaze so icy it could freeze me to death. Only then was I brought back to reality. Quickly bringing the shrimp I was about to feed myself. I stuffed it into her mouth. I tried it for you. It's very safe. It's not poisonous. Su Yanbing was force-fed. She instinctively started chewing. The coldness in her eyes softened a bit. The old Su Yanbing even found it disgusting when I served her vegetables. But now she's looking at me and feeding it directly to my mouth. Su Yanbing not only ate. They seem to be enjoying it a lot. The group of close friends instantly starts teasing. When you show off your love, can you consider the feelings of us single folks? I'm feeling frustrated inside. I can't stand their teasing. Lin Xinyao played with the wineglass in her hand, looking at me. I stuffed the peeled shrimp back into Su Yanbing's mouth. Not easy to please. Maybe you should consider liking someone else. Chat. My eyes were filled only with her image. My voice unconsciously turned tender. It's a bit difficult. Su Yanbing threw the car keys to me. I just like how beautiful she is. She looked both aloof and stunning. Su Yanbing looked at me with a gaze that could see through my lies. Putting on a bright smile. I was secretly grinding my teeth. A hint of a smile appeared in her indifferent gaze. After finishing dinner, we walked out of the restaurant. I was still thinking about going back home. But she is indeed beautiful. You drive. I've been drinking. Can't drive. Besides, the original owner could drive. I had no way to refuse. I watched Su Yanbing sit in the backseat. I gritted my teeth and took on the role of the driver. Luckily, I learned to drive this afternoon. But newbies are inevitably nervous on the road. Look at me driving this luxury car at the speed of a tractor. I was fully focused and driving really slowly. Su Yanbing leaned back in her seat. And I was driving at night. She couldn't help but laugh in anger. Can you go any slower? My hands gripping the steering wheel were sweating. My mind is entirely focused on driving. I can't stand any distractions. Don't talk to me. Su Yanbing's face instantly darkened. Yu Hao Ming. Have you forgotten your identity? The next second, the car shot forward like an arrow. I saw the car speeding up. Her mind went blank for a moment. Su Yanbing saw the suddenly reckless speed of the car. There's a car ahead, yet you're not slowing down. Like he was trying to drag her to her death. Her delicate face instantly tensed as she shouted. Yu Hao Ming. Are you crazy? Hurry and give me the brakes. I shouted. I'm stepping on the brakes. At that moment, I realized I mistakenly pressed the accelerator instead of the brake. I hurriedly stepped on the brakes. But it was still a little too late. Open black lens bracket in a state of shock. Open black lens bracket. I only heard a thud. The world suddenly fell silent. I gradually calmed down. My neck and head still hurt a bit. Hearing Su Yan Shu was almost. Gritting my teeth, I forced my name out from my throat. Open black lens bracket Yu Hao Ming. I turned back to look at her and said. I was driving just fine. It's you who insisted on talking to me. Su Yanbing looked at me with a cold face. I squeezed out a few words through clenched teeth. So what? She hadn't finished speaking. I interrupted her, repeatedly apologizing. Blame me. Blame me for being useless. The moment I heard your voice, I got so nervous that I couldn't tell the brake from the accelerator. I said I blamed myself. Yet there was not a hint of guilt on my face. After saying that, I got out of the car immediately. Su Yanbing took out her phone with a cold expression. Called to have the assistant come handle it. After ending the call, she saw me rubbing my neck. I was bent over talking to the driver of the car that got hit. My posture clearly showed I was apologizing for doing something wrong. This me is completely different from the me in Su Yanbing's memory. The me in her memory never apologized to anyone but her. I was always spoiled and headstrong. Even when doing something wrong, I carried an air of superiority. I felt others deserved whatever happened to them. For incidents like car accidents, the old me wouldn't even get out of the car. I would just call someone to handle it. I wouldn't care about others' lives at all. But now, I hurriedly checked if the other party was injured. Are you okay? The woman touched her face. The bruise on her forehead marred her fair and perfect face with a flaw. I clearly saw her face. I felt an immense sense of guilt. I felt even more apologetic. Isn't she the popular star Mirong Yan? The book mentions her during the collaboration with Lu Jinian. The description of her is like a fairy tale. Lu Jinian could collaborate with her in his first movie. Fans celebrated joyfully all over the world. Soon, her on-screen pairing with Lu Jinian exploded online. But he was just that year. Before the original owner died, Mirong Yan also died. She left behind a long suicide note. Then she ended her own life. A sunny girl who always smiled on screen. Had a pair of blood-sucking mothers. They broke her wings of dreams, causing her to lose herself. Used her as a money-making tool. Never cared about her feelings. Long-term depression. Her parents forced her to accompany powerful figures in the circle. Became the last straw that broke the camel's back. In the end, Mirong Yan chose to end her own life. While reading, I felt she was my shadow. I shed many tears in empathy. At that moment, Mirong Yan glanced at her beloved car. She looked down at me with a sidelong glance. There was a hint of a smile in her eyes. Little bone. Am I experiencing what is known as a person sits in the car and disaster falls from the sky? I snapped back to reality, looking at her and saw lingering heartache in her eyes. I'm really sorry. I will take responsibility for the car's repairs. I will also compensate you for your inspection fee and emotional distress. When others see her for the first time, they all gasp in amazement. It was the first time Marong Yan saw someone look at her with an expression of concern. It was as if they could see through her glamorous unhappiness. In her daze, I pulled out my phone and said, "Could you give me your contact information? This way, if there are any compensation issues later, it will be easier to get in touch." Marong Yan wasn't even considering it. She didn't plan to seek compensation either. But that look I just gave her made her unable to resist taking my phone. She added her contact information. After she made the call, she returned the phone to me. "Little brother, don't you recognize me?" I put away my phone and raised a smile at the corners of my mouth. "The big star Marong Yan. How could I not know? I am your loyal fan. Can you sign for me again?" Marong Yan looked at me in disbelief. When this man saw himself, clearly, there was no excitement about seeing her idol. I saw her not moving. I stepped forward and hugged her. "Since you are unwilling to sign, then give me a hug." Marong Yan stood there in a daze. It was different from the excited hugs of those fans. I quietly held her. It was like a confession, yet also seemed to comfort her. "You are really excellent. Gave many people the courage to face setbacks. Gave a lot of people the motivation to move forward. I hope that one day we can also make you brave. Become the force that supports your journey forward." Su Yanbing watched me handle the accident in the car. In the end, it even turned into a way to flirt with women. She immediately got out of the car with a serious face, pulled me out of the woman's embrace. Just then, the assistant rushed over. Su Yanbing took my car keys. She grabbed my hand and walked away. Marong Yan stood there watching me. My mind was still on the words I had just said. I waved at Marong Yan with a smile. My smile was like March peach blossoms in June's gentle breeze. Like all the beauty in the world, captured under the warm lights, turning into a painting. Su Yanbing looked at me with a grim expression. Her voice reached a peak. "Gu Haoming, putting a green hat on me right in front of my eyes. Your audacity is growing bolder." I took the initiative to lean closer to her and said, "Bing, my life is now in your hands. You don't let me touch anyone else. Right now, I have the desire. But I don't have the courage. Right now, all I can think about is how to coax you. How about tonight?" I leaned closer to her again, feigning intimacy. Sure enough, in the next moment, she turned cold. It really happened. She opened the car inquiry with a cold face. She pushed me inside in one swift motion. On the way, I received a call from my mom. "It's too late to come back and force me to dress up. I don't want them to worry. But now, I can't get a divorce and I'm being threatened by Su Yanbing. There's definitely no way I can live at home every day." I could only reply, "I won't be coming back tonight." Su Yanbing admitted her mistake to me. I decided to give her a chance. Su Yanbing huffed at me through the rearview mirror. My mom knew this would be the outcome early on. She wasn't too surprised, just a bit disappointed. "Then you should go back with her tomorrow for a meal at home." I glanced at Su Yanbing in the passenger seat. I temporarily agreed. My mom asked again with concern, "If there's anything, remember to tell mom. Get some rest early." I responded with an UHHUH. "You and dad should also go to bed early. Don't worry about me." As soon as I ended the call, Su Yanbing's annoying voice rang out. "I admit my fault to you." "No fault. I deleted all those little essays. Just an excuse to deal with my parents. How could you possibly be at fault? It's all my fault. I feel that I am clearly like this. I'm unhappy but still have to humor her. It gives her a sense of pleasure from tormenting me. If I satisfy her, my life will be better." But Su Yanbing kept pushing her luck and continued speaking. "I remember you used to love writing little essays on your moments. Since you know it was wrong, I'll write one tonight." No word. The original character wrote every day before. Su Yanbing pretended not to see. "I don't love her anymore." I waved my hand with a smile and said, "She forced me to write again." I could only agree with a smile. "I'll write as soon as I go back." As soon as I got home, I went back to my room. I sent a message to Gu Warner. "Sister Warner, how can we bring down the Su Group? Or how much they need to acquire them? The Su Group has rapidly become the leading company in the area in just a few years. There must also be quite a few unsightly matters. I want to avoid being threatened by her. Then I must overpower her and suppress her. I don't believe I can't handle her after transmigrating." In the book, Su Yanbing brought down Gu Group. I want to bring down the Su Group. I know it won't. But I can make Gu Group seize various opportunities to make money. Gu Warner video called me. A smile on her face. "You hate her so much now." The next second, realize I am no longer part of the Gu family. She frowned again. "You're back to talking about the house you bought for that woman." I did not hide anything. Told her about the video where Su Yanbing threatened me. "What video? Show me." I sent her the video. I said calmly, "These matters. You probably don't know about them, right?" Gu Warner was silent for a while. It seems she really didn't know. It was Su Yanbing who solved it privately for the company's development. She handled it for me in private. Seeing this, I continued to drive back. Now it has become a bargaining chip against me. So, I must bring her down. To obtain the leverage to threaten me. I remember that the companies under Gu's have their own film and television industry chain. You ask someone to send me the information of the artists under the company. Gu Warner looked confused. "What do you want this for?" I smiled. "I thought of a good money-making project. It's hard to explain over the phone. I'll explain it to you in detail tomorrow. As someone who did homework as a job. Before I died, I was getting to know this industry. Several dramas with costs in the millions have daily revenue exceeding 100 million. Moreover, the production time for these dramas is short. Multiple dramas can be filmed in just a few months. The only highlights are that the male lead is handsome and the female lead is beautiful. Acting is average and the plot is mindlessly entertaining. Cannot stand careful scrutiny. But everyone loves to watch. An era of short video explosions. Dramas are a piece of big fat meat. In this novel world, short videos have just become popular. Dramas have yet to rise. Entertainment industry films and works are still traditional. There are really no rebirth or transmigration stories that are satisfying. I will revisit those that have gone viral. All at once, then re-release. Others can't even follow the trend. End the call. I took a shower. I just received the information email. I opened the computer and took a look. The company just signed a batch of new hires recently. I decided to take some time to check out the company. Right now I have to turn those popular shows into scripts. In order to quickly get rid of the threat. Writing passionately. Su Yanbing sent me a message. Enter. 3,000 words is so difficult. How about I bump it up to 5,000 words? I glanced at the time. It's 1 a.m. This woman doesn't sleep. Still remembering my little essay. Really, this is sick. I'm afraid I won't disgust her to death. Soon posted it on my friend circle. A little essay visible only to her. I think I'm becoming more and more craving for your body. Otherwise, I wouldn't be imagining your emotionless lips on this quiet night. Imagining your lips that have no warmth. I wonder if they're as sweet as I imagine. Your body that you cover tightly all day. I also wonder if it's as I think. Su Yanbing never expected that I could be so shameless. Writing so openly about my desperate fantasies for her. Her face turned dark and then red, then dark again. Fortunately, she quickly realized something was off. Usually, whenever I post something, those classmates who flatter me would like and comment. This is precisely when those people are scrolling on their phones. But that has long passed. Not a single comment or like. It's clearly cold. I wrote this intentionally for her to see. Su Yanbing immediately replied. It's very well written. I'll write one every day from now on. I saw this message. I rushed to write the script without sleeping at all. I ended up writing 2 openings at once. Then I wrote 20 episodes for each. It was already past 5 in the morning. I was really too exhausted. I saved it securely and then fell asleep. Su Yanbing got up. I saw there was no breakfast on the table. There's no movement downstairs at all. I turned the doorknob of my room. I found the room still had feedback. She took charge of it. I was so tired I couldn't lift. But it was useless, it kept ringing. I was frustrated. My hair was messy, yawning continuously. There's a certain handsomeness. Su Yanbing looked at me coldly and said, Where's breakfast? Contextual emphasis. You came to my door just for breakfast. I'm not selling breakfast. I stepped forward and hugged her tightly. I disgusted her as revenge. Revenge. Breakfast stocks are available. Why not treat me like breakfast? Shu Yan is here. But soon. That muscle memory-like feeling of disgust brought her back to reality. In an instant, she pushed me away. Are you sure there isn't? Su Yanbing's tone carried a threat. Gritting my teeth. I'll go make it for you right now. I haven't stepped into the kitchen since I came here. What level are the stocks? What's going on with the stocks? I finally dug out a bag of noodles. Boiled a pot of noodles with a few eggs. Waiting for it to finish cooking. Has the person already left? I'm not eating anymore. Just finishing it myself. Planning to catch a nap. At that moment, Su Yanbing sent me a message. Once done, deliver it to the company level. As expected, this woman has a way of tormenting people. I gritted my teeth. Changed clothes, grabbed my notebook, and headed out. Before leaving, I saw what she had placed earlier. The card from the divorce agreement was still on the coffee table. I picked it up and put it in my pocket. Then I bought breakfast and delivered it to Sus Group. Just then, Su Yanbing was in a meeting. I placed it on her desk and hurriedly left. I then drove to Goose Group. After I found Gu Wanner. Right now, short videos on a certain platform have just emerged. I have 2 scripts about time travel and rebirth here. I explained the short video series to her. I plan to turn them into a show. Gu Wanner curiously opened it to take a look. After just looking at the opening, she had a look of disbelief. I pulled a chair over and sat down. I waited until she had seen enough before I spoke. Just take a look. Sister Wanner. Then I talked to her about future prospects. I opened the scripts on my computer for her to see. The user base has exceeded 100 million. The future will come. Gu Wanner looked at me and spoke passionately about her career. Her eyes sparkled and her brows smiled. I thought about the script I just read. There was a moment. I wondered if the Gu Haoming in front of me was the transmigrator. If it wasn't for the soul swap, how could he change so much all of a sudden? I saw Gu Wanner staring blankly at herself. I reached out and pinched her soft, flat face. I have to admit, her skin and looks are so stunning that even the onlookers can't help but feel desire. Sister Wanner, what do you think? Gu Wanner sat at the table with her hands crossed and spoke up. Since it's your idea, why not leave it to you to handle? I nodded. No problem. I'll pass the script to you first. You take it to the director for preparation. I'll go to the agency later to select the male and female leads. Please give the agency a heads up for me. Gu Wanner looked at me and asked, Do you want me to go with you? I waved my hand. No need. You focus on your work. If I have any questions, I'll find you. After I said that, I was about to leave. I thought of something and turned back. There's one more thing. I want to sign Mirong Yan. Gu Wanner leaned back in her chair, looking at me in confusion. Why do you suddenly want to sign her? Let me explain casually. I just think she's a rare gem in the entertainment industry. She will definitely become popular in the future. But her manager has always been her mom. It seems she has no plans to sign with an agency. You can have someone draft the contract. I'll talk to her mom about the rest. Gu Wanner looked at my confident demeanor. I couldn't help but be taken aback. I had just come out of the company. I was getting ready to go to the agency. Then I received a text from Su Yanbing. If lunch is still food at noon, order food for lunch at noon. Just wait to make headlines. I bit my teeth in anger. That dog Yan Bing is really putting effort into tormenting me. I checked the time. I spent 100 of her money at the mall. I bought gifts for my parents. Then went back home to mooch a meal. My mom saw me come back with a happy face. Also bought them gifts. Thought Su Yanbing had come back with me. Looked towards the door again and again. How Ming? You came back by yourself. I waved my hand and said. She didn't have time to come over. My mom smiled and came up to welcome me. Just come back. Buy us something. We don't lack anything. My mom said on the surface that she didn't lack anything. But holding the bag that her son bought for her. Looking left, right, up, and down. The more I look, the more I like it. I think the bags at home should retire now. I can't put it down. The servants also kept praising it. Ma'am, this bag is so beautiful. It matches well with your outfit. My mom stood up and held it, looking at it again and again. Really? It was bought for me by my son. I didn't expect her to be so happy. I thought rich people's moms didn't lack anything. I won't care about these. After dinner, I asked Zhang Ma to pack the leftovers for Su Yanbing. Zhang Ma was surprised to hear that it was for Su Yanbing. She was so surprised that her eyes almost fell out. Honor. Isn't it inappropriate to pack these for Miss Su? How about I go make a couple of new dishes? I waved my hand and said. No need. This is enough. Zhang Ma looked at me while packing. I used to pack for Su Yanbing. It was always to pick the best for her in advance. Extremely concerned. By the time I reached the Su group, it was almost 1 o'clock. I ran into the assistant. I directly shoved the thermos into her hands. Here's the box of powder for you. When Su Yanbing looked at the time for the 5th time, the office door was pushed open by someone. She instinctively looked up, watching the assistant come in with a smile holding the thermos. Mr. Gu has started delivering food to you again. Su Yanbing's face looked good. The assistant waved their hand. The assistant had takeout for several days. Actually, I really miss the dishes made by Mr. Gu. Seeing that Su Yanbing had no other questions, the assistant hugged it, as usual. The thermos was about to happily go out. Su-hee. It's nothing, then I'm going out. The next second, I was stopped by Yan Kaikia. Where are you taking that? The assistant looked at Su Yanbing with a puzzled expression. Didn't you say you don't eat the meals made by Mr.? Feeling the chilling and dangerous aura, she immediately stopped talking. Placed the thermos on the desk. Su-hee, take your time eating. I'm going to work. Su Yanbing leaned against the office, staring at that thermos. Picking up the phone next to me. I just got into the car here. Finished talking with the management company. Su Yanbing's call came in. Buy me a cup of coffee. The one on Wanhua Street. Deliver it right to my hands. I gritted my teeth and said, is your assistant useless? Do I really have to handle such trivial matters myself? Su Yanbing replied instantly. The assistant is being underutilized. You are just right for it. Then I thank you. Let me know I still have some value. I hung up the phone. I still went to the agency. The manager walked in with me. I glanced in order from close to far. I took a good look. Then I walked towards a few girls. I raised my hand and touched the face of the girl standing on the far left. I pinched her arm. Her arm is a bit chubby. You need to train well. The girl's face instantly turned red. I then looked at the girl next to her. I raised my hand and held her chin. I looked left and right. I pinched her waist again. She's a bit chubby too. You need to lose some weight. The girl couldn't help but ask. Do we really need to watch our figures while acting? I took a glance at her. That depends on what role you want to play. If you're just a minor role, there's no need to look. But if you want to play the idol-type female lead, you need to have good looks and figure. I didn't expect the difference between the real person in the photos to be so big. It's not just about looks, the figure needs to be good. It's just that the figure doesn't meet the standards. Shows like these are poorly made, and the pay is shockingly low. Even somewhat famous stars are unwilling to act in them. Newcomers have to rely on their looks. If the looks aren't good, men aren't interested in watching. I even feel it's not good enough. How could the audience possibly be satisfied? So the male and female leads must be good looking. I looked at everyone. I formally opened my mouth to explain my intentions. Recently, I'm planning to shoot a few dramas. Not those TV dramas that are several minutes long an episode, but rather short video formats. I haven't finished my introduction yet. Su Yanbing sent me a message, asking you to buy a coffee. Did you buy it abroad? I replied immediately. Don't rush me. Give me another half hour. Then, with my phone screen locked, I continued to introduce the project. The pay varies from 600 to 10,000 per day depending on the role. Pushed open the office door. If any of you want to hone your acting skills, you can sign up with the production team. I was threatened by Su Yanbing, so I explained everything and hurriedly left. When I rushed to the company, the delivery guy was waiting at the company entrance. I handed her the coffee I was holding. Carrying the coffee, I rushed upstairs. Push away inquiries from the office. Su Yanbing's cold gaze shot over. Unexpectedly, it caught my attention. I stepped forward and handed it to Xiaosai. Then I put on a smile. I'm sorry. Sorry for keeping my dear wife waiting. I could feel some fine sweat on my forehead. My breathing was a bit heavy. She seemed to have hurried up here. Su Yanbing glanced at the coffee on the table. You didn't poison me, did you? In the next moment, I picked it up and took a sip, still smiling at her. But the smile didn't reach her eyes. Her face was pale except for a hint of gold. She glanced at me and then at the coffee I was drinking. I walked around the desk and moved closer to her, looking very pleased. My dear wife, is there anything else you need? Should I give you a kiss or a hug? Su Yanbing pulled away, looking at me coldly. I looked at her, feeling like a flood of beasts. Then I heard Su Yanbing say, friends are coming over for dinner tonight. Go back and prepare dinner. I gritted my teeth and suppressed my anger. maintaining a service smile on my face. Yes, dear wife. How many friends? Do you want Chinese food or Western food? Su Yanbing waved her hand and said, just handle it yourself. I nodded. All right. This person. I'll head back to prepare. After saying that, I turned around and put away my smile. This dog Su Yanbing, staring at me and torturing me all day is unacceptable. I need to give her something to do. Let her focus more on the male lead. Su Yanbing watched me leave. I casually picked up the coffee on the table and took a sip. Only after finishing did I realize that I had just drunk it. Her face instantly changed as if a storm had swept over it. I immediately placed the coffee everywhere. I didn't take another sip. That evening, Su Yanbing had just returned home. I then heard upbeat music coming from the hall. As soon as I entered, I didn't see my figure. The aroma of food wafted out from the kitchen. She walked to the kitchen door. I saw two beautiful women cooking in the house. She was just feeding me the dishes she had prepared. I praised her while eating. Delicious. Seeing you so beautiful with such a great figure. It doesn't resemble Chef Qian at all. I thought I had been deceived. I didn't expect to have something real and substantial on me. The woman smiled and said, young Master Gu. Then what do you think I look like? I smiled and spoke. With your conditions. It's a shame you're not a model. As I was chatting, I felt a prickling coldness. When I turned around, I saw Su Yanbing's icy cold expression. As if I owed her something. I had just walked over. Su Yanbing smirked and mocked me. I asked you to cook. You brought two women back for me. Received. Whether you grow long or short, you have a few more. Su Yanbing was just about to take out her phone. I quickly pressed down on her hand. What kind of enjoyment? This isn't my own skill. I'm afraid I won't do well. To embarrass you in front of your friends? I hired two chefs. It's not like I'm giving it to you. I want someone to find a woman. How could I bring someone home? Just then, the doorbell rang. Su Yanbing gave me a warning glance. She pulled her hand back. I immediately went to open the door. At that moment, Su Yanbing's phone rang. She took out her phone. I glanced over. I saw it was a call from Lu Jinian. I couldn't help but perk up my ears. It turned out that Lu Jinian had returned home. He received a local delivery. A bouquet of flowers and a package. He opened the delivery. Inside was a collar. There was also a card. It said on it, Little Nian Nian, I like you. I dream about you every day. I'm so glad to meet you. This is a carefully chosen gift for you. I think you'll look charming wearing it. Lu Jinian suddenly thought this was adorable. It felt like this place was being watched. It sent chills down his spine. When he called Su Yanbing, his voice was trembling. Sister Yanbing, could you come to my house to take care of something? Su Yanbing answered the phone with a puzzled expression. I think I encountered something adorable. Hearing those two words, I almost couldn't help but laugh. I bit my lip and held it back. I saw Su Yanbing end the call. I hurried to help serve the dishes to the table. Year of marriage. This was the first time Su Yanbing invited friends over to her house. Plus, the way they showed off their affection last time. Several close friends naturally thought that we had finally succeeded in our relationship. As soon as they entered, they all offered gifts. In that hotel, a token of appreciation. Sister Yanbing's thoughtful gesture. Don't be too moved. Lin Xinyao was carrying a mysterious gift bag. These are all things my friends have used. I thought they were nice, so I'm sharing them with you. Su Yanbing looked at the things they gave. One by one. She said with a smile. I have to step out for a bit. I brought out the dishes. Hearing that she was going out, I immediately said, kindly and thoughtfully, if you have things to do, go ahead. I'll take good care of them. As I said that, I placed the dish in Wen Mumu's hands, which were free. With quick insight, she took the gift from her hand. Hurry up and go. Don't delay things. Su Yanbing looked at me, eager to rush her away. Then, I glanced at the room full of women. She reached out and grabbed my wrist. You're coming with me. A few close friends were shocked. Even going out to run errands requires bringing Jiu Haoming along. Their relationship has gotten to this level. I frowned at her. You're making a delivery. It wouldn't be appropriate for me to follow. Plus, there are guests at home. As the host, how can I not entertain? I want to refuse. This is to help strengthen Su Yanbing and Lu Jinian's relationship. To make her anxious about the male lead. I spent time and money. Deliberately fabricated cute fans out of thin air. If I go, how can the two of them improve their relationship then? Su Yanbing threw a look at a few friends, telling them to entertain themselves. She grabbed me and walked off. It happened so fast that I couldn't even put down what I was holding. I only realized it after I was shoved into the car. What are all these gifts? Are they from that hotel? Despite being thick-skinned, I still couldn't help but blush. Immediately stuffed them all into Su Yanbing's body. She could use it tonight. So I definitely can't go with her. I looked at Su Yanbing and spoke Dan Li. Both of us left. What if they end up destroying the house? I threw the things into the back of the car. Just focus on your work. Su Yanbing stared at me as if she could see through me. I'll entertain them at home. My voice was a bit helpless. I didn't even bring my phone. But Su Yanbing seemed not to hear anything. Soon, I drove to Lu Jinian's place. I still wanted to make a move on Su Yanbing's car. Let her handle it. I waited for her in the car by myself. In the end, Su Yanbing got out of the car with the keys. I sat in the car watching her walk in without looking back. Still couldn't help but follow out of curiosity. Watching the show secretly from outside the door. Lu Jinian didn't want to at home. Seeing that Su Yanbing had arrived, as if seeing a savior, immediately went up to her and handed her the card, and told her about the situation. I don't know when it started. The delivery only has Lu Jinian's shipping address. Su Yanbing adjusted the surveillance footage. Call someone to trace the delivery person's license plate. Then I put away my phone and looked at Lu Jinian. The crux of the matter. Before the matter is investigated, don't bother with 7. I saw them chatting in such a dry manner. There wasn't even any physical contact. Immediately, I felt completely unwell. Can you just stop? Even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would pale in comparison to you. I've been bored, playing with a pot of green plants in front of me. Originally, I was touching the leaves. Seeing that they had no effect at all as expected, I'm anxious and irritated. Wait until I come to my senses. The greenery in my hand was uprooted. The passenger seat was left for Lu Jinian. It was just my misunderstanding. He is angry now. He shivered and was about to explain. Brother Gu Ming. Me and Sister Yanbing are not what you think. Upon seeing this, I immediately put down the green plant in my hand, displaying an awkward yet harmless smile. An explanation faster than his. Sorry. I'm just weighing out of boredom. It's no big deal. I'll buy you a pot tomorrow. A vague look of misunderstanding. Lu Jinian waved his hands repeatedly. No need to. It's just a pot of greenery. I don't want to interrupt them in cultivating their relationship. I quickened my pace and walked to the front. Lu Jinian was still very confused. Suhi. Did Brother Haoming misunderstand and get angry? I glanced at that figure. Don't worry about him. I quickly returned to the car. I sat in the back seat of the car. It fell into the eyes of Lu Jinian, who had just come out. Lu Jinian felt that sitting in the passenger seat was inappropriate. Just wanted to sit in the back. But I rejected him. He sat nervously in the passenger seat. Wanted to explain something to me. Saw my indifferent look, not wanting to be disturbed. He had no choice but to give up. Instinctively looked at Su Yanbing. I saw Su Yanbing look at me through the rearview mirror. Su Yanbing started the car comfortably. Took a glance at Lu Jinian. Have you eaten? Lu Jinian shook his head and said. Not yet. After these 2 sentences, the entire car fell into an eerie silence. I stole a glance several times. I didn't see any other interaction between the two. I just want to become invisible. Manually pressed their heads together to make them kiss. A few of them verified. The other few close friends verified. Do you think Yan has some human desires? She has something to take care of. Also took Gu Haoming away. Lin Xinyao smiled slightly. What else could it mean? Afraid you might covet her husband. Chin waved his hand to the contestant. I think they won't come back after going out. How about we just let it go? Mumu pouted. I have already given my gifts. Why so happy? I still want to get at her. She dug out the most expensive sweet drink from the liquor cabinet. Just as they were about to celebrate, they saw me come back. Their expressions were bad, and they walked quickly. Following behind were Su Yanbing and Lu Jinian, entering one after the other. It left the 3 of us completely confused. I drank a big cup of water. The fire in my heart subsided a little. Afraid that Su Yanbing would trace the clues. I even went out of my way to withdraw cash. Spending my own money on the card. All that effort was for nothing. As a result, these 2 made no progress at all. I reluctantly finished the drink. Seeing everyone opening the sweet drinks. In a moment of inspiration. It was a good idea to get drunk and act recklessly. Lu Jinian first turns to Su Yanbing when he encounters trouble. As soon as Su Yanbing received Lu Jinian's call, the best friends didn't care and rushed over immediately. Isn't this what a mutual pursuit of love is? Just so I won't be tormented, she won't divorce me. Reserved the other 2 connected seats for them. For my beautiful single life. I warmly greeted Wen Mumu and the others with a smile. You guys have already started drinking. Not bad. I'll go get 2 more bottles. Tonight, no one leaves until they're drunk. The drinks of the 3. The 3 looked quickly. The 3 pressured each other to get drinks. Wall looked puzzled. She's bringing her husband to pick up her rival. Chin Shi had a mischievous smile. Sister Yanbing is about to enjoy the blessings of having both. Su Yanbing and Lu Jinian walked to the table. I already brought back 2 bottles of sweet water. Sat at the very edge. I can only say that this dog, Yanbing, has a strong sense of revenge. Su Yanbing sat in the middle. Lu Jinian sat next to her. He awkwardly greeted them, politely saying, I've long heard of the big star Lu. Today, I finally met the package. I quickly seized the opportunity. Then you should definitely toast to them. Su Yanbing glanced at me. Seeing this, Lu Jinian waved his hand. The others also turned their gaze towards me. I looked back at them in confusion. I misspoke. Shouldn't we have a toast? Wen Mumu smiled and raised her glass. Big star. I'll toast to you. It was Lu Jinian's first time dining with Su Yanbing's friends. Naturally, one cannot refuse. He politely toasted with her. I immediately picked up the bottle. With a warm smile, I got up and went to refill his drink. The expression on my face was half smiling, half serious. Brother Haoming. No need. I can handle it myself. I smiled and filled his cup. You are a guest personally received by Su Yanbing. How could I let you come on your own? Su Yanbing played with the sweet water cup. She glanced at me faintly. Her gaze was ambiguous. The other people were completely clueless, forcing themselves to watch. I finished pouring the wine. I turned to look at Lin Xinyao next to Wen Mumu. Aren't you going to toast the big star? Lin Xinyao curved her lips. She smiled and raised her glass, saying, I'm not the kind of person who lacks manners. When Lin Xinyao wanted to toast Lu Jinian, Su Yanbing shot her a cold glance. If you want to drink, drink yourself. Then she looked at Lu Jinian. You don't have to mind them. It's about business. Lu Jinian still raised his glass. I can drink. Qin Shiyue quickly raised her glass to toast Lu Jinian as well. I also toast the big star with a glass. Who wants to be the polite one? Lu Jinian ended up drinking several cups like this. I returned to my seat and organized everyone to eat. Again set my sights on Su Yanbing. I haven't thought of an excuse yet. Su Yanbing coldly looked at the 3 people opposite her. Are you only toasting him like this? Is this polite? The implication is for them to toast me again. This is clearly to vent for Lu Jinian. Lin Xinyao smiled and played with her sweet drink cup. They are the guests. We can toast first, no problem. You invited us to dinner. Aren't you going to toast us first? You asked us to toast the host first. Who exactly is being impolite? I immediately wanted to give her a thumbs up. Glancing at Lu Jinian again. His expression was not good. He seems to be jealous. I immediately stepped in to help her out. Filled Lu Jinian's glass to the brim. Also filled my own glass to the brim. My wife and I would like to toast everyone. Su Yanbing shot me a cold look. I gave her a meaningful look. Seeing her not moving, I squeezed her leg under the table. Su Yanbing's expression instantly darkened a bit. With a cold expression, I raised my cup. Even though I have a good alcohol tolerance, I watched her drink. I wouldn't care about them anymore. I started eating by myself. To avoid giving Su Yanbing a chance to boss me around. Dishes like hairy crabs and lobsters that require hands-on service. I completely avoided them. Su Yanbing watched me eat heartily. She looked at me with obvious displeasure. From time to time, she shot me a look that could kill. When she looked at me again, I took her intentions the wrong way. Do you want to eat too? I immediately picked up a piece of braised pork and shoved it into her mouth. The next second, I saw this woman with obsessive cleanliness. Her expression grew even worse. I felt incredibly pleased inside. I glanced at Lu Jinian again. I poured myself another glass of wine. After dinner, they wanted to sing and continue playing. But they were ruthlessly chased away by Su Yanbing. I also wanted to leave, so I grabbed my phone and took a look. I made an excuse to return. My mom said there's an emergency at home. She dropped her phone to the ground. I'll make a call to ask what's going on. I walked out while making a call, leaving the hall for Su Yanbing and Lu Jinian. But before I stepped out of the hall, I heard Su Yanbing's warning. 5 minutes. If I don't see you in 5 minutes, today is your last good day. I gritted my teeth in anger. This woman isn't thinking about her own man. Why are you thinking about me? Lu Jinian, feeling dizzy, gazed at Su Yanbing. She was obviously drunk. Su Yanbing raised her wrist to check the time. Then she looked towards Lu Jinian. I had your assistant come to pick you up. After saying that, she took out her phone. Just as she was looking for her phone, Lu Jinian suddenly stood up. I need to go back for a bit. Sister Yanbing. Can I stay? Su Yanbing furrowed her brows and pulled away. The voice said. Voice said. Lu Jinian shook his head. Then let my assistant accompany you. Turn around to check the activity in the house. I got the contact information of the people willing to come. Lu Jinian reached out and grabbed her clothes at the waist. Have you fallen for Hao Ming? If you've fallen for him, I've waited for you for so many years. On the other side, I made a call to the agency director at the door. The reply I got was 10. There are only 3 people in total. 2 men and 1 woman. I felt a bit surprised. The newcomers have such high standards. But it doesn't matter. I'll reach out to them right away. It's because they are artists from our own company. I want to give them an opportunity to shine. Su Yanbing's beautiful willow-leaf eyebrows were furrowed even deeper. I want you to stay with me. I saw them have intimate physical contact. Such a close distance. Lu Jinian was still holding onto her clothes. What else can you do face to face besides kissing? Isn't the next step to carry him back to the room? Alcohol really is a good thing. I couldn't help but raise the corner of my mouth. It's just a pity it's too far away. I couldn't hear anything. I was watching with great enthusiasm. Shu Yan suddenly turned around and looked at me. Is that enough? Have you looked enough? Come over here. I was somewhat speechless. Su Yanbing handed the drunken Lu Jinian over to E. I gritted my teeth and smiled as I picked up the phone for her. I walked over reluctantly, expressionless, saying, why did you call me over? Doing such things while still keeping an eye open. Tonight he will sleep with you. Upon hearing this, I felt as if struck by lightning. You let him sleep with me. Don't you fear that I might harm him? Su Yanbing turned around and went upstairs directly. He replied, you just go along with him. I gritted my teeth and looked at her. Let him sleep with you. Aren't we 3 doing well enough together? Su Yanbing's movements were sharp. She turned to look back. There was a sharpness that felt like 1,000 cuts. I was so generous to let them sleep together. 8. Shouldn't she be happy? Su Yanbing slammed the door of the room. I had no choice but to help Lu Jinian back to my room. Lu Jinian was holding me, wasn't he? He treated me as if I were Su Yanbing. Sister Yanbing. I like you. I recorded the voice message and sent it to Su Yanbing. I planned to add fuel to their relationship. In the end, I shot myself in the foot. Su Yanbing replied immediately. Are you this way? Did you write today's little piece for your friend's circle? I see you know how to compliment women. A 500-word piece should be fine. I gritted my teeth and praised what was in the novel. I replicated the template for praising a woman's appearance. I added some spicy remarks about tempting him to disgust her. Your face is like a masterpiece crafted by a ghostly hand. Perfect enough to make even the heavens jealous. You are like 3 out of 4 beautiful sets. Everything in the Pacific is my drool for you. Can you stop stealing my soul? After sending this message, I angrily turned off my phone. Then I saw Lu Jinian's fair face. The delicate face leaned closer to me. I glanced at him and couldn't help but sigh. No wonder he is a popular male celebrity. This face is even more beautiful than most beauties. His skin looks like it could ooze water. Lu Jinian murmured to himself. His gaze at me was very dreamy. I liked you the moment I saw you for the first time. I really like you a lot. After saying that, he pouted his lips and leaned in to kiss me. Hey. Lu Jinian, what are you doing? Just as I was at a loss for what to do, Su Qingyan opened the door and came out from the 2nd floor. Ji Yu Haoming. You just... She hadn't finished her sentence and froze in place. I left the house early the next morning. Now there is still 1 year until the business war between the Su Group and the GU Group. During this period, I must make my company stronger. So I plan to start with the film and television industry of the GU Group. First, get the popular flower Marong Yan signed into the company. Treated her as a tool for making money. I was looking at the contract for Marong Yan that my agent gave me yesterday. In my impression of crossing into this story, Marong Yan debuted as a child star. Became a frequent presence on the big screen at a very young age. But behind a sunny girl who always smiles on screen, she has a pair of vampiric parents. They broke her wings of dreams. Made her lose herself. In a luxurious and elegant tea room private room. Never cared about her feelings. Long-term depression. Her parents forced her to accompany powerful figures in the circle. Becoming the last straw that broke the camel's back. In the end, Marong Yan chose to end her life. When I read, I felt she was my shadow. She said one thing but still picked up the contract. Then I called to arrange a meeting with Marong Yan's mother for a meeting in the morning. A small leg. Marong Yan's mother Fang Chin arrived late. As soon as Chin saw the disdain in my eyes, it immediately surfaced. Isn't that the GU family's one who is forcing marriage while giving money? A useless only child who can't do anything. He directly threw the contract in front of her. I gave her a glance. Just thinking about what she did to her own daughter. I didn't give her a good face either. How about it? Yang Hejian has something to deal with. Let me talk to you. Fen Chin chuckled lightly. Split a meal. You negotiate. Do you understand any of this? I empathized and shed a lot of tears. The movie that my daughter just released has great potential to be a hit. At this time, taking on roles can significantly raise one's value. This is not about discussing a script collaboration. Instead, it's about signing a contract for your daughter. She threw it back directly. She looked at me like I'm a fool. Young Master GU, did you pick up the wrong documents? What your Yang Hejian mentioned on the phone. But there's a new drama looking for us to collaborate. I sat on the sofa, looking at her Dan. To be honest with you, we just want to sign Mu Rongyan. Fang Chin finished speaking and directly picked up her bag and stood up. That might cause you to lose out. I calmly threw out a sentence. Your daughter has severe depression. Then, she said slowly and unhurriedly. What the entertainment industry has no shortage of is actors. Your daughter has just made a little achievement. If this secret gets out, do you think anyone would still be willing to take the risk of casting her in a film? Fang's face turned deathly pale. Pale. She then turned to look at me. How did you know? I rested my hand on the sofa and looked at her. Dan Lee. I saw your daughter's self. I know much more than just this day. For example, you and your husband are addicted to gambling. When you're out of money, you exploit your daughter to act and accompany drinks. Without caring at all about your daughter's depression. If this were to blow up online, what do you think her fans who love her would do? A suicide note of over 1,000 words. Each item listed on it. All of this is leverage against Fang Chin right now. I calmly look at her. Chin is completely weak in the knees now. Did Yanner tell you? Do you think if she wanted to tell others? A snort. Do we really have to wait until now? The rage in my heart is uncontrollably spilling out. It feels like I see that desperate girl before she died once again. Gritting my teeth, I continue. There are no walls in this world that don't let the wind through. I just wanted to sign her. Just put in a bit more effort. She regards you as her mother. I don't want you to become the target of everyone's criticism. Even if it means self-harm. It would only be on the thigh where others can't see. Think it over carefully. Do you want to become a rat that everyone wants to be? Making your daughter vanish in the entertainment industry? Or do you want to continue making money off her? After saying that, I stood up. After taking a couple of steps, I couldn't help but stop. Watching her laugh mockingly. I'm very curious. How can you stand to see her tormented by depression? How can you have the heart to ignore it and continue to exploit her? When you carried her for 10 months and gave birth to her, was it out of love? Or was it to create a money-making tool? I also wanted to ask my own parents this before. But I never got the chance. Fang Chin just kept her head down and said nothing. I remember those years when I was beaten, scolded, and exploited. Walking out of the private room, I was overwhelmed by emotions and my eyes grew red. I sat against the wall, lifting my chin, preparing to take a breather. The other person finished discussing matters, came out from the bag and into the garden, then saw the outside of the bag nearby, leaning alone against the wall. It looked difficult to ask. The person who came out with Su Yanbing saw her stop in her tracks. I instinctively glanced. What's wrong, Suhi? Su Yanbing lowered her gaze. Turning back to her, I said a few words, then turned back to look at me. My figure was no longer present. Su Yanbing had someone adjust the surveillance. Returned to the office with the assistant. Check about Gu Haoming in. Half an hour later, the assistant replied to her on the phone. The gentleman went to discuss the contract signing with Fang Chin regarding Marong Yan. Upon hearing this, Su Yanbing fell into deep thought. When did Gu Haoming start intervening in the Gu family's business? She recalled the last time I encountered a small celebrity on the street. So Gu Haoming is upset because the stock is signed to her. Su Yanbing threw the phone aside. Said to the assistant, sign Marong Yan to our company. The assistant nodded. The excellent Su He. I'll go right away. Her phone suddenly rang. She picked it up and glanced at it. Your account has a spending of 38,888 yuan. Gave a cold smirk. Shu Yan chuckled. Spending my money. Bought my mom a whole set of cosmetics. I didn't see Su Yanbing in the tea room. Once I calmed down, I went straight to the mall. Thinking about other women. Bought me a few ties again. Just as I was about to head home, Su Yanbing sent me a message. So good at shopping. Buy me 2 sets of clothes and send them over. I gritted my teeth and replied with a, good. I don't even know what size she wears. I could only ask the assistant for her size. Bought her 2 dresses. Sat back in the car. Last time, I added her contact information. Moran Yan, whom I haven't chatted with before, sent me a message. Young man. I'd like to meet with you. To discuss the contract signing. I checked the time and scheduled to meet her in the afternoon. Drove to Sus Group. Delivered the purchased clothes to the CEO's office. Here's the clothing you wanted, my dear wife. Su Yanbing looked at my fake smile. Then I took a glance at the clothing bag. Not good looking. Go buy it again. I was a bit speechless. What's the difference between the clothes you wear at home and this? It's not good looking, yet you wear it every day. Looking at me with dissatisfaction. Shu Yan looked at me without annoyance. You know my family. Do I really lack this kind of clothing? I glanced at her. So what kind do you want? Shu Yan raised her eyebrows and said after a moment. Hard to remove. Only then did I realize. I clenched my fist and gritted my teeth. A smile on the surface, but not in the heart. I'll go buy it for you again right away. Can't rush it. It's lunchtime. I can't afford to buy it this afternoon. I was just beginning to think this woman still had a bit of humanity. I just heard her continue. First, I'll go back and cook. I want to eat braised pork and steamed base. And someone even ordered on top of that. Always picking the time-consuming and troublesome dishes. It's hard to accept that someone with money still insists on cooking for themselves. It's really hard to accept. I bought some groceries and went home. I had the servant help me handle it. I went back to my room and patched up a few things myself. After eating, I delivered lunch to Su Yanbing at the company. Then I went to pick out clothes for her. I've never bought clothes for a woman before. I also don't want to put in the effort to choose for a woman. When I arrived at the clothing store, I just asked the clerk to pick out a few matching outfits for me. Then I took photos of them. While browsing women's clothes, I sent one set over. Do you like this set? Su Yanbing replied. I chose 2 sets of women's clothing to look at. I sent over the 3rd set. Su Yanbing replied again. I patiently sent her the 3rd set. Su Yanbing responded once more. Su Yanbing made it clear that she was doing this on purpose. I'm such a fool to keep queuing for her. I have plenty of ways to deal with her. I took out her card and handed it to the waiter. I'm in a hurry, so I'll buy these 2 sets of men's clothing first. You can help me coordinate the women's clothing later. Then send me the photos to review. The clerk immediately nodded in agreement. All right. Please wait a moment. Then the clerk found all the women's clothing in the store without missing a single piece. Thank you for helping me with the various combinations. I sent Su Yanbing the 5th set of photos. Then I went to a tea restaurant with a better environment and privacy. I requested a private room. Just as I entered the private room, Lu Yu from the opposite room came out to go to the restroom. He happened to see me and couldn't help but exclaim. Lu Jinian said that Ji Yu Haoming has changed recently. Looking at this outfit, he really has changed quite a bit. After I entered the private room, I sent Moran Yan a location pin. Then I opened my laptop. While continuing to write the script, I dealt with Su Yanbing. Lu Bao returned from the restroom. I saw the waiter bringing in a 2-person order of drinks and snacks into the opposite private room. I then saw a woman wearing a hat and a mask pushing open the private room's door. Lu Yu couldn't help but exclaim. No wonder the change is so drastic. Turns out there's a new love. Lu Bao, as Lu Jinian's best brother, knew exactly how Lu Jinian had been bullied by me over the years. He was very clear about it. Su Yanbing originally disliked Ji Yu Haoming. If she found out I was sneaking around with another woman, wouldn't she hate me even more? Thinking this, Lu Yu directly sent a message to Su Yanbing. Your husband is on a date with a young model at Time Restaurant. Su Yanbing saw this message and immediately called to check my whereabouts. Meanwhile, I noticed Moran Yan had arrived. I greeted her and closed my notebook. I picked up my orange juice and took a sip. I sent another photo of clothing to Su Yanbing. I put away my phone and looked up. I saw Moran Yan take off her hat and mask, looking at me. At the age of 20, it's the peak of youth. A face so beautiful it simply looks edible. Her skin is so good it's like it's been kept in pristine condition. A pair of beautiful eyes like crystal carry a hint of deep emotion. When she smiles, she leaves her fans spellbound. When she doesn't smile, there's an added hint of melancholy. Such a beauty that even through the screen makes people. The stunning beauty who makes people scream is sitting right across from me. Everyone at work is sitting opposite me, just staring at me so intently. I took a sip of my drink and casually said, I have a crush on my brother. Moran Yan instantly felt shy and looked away. I raised the drink beside me and took a sip. She looked back at me again. I'm just curious. How did my brother convince my mom? It seems Fang Xin didn't tell her about me threatening her. I smiled. Of course it was because the terms I offered were too good. Your mom couldn't resist the temptation. Moran Yan looked puzzled. Then why do you offer such good terms? I looked at her and said, because you deserve it. After saying that, I felt it could easily be misunderstood. I added another sentence. You are so outstanding. I believe you can create greater value for the company in the future. Moran Yan stared at me for a while, as if she finally confirmed something. Brother, your judgment is indeed poor. I raised my eyes with a questioning look at her. Moran Yan looked at me and slightly lowered her gaze. You have your sights set on Su Yanbing. But the whole world knows that Su Yanbing doesn't love you. And I'm not as exceptional as you think. I didn't care about the first half of her sentence. I put away my smile and looked at her with a calm gaze. It seems as though he can see right through her. You're feeling pressure so soon. You disappoint me. Moran Yan felt that I seemed to understand her very well, as if she could see the real her in my eyes. He seems to know he is trapped in his mother's cage, choking in the confined cage. So he used signing her to rescue her. I casually spoke while eating, looking at me like this. I guessed it right, didn't I? Suddenly, my phone rang. I opened it to check. Su Yanbing replied. I sent her another photo. Yanbing looked at the photo I sent. The hand on the steering wheel withdrew, stepped on the brake, and instant reaction. Came to a stop. 15 minutes later, she stood outside the private room of Time Restaurant. At this moment, Jiu Haoming sent her another photo. Inside the private room, I had just put down my phone. With a bang, the door of the private room slammed against the wall and shook. Following that, Su Yanbing approached me with a cold expression. She looked quite fierce. I was somewhat surprised. This woman's self-harm this time is a bit intense. Apparently, she was quite angry at being deceived by me. Marong Yan stood up in an instant. Marong Yan had no choice but to leave upon seeing this. Looking closely, said in a low voice. I slowed down and spoke softly. I looked at Marong Yan without a hint of fear. I gestured for her to leave. You go back first. Su Yanbing pushed me against the table. I gave her a reassuring look. Jiu Haoming looked at Marong Yan with warm eyes. Su Yanbing's delicate face was as cold as frost. Go back. It wasn't that fake smile I had when I looked at her. Marong Yan looked at me and then at Su Yanbing. Her body was almost pressed against mine. Then I coldly looked at Marong Yan. Want to see us live stream as a couple? I couldn't help but chuckle in my heart. You can't even handle being touched. You're still live streaming? Looking at me with concern. The private room was suddenly left with just the two of us. Waters flowing. Su Yanbing looked at me with a piercing gaze. Her icy eyes held a storm within. Haoming, you're quite good at playing mind games with me. I weakly glanced at her. I'm just picking out clothes for you. I've considered every outfit sent over by the store manager. I paid careful attention to all of them. I sent you all the ones I found appealing. Why are you so angry? Is it because you saw me having tea with another woman? Are you jealous? I know exactly what would disgust her the most. Saying she likes me. How could she possibly handle that? It's like hearing a century-old joke. Jiu Haoming, you really know how to indulge yourself. I took the initiative to lean closer to her. My coaxing attitude was sincere. I thoughtfully found excuses for her. So why are you so upset? Are you unhappy with the way I pick clothes? How do you want me to arrange it for you? You tell me. Su Yanbing tightened her grip on the table edge. Watching the way I tried to coax her, her expression softened a bit. Then she pulled me along. I was dragged all the way to the car by her. Then I was shoved into the car. 15 minutes later, Su Yanbing took me into a women's clothing store in the mall. She sat down to rest. She glanced and said, hand me the peach. I showed her the new styles that the store had displayed prominently. How about this? Su Yanbing glanced at it and then continued looking down at her phone. Clearly, it didn't catch her attention. The clerk immediately approached enthusiastically to help pick out clothes. She picked up a piece and introduced it to me. Sir, I think this one is nice. Su Yanbing shot a cold glance at her instantly. She thought, make it clear. Say it clearly. The clerk would immediately back away far. I figured it out. This woman is just about reciprocation. The tricks I just played on her. I didn't want to pick for her. But she insisted. She just had to make me choose. I ran around getting one piece after another until my legs were tired. Su Yanbing sat there with her legs crossed, quietly playing with her phone. Sometimes she would just give me a disdainful glance. Other times she would at least say something. She brought every piece of clothing in front of me. You even grabbed clothing that didn't suit you. Are you this casual when choosing clothes for yourself? Green. Do you want to give me a green hat to match? I let her criticize everything. I continued to be a good listener, following her heart and catering to her wishes. While shopping at the second store, I picked out a set before I started to propose. I think this set looks good. Do you want to try it on? Su Yanbing glanced at me. If you think it's good, then I'll try everything you like. I might not survive leaving this store alive. Following the principle that her happiness is most important, I continued to coax her. So how do you feel about this set? Su Yanbing cast a couple of glances. However, I looked at her a bit annoyed. I'm too lazy to argue with him, so I'll just brush it off casually. You need to wear it to know. You make me line up but don't trust my taste. Isn't this just wasting your precious time? Su Yanbing glanced at me. She dropped the magazine and stood up, snatching the clothes from her hands. Go to the fitting room to try on clothes. Can I finally take a break? I took out my phone and opened it. I replied to a few messages. I ordered a drink and was just about to sit down. Someone is calling me. Jiu Haoming. Here to buy clothes for your wife again, huh? She stays in hotels most of the time. She doesn't even go home. Are you buying her clothes? Can she even wear it? His words were full of mockery and bragging towards me. Upon hearing this, I couldn't help but frown. Find this person from the original owner's memories. It's that guy from high school who wanted to be involved in everything. The original owner's rival, the young master of the Luo family, Luo Tianyu. Relatives from Su Yanbing's family. You can't tell how it looks just by looking at the clothes. You and your wife are a perfect match, destined to be loving together. Just looking at it makes me want to cry with envy. How about I take another picture for you? Post more in your social circle. Let others be envious too. Upon hearing this, Luo Tianyu was both surprised and delighted. Usually, it would take several rounds of tearing into each other. He surrendered as soon as he came up this time. It seems that the young master's pride has also been lost from being hurt by Su Yanbing. He suddenly felt even more superior. The look in my eyes expresses even more sympathy. I'm not showing off my affection. I'm just feeling sorry for you. Chasing after Su Yanbing for so many years. They won't even touch you, and I want you to wake up. You're really devaluing yourself by chasing like this. It is well known online that the original owner was desperate to force a marriage. Where originally the native ones are usually found. Passers-by can't help but comment and discuss. More and more people who love to watch the excitement and don't mind the chaos have appeared. Yeah, It's so cheap. It's practically embarrassing all men. If I were like this, my mom would probably be so mad she'd rise from her grave. Luo Tianyu became even more smug upon hearing everyone's comments. Did you hear that? Ji Haoming. Think about your parents. You've turned yourself into a joke. Let them also become a joke. I looked at him indifferently. Thank you for your kind intentions. Don't put any more thought into me in the future. Pay more attention to your own wife. Live your own life well. Don't be oblivious while being cheated on. Luo Tianyu laughed in anger, as if hearing the biggest joke. I'm being cheated on. The woman beside him looked at me with a mocking and cold expression. Husband. This person is just unhappy in their own marriage. Look at how well we're doing. Feeling unbalanced inside, wanting to sow discord. We should keep people like this at a distance. Luo Tianyu nodded and said mockingly. Even excessive affection is looked down upon. So don't come out and embarrass yourself by gossiping. No wonder Su Yanbing doesn't like you. I like Lu Jinian. I laughed at him while crossing my arms. It's out in the open. I'm richer than you and better looking too. There's no protection for the head either. Besides, my wife and I are doing well. As I said this, I pulled Su Yanbing beside me into my embrace. Su Yanbing stared coldly. Brand chokes the neck. 1000. I reached into the back of her neck to pull out the tag. For a moment, Luo Tianyu, who got up, and his wife were both stunned. The onlookers were also taken aback. It's not about pursuing someone excessively. It's not that Su Yanbing doesn't like me. The rumors really can be trusted. At this moment, I took the initiative to move closer to her. Yan Shui, likely a name or term. To be honest, I dreamed about kissing you all night last night. Su Yanbing pushed me away as I expected. She gave me a glare with a dark expression. Tu Yan glanced at the onlookers beside her. The bystanders finally left understanding the situation. Su Yanbing reached out to take her ringing phone and answered it. The little assistant's voice came through. Package. Marong Yan has already signed with the Gu family. Su Yanbing looked at me drinking the fruit drink beside her. Then she gritted her teeth and said, then dig it over for me. I finished a glass of ice-cold fruit juice. I looked at Su Yanbing feeling refreshed and clear-headed. I just saw her staring at me with a bad expression. I was puzzled about what could make her so angry. Does that mean I should leave? I waited for her to speak. As a result, Su Yanbing brought the clothes. Drive back and let me check out. Wait for me to finish checking out. Su Yanbing turned around and entered a shoe store. Sit down and look at me. She spoke in an authoritative, commanding tone. What are you dazing out for? Go line up for me. I picked one out for her. How about this one? Su Yanbing coldly pulled at the corner of her mouth. I can see the explosion. Got it. I handed her the shoes. Su Yanbing glanced at me. You come. I can say I know. This woman thinks trying on clothes won't torment me. I gritted my teeth and smiled as I squatted beside her. I pinched her calf. Lift your foot. Su Yanbing gave me a cold glare. I changed her into new shoes. How is it? Su Yanbing glanced away. I looked around in the shoe store. I didn't want to make her try anymore. Su Yanbing wouldn't let it go at all. Not coming out. Just trying on one pair after another. While I helped her try them on, I cursed her ancestors in my mind. Su Yanbing dealt with 2 pairs of shoes. Group photo with friends. It's a photo of Su Yanbing and me at the mall. A side photo of the two of us looking at each other, warmly sharing a piece of news. But the atmosphere in the photos gives the illusion of love. Clicked to open the link and took a look. Inside is the photo from just now. There are also some other ambiguous photos. To have a woman like this, a pavilion person, unclear context. She knows better than anyone. The comment section believes it to be true. She has unclear context. She's already unclear context. The comments section all believed it to be true. Netizens this time are quite skilled at sarcasm. I was successfully tricked into this by the title. I want to see the joke. You're feeding me dog food. Are you being polite? This is called not loving. What the heck, this still isn't love. God, come out and say something. It's one thing to give them wealth and looks. You even give them love. Why am I the one with no qualities? Which direction do I pray to? Shu Yan person, unclear context. Brothers upstairs. Dreams come quicker. The assistant saw the trending topic about Su He and Mr. Gu. Call immediately to have the trending topic removed. She has followed Su for so many years. Su Dai hates trending with Mr. Gu the most. Especially the trending topics about their love. Every time she sees it, it makes her want to withdraw. If she withdraws late, she'll get scolded and have her bonus deducted. At this time, Su Yanbing and I have returned to the office. The assistant handed her the documents to sign. With a hint of pride, she said, You and Mr. Gu are trending again. You and Mr. Gu are trending again. However, I reacted quickly. I immediately had them remove it. By now, it's no longer on the trending list. Su Yanbing raised her gaze and stared at her. The assistant waited for praise but heard none. She glanced at her once, then again. She felt something was off. Then she saw Su Yanbing coldly tugging at her lips and speaking. I see you've been quite free lately. In 1 day's time. I want to see all the information about that project in the northern suburbs. The assistant looked completely bewildered. She could only take the documents and leave quickly. Su Yanbing picked up her phone. Su Yanbing doesn't love Ji Yu Haoming. As expected, it's no longer trending. Meanwhile, I have been tormented by Su Yanbing for so long. The desire to bring her down is too strong. I rushed to GU Corporation to find GU Warner at the first opportunity. It's really hot outside on this scorching day. As soon as I came in, I sat down on the chair, picked up a document from the table to fan myself, lowered the air conditioning a few degrees. GU Warner glanced at me. Aren't you dating Su Yanbing? I remembered the comment section saying about me. Trending topic about the sweet love between me and Su Yanbing. I still haven't figured it out. Su Yanbing makes me almost unable to contain my disgust. How was it seen as love? I glanced at Gu Wanner. I really want to date her. I'll find time to come see you. Asking Gu Wanner repeatedly. Chu Wanner looked at me and asked, does she have feelings for someone? I shook my head. It's impossible for her to like me. Gu Wanner's eyes seemed to sparkle with interest. Are you sure? I put the document back on the table. I've been circling around her for so many years. How could I not know who she likes? She's pulling this sort of stunt, just to create the illusion that our families are very close, so that you won't be wary of her. Then take the opportunity to bring down the Gu family. I came to remind you to be cautious of her. Su Yanbing is threatening and torturing me to avoid a divorce. That means she definitely wants to follow her main storyline. Bring down the Gu family and leave me with nothing. I have to be a bit nervous. The company might uncover some issues. Gu Wanner waved her hand. No, the project is fine too. I feel a bit surprised. Since it can't be figured out, I can't stop the female lead scheme. Then I can only earn more money. Gu Wanner looked at me with an overly anxious expression. She couldn't help but say, the one you showed me last time. What is the ending of the time travel novel? I looked at Gu Wanner and said, I know. This sentence seems nonsensical or incorrectly structured. Could you provide clarification? If you're interested, wait until he's finished writing to give it to me. I'll show it to you. After saying that, I left the company. I drove back home. The book states that after Su Group acquired Westwind Pharmaceuticals, it had been declining for several months. Westwind Pharmaceuticals began a series of limit upgrades. In less than half a month, it doubled its assets in G City. According to the book's storyline, the acquisition is supposed to happen in these few days. I have no good excuse to tell Gu Wanner about this. I can only buy it myself. As soon as I got home, Aunt Zhang said my mom was talking about me online. I spent the afternoon gossiping about Su Yanbing. Her mood instantly became a bit complicated. Upon seeing me come back, only then did my mom put away her phone. I immediately need to ask Aunt Zhang to prepare dinner. Let Su Yanbing come over for dinner tonight. I really don't want Su Yanbing to come and eat at home, especially since she wants to bring down the Gu family. She doesn't deserve to eat the Gu family's food, but I definitely don't want to go home to cook for her. So, I sent a message to Su Yanbing. My mom wants you to come home for dinner tonight. Su Yanbing replied instantly. Yan Wei. Seeing her response put me completely at ease. Surely, he needs to explain the trending topic to Lu Jinian. I don't have to cook for her anymore. After Su Yanbing finished her work, he checked the time on his wrist, checked the time at the lab. He picked up his eyes again. He picked up his phone again to check the scenery. His own department. This man hasn't replied to her messages since. It seems he really doesn't want her to be strong. She put away her phone and stood up. By the time I arrived at the Gu family, it was already 5:30. Every time she came to the Gu family in the past, it was all my parents subtly pressuring her. Let her experience the feeling of being threatened over and over again. Later, she no longer had to suffer the threats from the Gu family. She never came back again. As soon as she entered the house, she saw me and Gu Wanner is chatting on the sofa. I have no idea what they're talking about. The smile on her face is completely different from the fake smile she gives her. Gu Wanner is peeling the pomegranate. Her eyes are practically glued to me. My mom stepped forward to greet her. She's here. Gu Wanner and I raised our hands and looked at her. I was momentarily stunned. Didn't that bitch say she was busy? Gu Wanner glanced at Su Yanbing. Hand me the plate of pomegranate that has been peeled. I casually took a few pieces and stuffed them into her mouth. This caught Gu Wanner's attention. She held it herself. I was taken aback for a moment and took it. I thought she peeled it for herself because she wanted to eat it. I didn't expect she peeled it for me. What man wouldn't like a woman like that? Then I looked at the cold-faced Su Yanbing. I immediately expressed my disdain. Didn't you say you were too busy? Su Yanbing ignored Gu Wanner. She took the pomegranate from my hand and placed it on the coffee table. Then she smiled and looked at me. Do you want one or not? She emphasized the word, surprise, heavily. After speaking, she casually reached out and linked her arm with mine. She softly whispered in my ear. If I'd known, I wouldn't have come and let you get to know someone. If I come, I won't come again. I couldn't help but glare at her. Don't meddle in this. Su Yanbing frowned and looked at me. Pay attention to how you speak to me. I felt a bit displeased. If it weren't for the family being here, I'm bound to be treated like a hungry wolf. Give her a good dose of disgust. When Su Yanbing arrived, my mom only had eyes for her son, cheerfully calling everyone to eat. Only then did Su Yanbing let go of me. She hasn't come to our house for a meal in a long time. My dad has a lot of objections towards her. Didn't talk to her at the dining table either. My mom, for her son, still treating her like a VIP with a warm smile. Gu Wanner silently watched without revealing her feelings. In the past, I was at the dining table. It's all about serving dishes to Su Yanbing without stopping. All the delicious food is being served to her. Right now, I'm just enjoying my meal by myself. Shu Yan couldn't help but glance over. Seeing this, my mom couldn't help but remind me. How Ming. Don't just focus on eating for yourself. Take care of Yanbing. I'm speechless. She's in her 30s. She's not a child. She still needs someone to take care of her. I said so. I casually served her some vegetables again. After serving Su Yanbing, I served food to my dad again. I served food to both my mom and Gu Wanner. It's all about being fair. I love everyone. After serving the food, I was ready to eat when I saw everyone at the table was looking at me. Aren't you all eating? Why is everyone looking at me? My dad was looking at his few ladies. There was no longer just Su Yanbing in my eyes. I started placing delicious food into my parents' bowls. Finally, a happy smile appeared. After dinner, Su Yanbing greeted everyone and went home. I haven't slept well for 2 days. I took a shower. I plan to sleep well. Su Yanbing sent me a message. It's today. This is the photo that went viral. It is evident that. I clenched my teeth in anger and pretended to be clueless. What trending photos? Su Yanbing sent me the link. I pretended to be surprised. Do you like me? Su Yanbing replied instantly. 2 minutes of words. If I don't see it on social media, I'm letting you go. The department knows clearly whether I like you or not. While cursing, I saved the photo to share it on my social media, and paired with a nauseating caption for her. It was forced by someone to be posted. Do you guys think she is completely in love with me? Soon, there were responses coming in one after another. I don't believe you sent it for her. Unless there's one on our social media too. If she doesn't show off, I won't believe she loves you. Wen Mumu directly tagged Su Yanbing in the friend group. Jiu Haoming said you forced him to post on social media to show off his love. Is it true or not? Tisk tisk tisk. Hard to imagine. The other close friends all. Su Yanbing just came out of the shower. Seeing the message made me laugh in anger. I tossed my phone aside. They all must be blind. There's no love at all. Where's the show of affection coming from? The next day, I planned to visit the agency after finishing breakfast, but I was stopped by Su Yanbing. The company. I was a bit puzzled. The company? She glanced over. To meet my need to be available at any time. I was truly speechless. The company. They guarantee availability just the same. Shu Yan gave me a warning glance. Give me a minute. This bitch knows how to torment me. I had no choice but to take my notebook and follow her to the company. When I got to the company, I took out my phone. I planned to hand over the task of finding the male and female leads to Ji Wanner. At that moment, my phone rang. Marong Yan sent him a message. Brother, I heard you were going to shoot a drama. Can I act in it? I was taken aback for a moment. The thing I'm shooting isn't the traditional kind of drama or film. The starting point is very low, and the requirements are also minimal. After sending it, I felt Su Yanbing's cold gaze on me. I immediately set my phone to vibrate mode. Marong Yan replied. Can I really act? I feel a bit confused. I can act if needed. But having you act is truly wasting your talent. I have a better arrangement for you. And there's hardly any pay for short dramas. The shooting schedule is tight. The actors are all inexperienced newcomers with little acting skill. Marong Yan continued speaking. I know. I want to act. Didn't you say you would give me the freedom to choose? I feel somewhat helpless. I know you still want to act. Marong Yan smiled slightly. Something my brother has high hopes for. It must be something good. I can't miss this opportunity. I feel emotional inside. Who said yesterday that her judgment was poor? I signed her just to save her. I don't want her to end her life in despair like in the book. The most important thing right now is her happiness. I didn't intend for her to earn much for the company. But since she wanted to act, I agreed. Marong Yan plays the female lead. Having a fan base will definitely make it more popular. I'll handle the male lead's lines myself. This way, when the show becomes popular, my parents can boast about me when they go out in the future. Their son has something to be proud of now. Plus, I can kiss all the female celebrities in the entertainment industry while filming. I can admire the long legs of all the goddesses. I was happily thinking while holding my phone. I unintentionally locked eyes with Su Yanbing's cold gaze. I immediately put away my smile. Su Yanbing shot me a cold look and said, Go get me a glass of water. The water dispenser is right next to me. I got up and poured her a glass of cold water. Su Yanbing added, I want it hot. I drank the water from the disposable cup in one gulp. I glanced at Su Yanbing before tossing it into the trash can. I went to get her a cup of hot water again. Su Yanbing had an expressionless face. No clear translation. Possibly a typo or missing context. Then what about your cup? Su Yanbing continued. I watched her clench her fist. Negotiation. Su Yanbing let out a cold laugh. I've been enduring, and now I'm getting impatient. I forced a smile. How could I dare? Su Yanbing didn't give me a good look. This time I played it smart and asked with a smile. What flavor do you want to drink? Su Yanbing paused her pen and looked at me. What flavors are there? I was speechless but still smiled at her flatteringly. I'll go downstairs to show you. When I got downstairs, I took a photo of the coffee menu and sent it to her. However, Su Yanbing didn't reply at all. I bought one of each flavor of the drink. I used her card to have the coffee shop staff bring it up. Su Yanbing got up to prepare for the meeting. And then she saw me coming up. Behind me was a staff member carrying over 20 cups of coffee. All the flavors were there. I smiled at her, and it was such a fake smile. My hand was holding a 10. Su Yan casually picked up one. Yan casually took a cup and said, Clean up the office. The office is clean and orderly. The office is very quiet. What's there to tidy up? I took a cup. I shared the remaining coffee with the office staff. Then I sat in the CEO's office. Opened the stock ticket and bought the maximum amount for myself. This stock for Zifeng Pharmaceuticals. Then I continued writing the script. Su Yanbing returned after her meeting. She saw me sitting cross-legged on the sofa, typing on my laptop at lightning speed. That speed is faster than someone who uses it regularly. Even someone who types on a computer all the time doesn't type that fast. Su Yanbing muttered to herself. This man is out there flirting with women. Is he venting his bad mood? Thinking of this, Su Yanbing returned to her desk and sat down. Leaning back in her chair, she looked over at me. Get me a cup of water. I was in the zone when she interrupted me. Gritting my teeth, I closed the notebook. I walked over with a smile in my eyes. A smile doesn't quite reach the eyes. Do you want hot water or cold water? Or just water? Su Yanbing's expression changed instantly. She smirked slightly. Guess. I leaned closer to her, looking at her with a dark expression. I guess. I thought she would react like last time. But Su Yanbing just remained indifferent. It's as if she saw through my intentions. She wasn't even scared. I directly placed my hand on her leg. I could feel Su Yanbing's body tensing up at a visible speed. Her expression changed in an instant as well, clearly trying to suppress something. My mood instantly brightened. The coffee I had just drunk had milk in it. Do you want to give it a try? Su Yanbing's face immediately flushed. Get off me. I'm just like a desperate old scoundrel. I only know how to roll in bed. Su Yanbing reached out, about to push me away. At this moment, the office door was pushed open. The little assistant quickly blocked her face with the documents. Push me away from her. Su Yan opened long. I will come back later. Su Yanbing pulled my hand away. You guys continue. I didn't see anything. The little assistant brought her along. Come back to me. The little assistant hung her head. Okay, Supak, likely a name or code. Afraid to see what I shouldn't. I quietly stood to the side. Written words. A cold stare. A focused gaze. The attention in her gaze. What are you doing standing here? I glanced at her, intentionally misinterpreting her meaning. Then I'll go back and wait for you in bed. It's not easy to negotiate for life. Shu Yan finally managed to calm down. Her face instantly turned dark with anger. The little assistant was scared to death. I overheard something I shouldn't have. Are you going to lose your head? The little assistant took a sneaky glance. Shu Yan bit her teeth in frustration. Don't do this kind of thing anymore. There's a kitchen in the back. To-do ring. Upon hearing this, I had no choice but to turn around and go inside. Only then did I realize that there was more than just a kitchen inside. There's also a living room, a lounge, and a bathroom for video conferencing. It's obvious that Su Yanbing used to live here quite a bit. After surveying, I opened the fridge. After taking a look, I decided to open the fridge. There aren't many vegetables in the fridge. I was just about to go out. He placed the bag in his hand on the desk and spoke up. I hurriedly backed away. Lu Jinian glanced at Yan Shui. Then I saw Lu Jinian had arrived. My mom made it by hand after being discharged from the hospital. Let me bring it over for you to try. Su Yanbing took a look at it. First, I took a glance at it. How is your body recovering? Lu Jinian looked at her with love in his eyes. Recovering quite well. I'm feeling great. You can eat and sleep well too. When do you have free time? She has been saying she wants to invite you over for a meal. Thank you for your help during my previous hospitalization. Shu Yan nodded slightly. Nodded. I waited a while to see her. If you have things to do, then be busy. If there are matters, take care of them. If there's anything, stay for lunch. Lu Jinian took a moment to react. I've been resting for the past few days. It's nothing important. The next second, I heard Su Yanbing coldly say. Did you overhear clearly? Once I understood, I went to buy groceries. I was listening intently with my ears perked up. Hearing this, he had no choice but to come out. Lu Jinian instinctively turned towards the inside. He saw me walking out from inside. His palms instantly tightened. He thought Su Yanbing was going to take him out to eat. Just the two of them. I figured she wanted Ji Yu Haoming to cook for him. She has settled on a husband. I greeted Lu Jinian enthusiastically. I'm going to buy groceries right now. You all take your time to chat. After saying that, he took his phone and left. Lu Jinian pursed his lips and looked at Su Yanbing. You go ahead and do your thing. I'm going to the bathroom for a moment. A few minutes later, he sent Su Yanbing a message. Lu Yu just asked to meet with me. I'm leaving now. We'll have a chance to eat together later. I went crazy buying stuff as soon as I got to the supermarket. Su Yanbing asked me to cook for Lu Jinian. If it were the original owner, they would definitely cause a scene. I'm different now. What I focus on is helping others. I can't wait for them to spark a fire soon. I bought some vegetables. I also bought a bunch of snacks to give to Lu Jinian. As a result, I returned to the office carrying 2 big bags. I found that only Su Yanbing was there. I asked, where is Lu Jinian? Su Yanbing glanced at me. You have made plans before. Have you forgotten about it? I placed a bag of snacks on the desk. I regret treating him that way in the past. It's only now that I want to treat him well. These are the snacks I bought for him. When he comes back, you can give them to him. Su Yanbing glanced at the snacks on the table and looked up at me, seeing the fine sweat on my forehead. But there was no trace of hypocrisy or displeasure towards Lu Jinian on his face. She reluctantly averted her gaze. When can I break free? Su Yanbing looked up at me, questioning in her heart, while shining a light on others, still getting upset with oneself. Getting upset over nothing. I stepped forward a few steps and continued. Did you say something that made him angry? It's still yesterday's trending topic you missed. Explain to him clearly, he misunderstood. Someone confessed to you, and you still haven't replied. My heart feels so tired. The slow progress between the male and female leads. At those words, my voice suddenly rose. I want to teach them how to date, step by step. In the end, that bitch didn't listen to me at all. Su Yanbing slammed the signature pen down on the table. My business is none of your concern. I hurried to cook. I am really infuriated. Looking at her completely unfazed demeanor. This despicable Yanbing should, in theory, be putting the divorce on the agenda by now. The male lead has already confessed early. I had no choice but to grit my teeth and take the dishes to the kitchen. But she clearly has no intention of doing that. She maintained her composure so well yet suddenly brought me to trending topics. When we got to the company, everyone mistakenly thought our relationship had improved. It seems there's a strong desire to secretly bring down the GU family. She has the protagonist halo. There are no clues to be found on Wanner's side. So can I take the opportunity with her? I worked on 3 cases. I politely asked Su Yanbing to go out for dinner. I casually glanced at the documents on her desk. In the afternoon, while Su Yanbing went to a meeting, I started to secretly go through the documents on her desk. After flipping through it, it's all just ordinary report and approval documents. While Su Yanbing wasn't back yet, I continued to write the script. The next day, Su Yanbing asked me to follow her to the office again. The only silver lining was that around 10 in the morning, I saw the news that Sus Company was acquiring Zifeng Pharmaceuticals. When I opened my stock account, I found that the stocks were suspended. Great, I successfully caught the rise point. I didn't find any useful information in her office. I spent Su Yanbing's money to treat the office staff to milk tea and desserts to build relationships. As I distributed the food, I smiled at the employees. Work should be a balance of work and rest. You are all my wife's reliable partners. You all contribute to the company's development. These are just my little thoughts. Don't be polite. The original owner never even glanced at them in the company. They were caught off guard. They all used to be scolded by the original owner. Now, delivering food to them while appearing so easygoing. Everyone dared not speak out of turn. But they could only accept politely. I took the initiative to find a topic to get closer to a female employee. With such beauty, do you have a partner? If not today, I will introduce you to someone another day. Everyone suddenly became anxious. She does. Mr. Gu, I don't have one. Mr. Gu, I'm also single. Is everyone in the office this dull every day? Su Yanbing came back from outside. Just saw me leaning against the woman's desk, chatting enthusiastically with everyone. Just getting involved with her company. Su Yanbing coldly asked the little assistant who followed her. How could the person Mr. Gu introduced be of poor quality? The little assistant tapped the doorframe while holding the documents. Have you finished the necessary work? I turned around and saw Su Yanbing with a cold and stern expression staring at me. I smiled and waved at everyone. I followed Su Yanbing back to the office. Su Yanbing sat in her office chair, giving me a cold glare. Do you want me to arrange a position for you in the office? I glanced at her. I thought to myself that I actually wanted to go. But that cold Su Yanbing was clearly being sarcastic. She smiled on the surface and said, just listen to my lady wife. I'm just a brick by your side. Wherever you say to move, I'll move. At noon, I'll make dumplings. Handmade. Do you want to eat me? I'm all natural. Su Yanbing shot me a glare with her beautiful eyes. Then go ahead and boil yourself. I nodded and said, okay, I'll go right now. Eating dumplings is one thing, but they also have to be handmade. But I'm being frightened right now. I'll get no good outcome if I anger her. Su Yanbing just doesn't want me to have it easy. Before she went out in the afternoon, she even warned me. Just stay here obediently. If I find out you disturb someone else's work again, I'll. For several days straight, Su Yanbing made me follow her to the company every day. My range of activity was only her office. I couldn't go anywhere else. Everything can only be communicated through the phone. Fortunately, Su Yanbing is very busy, so my time being tormented is limited. I have recreated 2 scripts again. But the short film is about to start shooting. As the male lead, I am also threatened by Su Yanbing to come to the company every day. I can't go anywhere. I immediately panicked. In the afternoon, I sat on the sofa, watching Su Yanbing handle her work, thinking about how to make her not want to see me. She clearly hates me. Yet she brings me to the company every day just to torment me. This can be considered as harming the enemy 8000. Otherwise, I might as well bring some heavy news. Shu Yan inadvertently raised her head, only to see me staring at her, taking a deep breath to calm down. Then met again. With that little brain of yours, is it enough? Long or not, I'll lend it to you. I have work to do. At this moment, the phone rang. She picked up her mother's call. Your sister and her family are coming back today. Bring Haoming back for dinner tonight. The greatest fate for Yan is to take me back to her family for dinner. In her parents' eyes, I am the only son of the Gu family. Marrying me is a huge gain. Every time I went back, everyone was around her. I reminded her to be nice to Gu Haoming. I didn't care at all whether she liked me or not. After ending the call, Su Yanbing glanced at me. Tonight we are going to my house for dinner. I heard we are going to her house for dinner. It's simply heaven helping me. Her eyes instantly lit up. I stood up, eager to go out. I'm going to buy a gift. Su Yanbing lowered her gaze and looked at me. You just sit here and it's all good. Returning to Su Yanbing's family home was the original Gu Haoming's happiest thing. Because Su's parents are very pleased with their son-in-law. Everyone at home is on my side. Previously, every time he returned, the original Gu Haoming would arrive at the company early, waiting for her to finish work so we can go together. Just to be able to hold her arm when entering the house. That little bit of the original character. I plan to make her extremely disgusted tonight. That's also when Su Yanbing despised the original character the most. A time when I could be close to her without being pushed away. To disgust her to the point of fear. Don't think of me. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ha ha ha. That's enough. Let's see how I deal with her properly tonight. The car stopped at the Su family's old residence. I got out of the car and directly grabbed Su Yanbing's hand. Fingers intertwined, skin touching, connected at heart. This kind of disgust is deadly. Sure enough, as soon as I grabbed Su Yanbing's finger, she stiffened. Su Yanbing was just about to pull her hand back. I pulled her closer. I gently stroked her hand while moving closer to speak. I don't want to either. But your mom is watching. As soon as we came out, we saw our hands intertwined. The smile at the corner of my lips deepened. I took the opportunity to wrap my arm around Su Yanbing's waist. We rushed back today. I didn't have time to buy you gifts. Her Zhao Ruan body felt soft through the thin fabric. I could clearly feel the temperature of Su Yanbing's skin. Her body was tense. I sensed her disgust. She even deliberately pulled me closer. Not to mention, this woman's figure is quite shapely. Mom saw us being so close. She was smiling so wide that her mouth couldn't close. The house lacks nothing. You two seem to have a good relationship. That's the best gift you could give us. Although I used to come back with bags full of stuff, the news I brought back was always about two people not getting along. Let's hurry and get inside. We were just waiting for you. I didn't want to interrupt your little world. I'm eager to rush in and share the good news. Su Yanbing turned her head and shot me a cold glare. Have you had enough hugging? In the past, I also craved her body. But I had the burden of being a wealthy young master. I wouldn't dare to be so reckless. I wouldn't act so indulgently. At most, I'd hold Su Yanbing's hand and gaze at her lovingly. But now, I looked at her with an insatiable desire. Yet there was no emotion in his eyes. Like a roguish man passing through a sea of flowers without a petal touching him. While playing with her slender fingers, she smiled and said, "You usually peel them for me to eat. Can you peel it for me? Look at how happy your mom was just now." After Su Yanbing snorted coldly, striding in with long legs. The meal was ready. We just needed to sit down. Naturally, I sat next to Su Yanbing. I secretly glanced at the dishes on the table, and the more I looked, the better I felt. Sus' mother had always treated the original owner well. He promptly passed the good stuff to me. Hao Ming. Try this. Authentic Yangcheng Lake hairy crabs. I didn't hold back either. He took one and placed it in front of Su Yanbing. But I didn't take advantage of it for nothing. Although I took advantage of you while I could. The moment I said this, everyone at the table turned to look. Su Yanbing's expression instantly darkened. I'll peel it for you. If not, then don't eat. Wait for me to feed you. Sus' mother immediately scolded. Yanbing, how are you speaking? He's your husband. What's wrong with you giving him a crab? I spoke while bringing back the crab. If you don't want to peel it, then forget it. It doesn't matter if I don't eat. Sus' mother warned Su Yanbing with her eyes. Hao Ming, put it down. Su Yanbing glanced deeply at me. In the end, she started peeling the crab for me. I praised as I ate. I ate while feeling satisfied. Delicious, so delicious. Sus' mother brought the crab back to us again. If it's good, eat more. Yanbing, peel another one for Hao Ming. I looked at Su Yanbing. There was a hint of provocation in her eyes. Wife, I want to eat another one. Su Yanbing glanced at me. With a slight smirk, she took another one to peel for me. During this meal, I made her feel disgusted. After dinner, Sus' mother saw our good relationship. It felt as if a storm was about to arrive. Hao Ming and Yan Bing. Are you serious? You two have been married for 2 years now. I chuckled inwardly. She won't even let me touch her. How is she supposed to have a baby? Let's strive to have you holding a grandson as soon as possible. One is not enough. We've already discussed it. Decided to have a soccer team. Su Yanbing gritted her teeth. She leaned into my arms with a smile at the corner of her mouth. Mom, it's getting late. Let's go back and work hard. On the surface, I unceremoniously grabbed Su Yanbing's hand. After saying that, Su Yanbing pulled me up and left. I realized this woman could no longer tolerate it. With a great mood, I walked out of the hall. I continued to add fuel to the fire. Hao Ming and Yan Bing laughed. Beneath Su Yanbing's gaze, a storm was brewing. Happily brought us back to the sofa to chat. I was prepared to be pushed away by her. I widened my eyes in disbelief. Since you want it so much. After she finished speaking, Su Yanbing directly pressed her lips to mine, biting and gnawing. Violent like a raging storm. As a result, the woman smirked. I forced myself to calm down. Isn't it disgusting? Shouldn't I have reached my limit? What is going on? I instinctively wanted to push her away. Provoked a cold sarcasm from a woman. Not trying to have a soccer team, right? Not even letting me kiss. Seeing my confused expression, Su Yanbing said with a mischievous smile. What's wrong? You can't possibly be unable to do it, right? My lips were bitten and torn. The smell of blood brought me back to reality. My head was buzzing. Su Yanbing is allergic to me in a disgusting way. She hurt 1,000 but damaged herself 800. Thinking of this, I crossed my arms and smiled. Thought I wouldn't dare. Thought I was just joking. I didn't expect you to agree. So surprising, so unexpected. I also leaned into Su Yanbing's kiss. He pulled her shirt out with a bit of roughness. My hand slipped inside. And she didn't forget to say, I've waited too long for this moment. Su Yanbing's body was stiff as a board. I was just about to reach up. She was seized by Su Yanbing, who pushed her away forcefully by the wrist. Her expression was terrible. The emotion in her eyes was like lava erupting. HMPH. Did you think I would make it easy for you? After saying that, Su Yanbing left. She walked quickly, exuding an aura of coldness. I watched her discard her bag and drive away. I couldn't help but laugh. It seems I win. This woman is utterly disgusting. Su Yanbing went to the bar. I poured a glass of wine and downed it in one go. Shortly after, another round was poured. The few of them were curiously looking on. Ya tease. Yanbing, have you been drinking at home under supervision? Noticing the clues. Even without lipstick, I got kissed. It doesn't seem like drinkable liquor. Rather, it seems unable to satisfy Gu Haoming's needs. Escaped from the bed. All of you, get out. My heart continues to act recklessly. Looks like it is. 1. Not waiting for her to speak. Su Yanbing threw a bottle out. The bottle shattered into pieces. In an instant, the private room was silent, without a sound. Su Yanbing looked at them coldly. Listen carefully, you all. I do not like Gu Haoming. Don't mention him again. That brought her joy. The man she hates the most. She just wanted revenge. Might even come to like her. The three glanced at Su Yanbing. You look at me, I look at you. Then they all quietly walked away. I was brought back by Sus' family driver. I found that Su Yanbing had not returned. I just went in for a moment. The next day, I woke up. I picked up my phone. Su Yanbing did not summon me. Only Mu Rongyan sent me a message a few minutes ago. Bone. Filming is set to start tomorrow. When are you coming to the set? I thought for a moment and replied. Today. I'm still the male lead in the filming. Just thinking about it makes me a bit excited. The car stopped at the hotel entrance. I got out of the car. Femoral bend. It seemed that Mu Rongyan had been waiting for me. She rushed over at the first opportunity. Upon seeing the trunk open, she immediately stepped forward to help. I came. I didn't bother being polite with her and asked as we walked. Have you finished reading the script? Mu Rongyan nodded as she followed me, dragging her suitcase. I've finished it. This is the first time I've seen a script of this type. I really like it. I shook my head and smiled. Isn't it just a cliched love drama? Mu Rongyan looked at me. Although it's also a love story. But this time, it's a different life. It's quite special. Tall and strong. If life could happen once, would you still choose Yan Wei? I smiled at her. If it could start over, I definitely wouldn't give up an entire forest for a single tree. Mu Rongyan glanced at me. Seems like Ming Jie is? I looked at Mu Rongyan, startled, and spoke. Who hasn't had some regrets in life? Regret isn't scary. What's scary is being lost in regret. It's frightening to forget the better self ahead. Mu Rongyan looked at me. Slang, she feels I have a spark. Not at all the same. She's very relaxed chatting with me. Before I knew it, we had returned to the room. I returned to the room, tidying up as it's almost noon, thinking about Mu Rongyan's depression. So I invited her to lunch together. I plan to take care of her more while at the set. I'll invite her to eat together all the time. The next day, we also went to the set together. Instantly attracted everyone's attention. Ji Haoming came with Marong Yan. He is here to film. He is wealthy. What filming? I see he's interested in Marong Yan. Investing in myself to shoot. Taking advantage of others while filming. I hear there are quite a few balls. And then I started makeup and shooting. Is it hunger? Kilograms. I don't care about people pointing fingers at me. After the opening ceremony. This is the allure of money. I started working when I was 18. I've sold drinks at a bar and delivered takeout. I've done sales and held official positions. Worked in sales and ran for Bashi. Plus, I've seen the plays before. I know exactly how to act. During the shoot, sometimes I would give my co-actors some advice and guidance. I have the most scenes with Marong Yan. Marong Yan, as an experienced actress. Seeing a newcomer like me so experienced and unfazed. During the break in filming, there was a hint of curiosity in her gaze as she looked at me. Seeing me fanning myself with the script, she handed me her small electric fan. Bone. You can use this. I won't be polite either. She took it and blew it on her flushed face. I'll buy one when I go back. Mu Rongyan looked at me. Her eyes sparkled like stars. I'll give this to brother Hao Ming. I still have that. Femur. You're nothing like the rumors say. So, rumors aren't trustworthy. I finished blowing the fan on myself. Blowing on Mu Rongyan's face again. Aren't you hot? Mu Rongyan looked like a stockholder for a moment. I'm also used to her being this way. On the other side. In the president's office of the Su Group. Su Yanbing finished her work. Leaning back in the chair, I rubbed my temples. Pour me a glass of water. I received no response. She instinctively looked up, suddenly realizing I wasn't here. My face flashed in her mind again, and the softness of my lips from last night. At that moment, the phone rang. I opened it to find a photo. In the photo, I was holding a small fan and blowing it at Marong Yan. My face was lit up with a happy smile. Marong Yan looked at me with light in her eyes. Her face showed a hint of shyness. The male and female leads of Ji Haoming's new drama. How does this atmosphere feel? Su Yanbing replied disdainfully. Not great. After replying, she tossed her phone aside. Ignoring it, she opened her computer and continued working. The first day's filming went very smoothly. By the time we wrapped up, it was already 8 p.m. The director gave us promotional photos. Marong Yan posted a scarf and it quickly became trending. The comment section is filled with people bashing me. That one who only circles around Su Yan. Su Yanbing's Ji Haoming can actually act. Young Master Ji wants to be able to act. Then I can win an Oscar. Taking advantage of our goddess Marong every day. Does having money mean you can do whatever you want? Su Yanbing tossed her phone aside. The sun must be rising from the west. Ji Haoming actually went to shoot. Lin Xinyao jumped in to interrupt. Impressive. Acting opposite a female star. She can't be disgusted with Yan, can she? Note. This line contains unclear or slang expression, unable to provide a natural translation. Note. This line contains unclear or slang expression, unable to provide a natural translation. When Mumu shared the trending topics with us. Is she going to take a break? Are you all out of your minds? Ji Wanner saw the trending topics. You just called me on video directly. Why didn't you tell me in advance that you're going to shoot a film? Ji Wanner is looking at me. Even through the screen, I can sense her subtle unhappiness. I casually found an excuse. This isn't meant to give you a surprise. Ji Wanner quietly looked at me. I don't want this kind of surprise. I smiled at her with a hint of coaxing. So what do you want? I'll buy it for you when I earn some money. Upon hearing this, Ji Wanner's happiness was visibly evident. I want to spend all the money you earn. After chatting for a while, I hung up and went to sleep. I completely ignored the trending topics sent to me by the informant. Meanwhile, I saw online that everyone was slandering me. Marong Yan couldn't help but clarify in her fan club. I was the one who actively wanted to take on the role. Because the script is really good. Mr. Haoming is very nice. His acting skills are also great. Everyone believes me. Just wait patiently for the show to be released. Marong Yan's proactive explanation made the fans even less willing to watch. It forced Marong Yan to reveal The chat records where they previously asked me for the role. The next morning, I called Marong Yan to eat. I was startled by her dark circles. What did you do last night? Did you have insomnia? Marong Yan looked at me. She noticed I was in good spirits. She looks completely unbothered by online issues. I scratched my head. I just played on my phone too late. I glanced at her as I walked. Aren't you tired from filming all day? I still have the energy to play on my phone. While having breakfast, I just opened my phone. I refreshed the newsfeed. I just scrolled past Marong Yan's response from last night. The comments section overwhelmingly doubts Marong Yan. The chat logs that were released are edited. Marong Yan's account is controlled by the company. Even during the live stream, the fans also think she was forced to say that by the company. The more she speaks up for me, the more dissatisfied my fans become. Mu Rongyan lowered her head and whispered a reminder. Brother Haoming, you'd better not look at your phone. I put down my phone and looked at her. You stayed up late just to help me clarify things. Mu Rongyan looked at me somewhat embarrassed. I didn't expect it to get worse the more you helped. I thought they would believe me if I spoke up. I never thought it would turn out like this. I looked at her for a moment before continuing. I'm really happy that you're speaking up for me. But don't do this next time. I truly don't care what they say about me. Your well-being is much more important to me than that. A smile instantly appeared in Mu Rongyan's eyes. I guarantee it won't affect the shooting. After finishing our meal, we went to the film crew. We started a new day of intense filming. Mu Rongyan and I were filming a scene of jealousy and emotional tension. However, a luxury car parked not far away. Ji-Yu Wanner approached carrying a bag. I opened the car door for Mom and held the umbrella. Then I instructed my assistant to bring everyone the prepared desserts and drinks to the filming location. Mom walked briskly, showing her impatience. It's so hot today that there's not even air conditioning. How can Hao Ming stand it? He has never experienced this kind of hardship in his life. Ji-Yu Wanner followed Mom's pace leisurely. Ming isn't foolish either. If she felt it was tough, she'd definitely run away faster than anyone else. His not running means he doesn't find it difficult. Ji-Yu Wanner had already begun scanning for my figure. Then she saw me pulling Mu Rongyan's arm. I pulled her into my embrace, and we locked eyes. Ji-Yu Wanner tightened her grip on the bag she was holding. After Mu Rongyan and I finished filming, the director called for a break. It was then that I saw Mom and Ji-Yu Wanner. I quickly waved and asked, "What brings you here?" The assistant has already set her up. They held up the parasol. The table was laid out with food. Mom handed me a drink and said with concern, "It's your first time filming. We're not worried. We came to see you." I straightened up in my chair. I'm not a little kid. What is there to worry about? I glanced at Ji-Yu Wanner. Why did you come over to join the fun? Don't you have company? Ji-Yu Wanner looked at me, bright and happy. It's your first time filming. Even if I'm busy, I have to come see you. I took a few sips of my drink. I felt completely refreshed. I saw Marong Yan glancing this way not far off. She looked so lonely. Like a discarded kitten. I didn't even have to think to know. At this moment, she envied me for having family care. I waved at her. Xiao Yan. She saw me waving at her. Only then did Mu Rong Yan dare to come over. This is Mu Rong Yan, an artist from the company. This is my mom. This is Ji-Yu Wanner, the vice president of GU Group. I introduced them to each other. I got her a drink and invited her to sit down. Hello, auntie. Hello, Ji-Yu Wanner. Mu Rong Yan started chatting with my mom. I picked up a washed strawberry and started eating it. I found it tasty and pushed it in front of Mu Rong Yan. It's quite sweet. Give it a try. Mu Rong Yan obediently picked one up. Ji-Yu Wanner stood aside, quietly observing Mu Rong Yan. She was the one I wanted to sign back then. Now I'm pulling her to film a short drama. And I'm being so nice to Mu Rong Yan. Ji-Yu Wanner has also read this script. There are quite a few emotions. I felt Ji-Yu Wanner's gaze. I picked up that box of strawberries again. I placed it in front of her. Ji-Yu Wanner simply looked down at me. She didn't reach out to take it. I picked one up and stuffed it into her mouth. Ji-Yu Wanner looked at me in shock. I immediately stuffed another one into my own mouth. As if nothing was happening. No translation needed. It's a particle indicating completion. You all have seen it too. Hurry back now. The press conference for Su Group's acquisition of Westwind Pharmaceuticals has ended. Su Yanbing had just gotten into the car. The phone rang for. I opened it to find a photo. At a small leisure table, I stuffed a strawberry into Wanner's mouth. Ji-Yu Wanner and Mu Rong Yan both looked at me. Does this one have a sense of atmosphere? Su Yanbing stared at the photo for quite a while, looking uncertain. She texted me. Immediately come back to me. By the time I was supposed to have lunch, I only then saw the message Su Yanbing sent me. I didn't expect this woman would contact me so quickly. I can only delay my response. I'm currently shooting a film. Wait until I finish filming. Once I'm back, you can torment me as you like. What do you think? Su Yanbing frowned. Do you think you have any bargaining chips against me? I smiled slightly. Of course I do. I have a recording of Lu Jinian confessing to you. If you send me to prison, I will make the recording public. This is something I thought of during my spare time from filming these past few days. Thinking of a strategy suddenly. Although it's just a few sentences. I have read about it. I know all the interactions they've had. If I put it online and guide it a bit, the influence won't be negligible. Seeing that Su Yanbing didn't reply to me anymore, my mood instantly lifted. I even ate an extra bowl of rice. But happiness didn't last long. In the afternoon, while filming the last scene, I saw Su Yanbing at the filming site. Su Yanbing stared at me coldly through the crowd. It was like she was looking at a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. I was stunned the moment I saw her. I'm not at home. Such a great opportunity. She isn't properly developing a relationship with the male lead. Because I was distracted when I saw Su Yanbing leave. I encountered my first ing since the shoot began. Marong Yan followed my gaze and also saw Su Yanbing. She looked at me, noticing that my eyes didn't have the same look as when I saw my family arrive. She knows the whole world is laughing at Gu. Haoming is pursuing someone who doesn't love him. The whole world says Su Yanbing doesn't like me. If Su Yanbing doesn't like, how could she appear here when it doesn't make sense? And the way she looked at Ming Jae, it was very much like she was jealous. And I quickly regained my composure. Sorry, director. Let's do it again. This is a scene where the male lead is losing control because of jealousy and wants to kiss the female lead. The female lead slapped the male lead to remind him. They are acting in a scene where they have already divorced. I quickly adjusted my state of mind. But I noticed something was off with Marong Yan. I held her tightly little by little. Our waists were almost pressed together. At this close distance, I uncontrollably leaned in to kiss Marong Yan. Marong Yan should have pushed me away. But she didn't push him away at all. The director quickly shouted for a stop. Marong Yan, what's wrong with you? You should push him away. Push him away and hit him. Instead of waiting for him to kiss, Marong Yan apologized with her head down. Sorry about that. Sorry, director. I looked down at Marong Yan. What's wrong with you? Did you forget the following scene? Marong Yan withdrew her gaze from secretly watching Su Yanbing. I'm sorry, I lost my focus. The director is ready. Let's do it again. But this time, I hadn't kissed her yet. Someone was just dragged away. I was pinned against the corner outside the filming set by Su Yanbing. As soon as I raised my gaze, I met Su Yanbing's sullen face. She warned me with hostility. If you dare to film a kissing scene, I'll send you to jail. I glanced at her. My gaze fell on Su Yanbing's lips. You won't allow me to get close to my family? It was strong, wasn't it? Su Yanbing's expression changed in an instant. I'm jealous of you. That's funny. I just don't want to see you as a fool. The more you want it, the more I make you unable to get it. I picked up Su Yanbing. What do I want? What I want the most is just you. Last time, I had a taste of it. I'm restless every night. I had several spring dreams. I've tasted the sweetness. This time, I want to further disgust her. I hope she won't bother me for at least 10 days to half a month. Shu Yan's icy eyes glimmered. Shu Yan's eyes sparkled. Su Yanbing's cold eyes were about to shoot daggers. But she didn't move. It seems to be aimed at someone like me. There was a certain resistance. I ignored Su Yanbing's expression and leaned close to her ear. Since I'm here, why not let me experience a taste of my dreams tonight? Su Yanbing glanced over at Marong Yan, smirking as she uttered 2 words. Sounds good. Then she pulled me over to Marong Yan's side. Her gaze lightly fell on her. Do you have time? Let me treat you to a meal. Thank you for going to such lengths online for my husband last night. Marong Yan glanced at me and spoke. She was surprised. She asked to eat. If you're free. Looks like Su he is different from the rumors. Su Yanbing leaned against me. That's because you don't understand me. It was only at this moment that I vaguely understood Su Yanbing's purpose for being here. She thinks that I have a crush on Marong Yan. So she's here to ruin my good fortune. Looking at it again. Leaning in my arms on such a hot day. She can endure the nausea. I can't stand this heat. I looked at the 2 people who were staring at each other. If you have something to say, can you wait until we find a place with air conditioning? I ignored their gazes. Pushed Su Yanbing aside to change clothes. Hotel restaurant private room. Looking at the ice cream in my hand. Ordered several dishes that I love. Then she looked at the woman sitting across and asked, why aren't you speaking? Marong Yan looked at Su Yanbing. I'm sitting under the air conditioning. Is it good tomorrow? Do you want to eat? I glanced at her and called over a waiter. Help her get an ice cream as well. Marong Yan shot a glance at Su Yanbing with a smirk. That was quite provocative. Thank you, brother Haoming. Su Yanbing glanced at her. But isn't this sacrifice from Su Yanbing a bit too much? I glanced at Su Yanbing staring at me. Do you want some too? I was about to ask the waiter to get her one too. The ice cream in my hand was taken by her. Su Yanbing took the ice cream I had used. Under Marong Yan's gaze, it happened. I stared blankly at Su Yanbing. Eating the ice cream she has had before. This dog woman must be crazy. What about my cleanliness obsession? Marong Yan looked at Su Yanbing. It seems the rumors about Su he not liking brother Haoming are false. But in brother Daming's eyes, there's only. The rumors about Su he also seem to be false. Su Yanbing looked at me with a hint of a smile. Is that so? Besides me? Who else do you see in your eyes? Marong Yan said with a smile. What I mean is, brother Haoming's eyes hold the entire world. It's because I'm afraid there are other women in brother Haoming's eyes. Our eyes met. Marong Yan looked at Su Yan Shui. There is a slight award hanging on the corner of the mouth. Smiled meaningfully. Su Yanbing curled her lips. Fingers played with the ice cream shell. I stood up and poured a glass of water for each of them. They both looked at me. 3. If you say you're thirsty, let's have a drink of water before continuing. I'm going to the restroom. After I leave. Ming Yan looked at the person indifferently. Fingers playing with ice cream. The conditions offered by the Su family are more than half higher than those of the Gu family. Yet you chose to sign with the Gu family. To lower one's status and accompany Gu Haoming in acting. What are you really after? Marong Yan looked at Su Yanbing. A perfectly timed smile was always on her face. To lower one's status. Gu Ming is indeed a big deal in the Gu family. The son-in-law of the family. The value of any identity can be presented. They are all things I can only long for but cannot reach. How could acting with him lower my status? Does the package also think of itself? Is my husband really as worthless as everyone says? Since that's the case, Why not let go? I came out of the bathroom. The food has already been served. Seeing the atmosphere between the two was a bit tense. I started eating by myself. I didn't have time to care about their boredom at all. After a few bites, I noticed neither of them had touched their chopsticks. I couldn't help but ask, "Aren't you guys hungry?" Su Yanbing shot me a couple of glances, then called the waiter over, ordered a bottle of red wine. Mu Rongyan also took a wine glass. "I'll have a drink with Su-hee." I hurriedly stopped Mu Rongyan. "You shouldn't drink anymore. We still have to film tomorrow." Su Yanbing glanced at me lightly. "Tomorrow it may not be possible to shoot." I could hear Su Yanbing's threat. The recording I have in my hand, compared to the video in Su Yanbing's hands that would get me imprisoned, ultimately still a bit weak. Su Yanbing must have already thought of a way to deal with my threat. I gritted my teeth. I served food, poured wine, and handed over tissues to Su Yanbing. "I know you don't want me to suffer. You don't want me to come and film. I'll just experience it for 2 months. Su Yanbing just wants to see me, flattering her in front of Mu Rongyan, letting Mu Rongyan misunderstand that they have a good relationship, making it so I can't have Mu Rongyan. I can only fulfill her wishes." Mu Rongyan glanced at me and then at Su Yanbing. She seemed to say something, but her gaze on me grew twofold deeper. After eating a few bites, Mu Rongyan stood up. "Brother Haoming, I've finished eating. I'm heading back first. You all take your time eating. There are just the two of us left in the private room." I looked at Su Yanbing with a restrained smile in my eyes. "Are you satisfied now?" Su Yanbing was toying with her wine glass. "Seeing you so happy. Of course, I wouldn't be satisfied. If you cried, maybe I would be satisfied. I used to cry a lot because of Su Yanbing's sadness. If I liked Mirong Yan, she understood." It was something that left Su Yanbing in disbelief. I leaned closer to Su Yanbing, looking at her with deep affection. "I don't like her anyway. Why am I sad? I like you. Only you can make me sad." Su Yanbing sneered coldly while holding her wine glass. "You like me. Do you think I'm blind?" I met her fierce gaze. I bit her lip. "Just seeing you makes me want to kiss you. Isn't this love?" I was just wondering if Su Yanbing was going to be disgusted. However, Su Yanbing bit my lip back. But I quickly came to my senses. Just like last time, I met Su Yanbing's kiss. After all, Su Yanbing is the female lead with astonishing beauty. I won't lose anything by kissing her. I responded to Su Yanbing's kiss. I didn't expect the woman to push me away. Instead, the kiss became more intense. After a while, she finally let go. Following that, I heard Su Yanbing ask coldly, "Do you think this means I like you?" I caught my breath. I looked at her with a hint of scrutiny. "You can kiss even if you don't like someone. Don't you find it disgusting?" I saw Su Yanbing's expression freeze. It seemed like I hit the nail on the head. But quickly, Su Yanbing pushed me away and insisted, "Which normal woman would remain unmoved while kissing? It's fine even if it leads to the bed." I stood up and moved closer to her again. I looked at her with a tender gaze. Then I actually want to give it a try. At such a close distance, Su Yanbing's lips landed on my slightly swollen ones. She stood up, pulled me, and walked out. She pulled me all the way to the door. "Open the door. This woman really wants to go to bed with me." Su Yanbing glared at me coldly. Su Yanbing's eyes were filled with disdain. I immediately took out the room card. Once inside the room, I looked at Su Yanbing. I forced myself to calm down. Su Yanbing was particularly allergic to my affections. "I'm not afraid of paper tigers." Su Yanbing lowered her gaze. She gave me a cold smirk. "Isn't it worth a try? What are you still dawdling for?" Only then did I move my hand. My gaze was filled with unmasked desire. I was too excited. I was thinking about how many times I wanted to go for it tonight. Su Yanbing's gaze at me was deep and heavy. It seemed like she was trying hard to hold something back. I wanted to disgust her so much that she wouldn't bother me for half a month. With no experience, I held on to the attitude that I couldn't lose in spirit, preparing to make a move. So nervous. It wouldn't be the first time, would it? As soon as I finished speaking, the tense woman bit my lip, devouring and biting hungrily. Su Yanbing's kiss made my heart flutter. When Su Yanbing started to take action, I instantly lost my composure. Just when I thought Su Yanbing's allergy to me had faded, Su Yanbing pushed me away fiercely. It seemed she had endured for too long and reached her limit. Looking into my eyes, there were raging waves like a storm. But she sarcastically mocked me. With just this level of skill, still wanting to flirt with women. As soon as she finished speaking, Su Yanbing got up and went to the bathroom. I listened to the sound of water splashing in the bathroom, thinking about that touch from just now. That feeling of restlessness in my heart. It turns out I'm a normal man. I can't resist the allure of a woman's beauty. I was thinking about having a relationship. I want to return Su Yanbing's threat double. I want to make Su Yanbing feel disgusted. But I still need to sleep well. At this moment, my phone rang. Gu Wanner sent me a message. I opened it. I found out the other party had already revoked it. It was a photo of me and Su Yanbing entering the same room. No need to think. Gu Wanner must be upset. It's because she saw this message I received. I immediately replied. Did I send something inappropriate by mistake? Withdraw so quickly. Gu Wanner looked at the message I sent back. But in the input box, I typed. Then typed again. I felt that none of those sentences were appropriate. You said you don't love Su Yanbing anymore. You were just threatened. You said Su Yanbing could never like you. But in the photo, you both look affectionate. In the end, Gu Wanner only replied with, "Aren't you asleep yet?" I joked. Maybe I'm sending you a message in my sleep. I watched as it kept showing, typing. I sent another message to Gu Wanner. Take good care of the company. Don't worry about me. I can handle Su Yanbing. Wanner asked again. Do you really not love Su Yanbing? I replied. I don't love her anymore. But I still find Su Yanbing quite tempting. It's just a pity I haven't acted on it. Gu Wanner had been typing for a long time. I simply sent a direct message again. Rest early and don't stay up late. Good night. Gu Wanner finally replied with 2 words. Good night. I lay in bed. I waited for half an hour. The woman still hadn't come out. She must be feeling disgusted. She might feel like peeling off a layer of skin. I couldn't help but want to urge her. The bathroom door finally opened. Su Yanbing came out wearing a bathrobe. Her figure was fully visible. I swallowed. I stared at her, filled with desire. Can you sleep with me tonight? Su Yanbing gave me a warning look. You sleep on the sofa. I glanced at the sofa that was only half a meter wide. Didn't you say my skills were poor? Are you afraid of sharing a bed with me? Su Yanbing ignored me afterward. She sat down. She picked up her incessantly ringing phone. A few of her friends started to make snide remarks. This is why I don't like Gu Haoming. I still remember the last time she lashed out at us. Come out and explain. If you don't clarify things, I won't be friends with her anymore. Su Yanbing glanced at the bathroom. There were splashing sounds coming from inside. That nauseating feeling, like muscle memory, is proof of Su Yanbing's dislike for me. How could I ever like Gu Zhaoming? I came out after taking a shower. I glanced at Yan Shui lying down. I went straight over and dove into the bed. I moved closer to her. What makes you think I'll sleep on the sofa? I want Su Yanbing to sleep on the sofa. I just realized I was strong. Su Yanbing's body suddenly stiffened. She turned over to look at me. She felt something strange in her heart. Gu Haoming shouldn't feel like her. Just a touch would make her feel disgusted. And yet she acted like it was all fine. Could it be that she still has feelings for herself? I couldn't withstand Su Yanbing's gaze. Just as I was about to turn, Su Yanbing reached out her hand towards me. She smirked slightly. It wasn't something I had been waiting for. I steadied my mind and looked back at her. This wasn't fear. It was the thought of so many years. Finally, it's going to be as I wished. Feeling a bit nervous, our eyes met. Su Yanbing still didn't show any affection in her eyes. But I saw a glimmer of love in her eyes. Yet the heat of our almost touching skin made her feel a wave of uncontainable disgust again. Is this a blessing? Who told you I wanted to be like you? Su Yanbing got up with disdainful words and headed to the bathroom. I chuckled and found a comfortable sleeping position. Just as I was getting drowsy, the sound of dialogue rang out. The sofa. Hesitating for a second. You can forget about filming tomorrow's scene. To ensure that tomorrow's filming goes smoothly, I gritted my teeth and got up. I tossed and turned, unable to sleep comfortably. Seeing that dog-like woman sleeping comfortably on my bed, I couldn't help but curse in my heart. After much effort, I finally fell asleep cursing Su Yanbing. In a daze, I fell off the sofa again. I realized the day had already brightened. Su Yanbing had already left. I finished washing up and called Mu Rongyan to have breakfast together. Ji Qian was looking at me. Mu Rong was glancing at me, looking left and right. It made my head spin. What are you looking at? Mu Rongyan smiled and patted my head. Did she leave so quickly? Do you want her to stay here a few more days? Doesn't Brother Haoming want to? I shook my head. Her arrival would only disrupt the filming schedule. Murong Yan's lips curled into a smile. Brother Haoming sounds quite disdainful of Su Yanbing this time. I turned my head to look at her. Since when have you become so gossipy? Murong Yan smiled slightly. I just think Su Yanbing is very similar to the female lead in our drama. It's a bit exciting. I don't think that at all. In fact, it was written in the book that Su Yanbing was facing the Gu family in the previous section. Her attitude towards the original protagonist has clearly improved. This led the original protagonist to believe that Su Yanbing had fallen in love with him. When the Gu family was completely unsuspecting of her, she easily brought down the Gu family. She made the original protagonist fall from heaven to hell in an instant. The news of Su Yanbing visiting the set is still trending. Everyone thinks Su Yanbing likes me. But what does it matter that Su Yanbing kissed me last night? She's still allergic to me in a disgusting way. This means her plan to deal with the Gu family has been expedited. I need to speed up my money-making pace. I went to the film set. After sending the message, she slammed her phone down on the desk. Speed up the filming schedule. I almost got through every scene in one take. It was a little after 3 in the afternoon. Su Yanbing was getting ready to go to a meeting. The phone rang. She saw the photo of me kissing Murong Yan again. Her expression instantly darkened. Send me a message right away. If I don't see you at home by 6, I'll just have the police come find you. I just discussed overtime shooting tonight directly with the director. I saw the message while I was taking a break between scenes. Last night, Su Yanbing was so disgusted she felt like wanting to peel off a layer of skin. I thought this time she at least would. It's been half a month since she last came to see me. By the end of the day, I was threatened by her again. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to hold back my temper if I called. I replied to her message. Didn't you promise me last night that we would film today? I won't finish my scenes until after 10 tonight. Su Yanbing is currently in a meeting. Everyone present was not spared from being scolded. Each of them hung their heads, not daring to move. When I sent the message, the office was completely silent. Su Yanbing picked it up and took a look. The next second, the phone was slammed onto the conference table. Everyone's hearts trembled in response. Su Yanbing's expression suddenly became a few degrees colder. The company is spending money to invite you here. You're not here to just eat and wait to die. Look at what you all brought over. Can I watch it? It was originally a half-hour meeting. It lasted for over an hour. She didn't reply to my message. When I called, it was hung up immediately. I glanced at the time again. I had to call a car urgently to rush home. When I got home, Yanbing wasn't there. I called her. Su Yanbing glanced at her phone and hung up immediately. I gritted my teeth and texted her. I'm home. When will you be back? Su Yanbing replied. If you're home, then cook. I want braised beef and boiled fish slices. I was seething with anger. Wait for me to finish cooking. Su Yanbing came back. I was so angry that I couldn't hold back anymore. Don't you think you can torment me? But the crew members are innocent, right? I previously asked you to delay the meeting. You mentioned so many employee meals. Now you're making them delay the shoot because of me alone. Their lives don't matter? Su Yanbing saw me for the first time. Her anger was evident without any concealment. Just to appeal to that woman. Su Yanbing looked at me with an unreadable expression. This just made me anxious. What if I don't let you shoot? Then just go ahead and send for treatment. The air was silent. The air was tense. Su Yanbing's cold and piercing gaze was upon. I was thinking about Yanbing at this moment. She was planning to bring down the GU family. I bet she wouldn't turn against the GU family at this time. In the middle of that, the atmosphere felt heated. The air was filled with tension. Until I saw Su Yanbing slowly take out her phone. She opened the dialer right in front of me, dialing the emergency number. Just as Su Yanbing was about to press the call button, it was uncertain. I held her hand and smiled. It was a joke. I'm listening to you, I'll do whatever you say. Su Yanbing looked at me with a timid and flattering fake smile, as if she had heard the coldest joke. You've forgotten what I said yesterday already? Looking at my face full of grievance, Shu Yan once again pulled at her lips. She picked up her phone and showed me a photo. This is what you said you haven't forgotten. Take a look. It's a scene of me kissing Mirong Yan on set. Suddenly, a row of ellipses began. That damn woman is going crazy because of this photo. She's losing her mind, calling me back. It's because I didn't take her words to heart. Or is Su Yanbing trying to take the opportunity to put on a jealous act? But at this moment, all I can do is explain. Is it someone I know personally? Getting started. This is how it is when shooting films. I glanced at Yanbing. I stepped forward and wrapped my arms around her waist. We filmed several romance scenes today. Mirong Yan taught me some techniques for expressing emotions through my gaze. Don't say you won't let me film kiss scenes. Even if you push me away, it still won't be filmed. You are the only one from the Democratic League. Su Yanbing looked at me, and her eyes were no longer filled with a fake smile. Being a bit more straightforward. Her icy gaze softened. Untranslatable as is, context needed. My lips landed on hers. I didn't kiss her twice. Su Yanbing then took the initiative. For that brief moment, I felt that she was deeply in love. The next second, Su Yanbing pushed me away. I looked at her displeased expression. Are you sure she isn't disgusting? I continued to speak. I thought you were different from before. I have started to like you just a little. I didn't expect you to still hate me so much. I pretended to look hurt and sad. After saying that, I turned to leave. Su Yanbing reached out and pulled me over. Kissed my lips again. I squinted and looked at her a bit. What's going on? Strong family line. Then she loosened her grip. She looked at me with a cold gaze. Gu Hao Ming. Stronger. Just a little love. I can try to like Yang. I felt a bit confused. Is it really true? Su Yanbing didn't say much and walked towards the dining table inside. I watched Yanbing's back, brainstorming the main plot like crazy. Could it be that the plot with the Gu family has accelerated again? Su Yanbing is going to start being good to me. Made me think she had fallen in love. After a moment, I followed her. I carved it in. XX wants to act with me. Then I'll continue as she wishes. I served rice to Yanbing, putting on an act in front of her. Su Yanbing furrowed her brows. Shu Yanbing completed the whole picture. I hurriedly said, it's not tasty. Saying that, I put a piece of beef in my mouth. It's just as delicious as before. I took another look at Su Yanbing. She just stared at me without saying a word. Don't you like to eat this? I put the beef in her bowl into my own bowl. I bought her another one. Then you should give it a try. Su Yanbing finally spoke. Don't laugh at me like that. She noticed that my smile was too fake. She saw through it. I used to smile like this before as well. She never expressed her opinion. But today she has demands. It seems like it's confirmed. She started trying to like me before. She fell in love with me and wants me to love her too. ZZ, I glanced over. I glanced at her again and again. Su Yanbing finally couldn't help but speak. There are objections to the demands I made. I retract my smile. I just think you look good while eating. Su Yanbing glanced at me and then continued eating. She tacitly showed it to me. Guessing. I plan to put away my past acting techniques. Cooperate with Su Yanbing to act deeply affectionate. I feel like my acting skills are no longer sufficient. Su Yanbing, as the female lead in the story. She is notoriously hard to fool. Fortunately, the meal has ended. Su Yanbing did not make things difficult for me anymore. I finished tidying up and returned to my room. I sent a message to Gu Warner to ask about the company's recent situation. I reminded her once again to be cautious of Su Yanbing. I pick up my phone. My hand picks up the phone. I saw a message from Su Yanbing. I was quite surprised. I get up from the room. In the past, when I saw her, I would express my insatiable desire for her without any concealment. But now I stand by the bed, carefully stealing glances at Su Yanbing. What the industry excludes, what thoughts remain. The comforting anticipation of meeting again. Su Yanbing's gaze suddenly heated up, the shimmering light in her eyes. She reached out and pulled me onto the bed. It was followed by an overwhelming wave. After kissing for a while, Yanbing released me, breathless. I saw the turbulent emotions in her eyes. It was disgust directed at me. She remained silent. She was not strong. I played dumb and just looked at her. We quietly gazed at each other. Just looking. I could hardly withstand Su Yanbing's gaze. In that moment, I felt a hint of deep affection in her eyes. Su Yanbing slowly leaned in to kiss me again. This happened a few times. You can go back now. This is the act of trying to like me. Cheerful. I pretended to look hurt for a moment, just like the sadness of not receiving her love. Then I got up and left under her ambiguous gaze. The next morning around 4 or 5 o'clock, because it was hard to call a cab, I simply drove myself. Before leaving, I sent a message to Su Yanbing. I went to the film set. I made you some porridge. It's in the kitchen. Don't forget to eat when you wake up. Su Yanbing replied. Who agreed to let you go shoot? I had just arrived when I saw Su Yanbing's message. I couldn't help but curse the damn woman. Ultimately, I still bowed my head and sent the message. Didn't you say yesterday you would try to like me? Supporting my work is the first step to trying to like me. Su Yanbing replied. The premise I mentioned is that you must be obedient. Am I not obedient enough? Last night, I wanted to stay so badly. But you told me to go back, so I went back. Because you said you would try to like me. Su Yanbing thought for a moment and replied. The shoot can go on. But I must come back at night. I saw her relent. I tolerated Su Yanbing's excessive request. During lunch, I don't forget to text Su Yanbing. You. Still no response. Su Yanbing didn't set a time for me to go back today. I finished filming around 6 in the evening. I sent her a message. I received work. I came back, waiting for me to get home. It was already past 8 in the evening. I knocked on Su Yanbing's door. A bright smile appeared. Greet her. Su Yanbing looked at me. I watched her walk over. The next second, I was pulled down onto the big bed by Su Yanbing. Our eyes met. I had just looked at her. Are you? Su Yanbing looked at me and spoke. Right after, a soft kiss followed. Just when I couldn't stand her advances anymore, Su Yanbing pushed me away again. Just like last night, she endured the disgust and kissed me once. In the end, I went to take a shower. Clearly, Yet she deliberately seduces me like this. It makes me hope for more from her. Not caring about life. I have to give her a thumbs up for this hard-tugging trick. I was exhausted. I went back to the room and fell asleep. The next day, I got up early again to rush to the set. It's a round trip every day. It takes over 4 hours on the road. And besides, there's nothing else to do when I go back. It's just Su Yanbing pulling me in for a bite. Perform in a scene that keeps me hanging. The first play is about to finish filming soon. Next is the promotion. There's also filming for a new play. I still have to write a new script. I don't have enough time at all. I don't want to sit and wait any longer. It was really worth caring for you. I looked over at Marong Yan beside me. How do I feel about you? Marong Yan looked at me. If you have something to say, just say it, brother. I took the water and drank some. During the intermission, it was after 2 in the afternoon. I sent a message to Su Yanbing. I'm getting ready to head back. Can you come back a little earlier tonight? What do you want to eat? I'll make it for you. Su Yanbing replied. Anything is fine. She actually didn't point it out. Trying to love me really is an impressive act. I can't lose. I want to perform even better than her. Then I'll make you your favorite braised pork and steamed fish. Su Yanbing smiled slightly. There's something you need from me. I've been too busy these days. No time to cook for you. Finally have some time. I want to cook for you. Around 5 o'clock. Yan's phone purchase. Shu Yan's phone rang. The hand again. She picked it up and took a look. My trending topic was pushed again in the friend group. Ji Yu Haoming was in a car accident. Su Yanbing clicked on the trending topic. It was my red sports car that crashed into the bridge. The bumper in front got hit. Saw myself trending online. Shu tightened her grip on the phone. Holding the phone. Hurry and call me. The response I received was always the same. The dialed call is currently in progress. Yanbing anxiously rushed out. I am lying on the hospital bed, eating the cherries that Marong Yan washed for me. Answering mom's call. Mom. A little gold. You guys come. Su Yanbing got into the car. When you called me for the 10th time. The call finally went through. But what Su Yanbing heard was a woman's voice. Her brows furrowed instantly. Where is Ji Yu Haoming? Marong Yan looked at me enjoying the cherries and said, he is still in a coma. Su Yanbing tightened her grip on the phone. The address is there. Do you care about his life or death? But little by little, he won't be able to film it either. He won't be able to read it. I gave Marong Yan a thumbs up while eating. And it will still be a show. Marong Yan handed the phone back to me. But he's an actor. But why do you want this? You guys don't compete. Doesn't she care either? What's stopping you from speaking directly to her? To risk acting in such a painful drama. Handing the bowl of cherries to Marong Yan. You don't need to know. When Su Yanbing arrived at the hospital room was packed with people. The head of the bed showcased the situation to everyone. I have dealt with it all. The stocks matter. Mom was worried the whole way. She confirmed I was fine, but her eyes were red. Your mom bought things well. What happened? How did it end up crashing into the bridge? Have you been too tired from filming lately? The family doesn't lack this little bit of money. Why don't we just not film this drama? Just look at how thin you've become lately. Only focusing on Yan. The whole family has. Seeing how worried they are. I feel a bit guilty. Having my own career. I know you're worried about me. Mom still wanted to say something. Dad stepped forward and comforted me. Son, it's not easy to have something you like. Don't make Haoming uncomfortable here. Young people can endure some hardship. It's not a bad thing. It was a return. The return of Yan Bing. Marong Yan, the beautiful water. She lightly coughed. Look, she immediately said. Hobby. You all should go back. Marang Yan watched Su Yanbing approach. Uncle and aunt. Brother Zhang Ming is just anxious because of this. He had a car accident on the way back. You need to keep an eye on Ming Guo. We can't let him run back and forth every day for his wife. He ignores his health and how fatty it is for him. Dad's expression instantly turned tense. Is this true? I just want a balance between family and work. Mom has seen it. You too. Then Su Yanbing arrived. Then let's go back first. Yan Shui. You should talk to him nicely. Him running back and forth like this every day. He really is too heavy. He doesn't listen to us. It only works if you say it. Ji Wanner didn't say a word throughout. She just watched from the side. Looking at me, I only saw her in Su Yanbing. Her gaze darkened. The old me could understand her at a glance. The current me is unreadable to her. I can't tell which of my words are true and which are false. But I say I don't love Su Yanbing. She believed it. I saw the fullness of emotions in Yanbing's eyes. I said I would make you something delicious. As a result, Su Yanbing was standing by the bed. She looked at me without saying a word. She stared at me silently. Her gaze was complex and hard to understand. Breaking the silence. Then I'll go back now and make it for you. Shu Yan remained quiet while Yanbing didn't say anything. She was staring at me. She just quietly looked at me. Until I made a move to get up. There was no reaction. She pushed me back down onto the bed. I watched her staring at me without speaking. Are you worried? It's not about service. Only then did Shu Yan slowly reply. Slowly responding. I shook my head. Yan looked at the insured face. The face that was dyed. The tone had been tinted. Don't we have to eat? I surprisingly feel a bit out of place. I was indeed not used to it. Her tone was expectant yet slightly aggressive. Then I want to eat the meal you make. I wonder if Yanbing will accept it. She seemed to be pondering for a while. The threshold looked at me for quite a while. Clearly, it wasn't bright. As expected, he eventually spoke up. I can only order takeout. The blanket has been taken off. Then whatever you order, I'll eat. I've made some money. Next time I go back, I'll cook for you. I was a bit slow to react, but pleasantly surprised. Really? Nodded slightly, my eyes flickering. A relative of the family. It's really true. I secretly sighed in my heart at the good acting. Unexpectedly, he portrayed his affection for me so artfully that it had flaws. After I came to my senses, I refused to be outdone. I took a moment. He expressed happiness to the fullest. When alive, I couldn't even have a proper relationship. I could only drool over the woman in the video. Transmigrating into the book, I had the financial means to own a forest. But I was trapped by a marriage contract. The only one close to me is Yan Shui. And only healthy. It's practically the worst transmigration in history. But thankfully, I can divorce this year. After the divorce, I will rush into the embrace of the forest every night. Su Yanbing has no idea what I'm doing. I took out my phone to order food. She knows nothing. Naturally, they don't know that I like him. I can only rely on my memory from the last meal at the GU family. In order to eat, the most tea is served. After placing the order, I stared at her in a daze. Shu Yan has painted a picture. I woke up from a beautiful dream. I wondered why you suddenly treat me so well. Am I dreaming? Su Yanbing's gaze flickered slightly. She reached out to pinch my face. I gasped in surprise. Leave it. She gave a light laugh. I wasn't affected at all. After eating, I went back to the hotel with Su Yanbing. I'm not worried at all about sharing a room with Su Yanbing. After showering, I came out. A small amount of food is served. I saw the trending topic of her running 5 red lights. I clicked in, and it was indeed Su Yanbing's car. The car was driving very fast. But there was no evidence of running a red light. Pure clickbait. The comments are all praising that Yanbing and I are true love. Naturally, I don't think Yanbing likes me. I even suspect that Su Yanbing bought this trending topic. I can feel Su Yanbing's body temperature. She saw me lying on the sofa. He came forward and pulled me to the bed and kissed me passionately again. After it was over, Su Yanbing suddenly said, "Let's sleep on the bed tonight." I clearly know when to touch her lips. Turned off the lights. The room instantly fell into darkness. I finally don't have to act anymore. I turned over and slept with my back to Su Yanbing. Su Yanbing lay on the bed. Look at my back turned. The look of anticipation in my eyes before the lights went out is still in my mind. I was just starting to feel drowsy. The woman moved in closer. A distance that feels impenetrable. Su Yanbing came out after taking a shower. This is something to act out before bed. Just like waiting for a long time. I turned over to respond to her. I could feel Su Yanbing's body tightening noticeably. But she still wrapped her arms around my waist. Like a normal couple. The two kissed each other. Su Yanbing grabbed me with disordered breathing as I squatted uncomfortably. The illusion that Yan loves me. Teased to the point of unbearable desire. The sensory stimulation in the dark is amplified. I'm going to the restroom. You sleep first. Yan Bing went to the bathroom. I know she can't stand being disgusted anymore. I feel really emotionally drained. It clearly disgusts me when you touch me. I'm a normal man, right? Every time you tease me, you turn your back afterwards. Have you considered my feelings? Su Yanbing came out while I was asleep. In the morning, I was groggily awakened by Su Yanbing's kiss. I opened my sleepy eyes to look at her. She is already dressed and ready. I woke up but couldn't fall back asleep. Get down to typing. There's a sense of getting the desired effect. I smiled and replied to Marang Yan. I was so angry that I threw my phone aside. Yesterday, the family also considered it. My mom also asked Su Yanbing to advise me not to rush back and forth. But Su Yanbing didn't mention it at all. I checked the time and texted her while eating. Su Yanbing quickly replied. Just now. I continue to pretend to be a caring boyfriend. There's a share having breakfast. There's a share. It's still just two simple words. I immediately got a breakfast for Bing. Bought it for you. Remember to eat later. After finishing these things, I tentatively sent her a message. I'll wait to get back early tonight. Give the big dinner from last night to the store. Su Yanbing replied directly. Good. What's the situation? It's not like we're acting out love. Not at that time. You know. Anyway, I now have a lot of excuses. There's no way to turn it back on. Today's show has reached its final wrap. The shooting was unusually smooth. At the same time, at the Su Corporation's Artist Magazine shooting site, Lu Jinian was constantly being nitpicked by the photographer. Although Su Yanbing ran a red light for me, the trending searches kept him up all night. But work is work. He was still very serious. He also felt that there was nothing wrong with himself. But the photographer was just not satisfied. In the end, he just stopped. Lu Jinian. Go down and find your vibe. Don't waste everyone's time here. Shu-kun, come here. Let's shoot yours first. Lu Jinian was constantly thinking about Su Yanbing. I was completely out of sorts. I took out my phone to ask Su Yanbing. I just saw a photo of Su Yanbing waiting for me on set. No matter where my eyes landed, Su Yanbing's gaze was fixed on me. Lu Jinian couldn't help but call Su Yanbing. Meanwhile, I was in a bad mood. In the afternoon, Su Yanbing made a grand entrance to the film set. Everyone is envying me. No one knows how troubled I am inside. The first film wrapped up today. So, around noon, I discussed with a few actors I brought into the crew. We planned to have a celebratory dinner in the evening. But then Su Yanbing showed up in the afternoon. I had to bring her along. I also had to maintain the persona of being in love with her in front of everyone. The part in the book about her changing attitude towards me was only briefly mentioned to let the GU family lower their guard. I didn't expect to experience it firsthand. The trending topics these days, and my performance, is enough to show that our GU family has no defenses against Su Yanbing anymore. She even wants to keep acting. Is it that GU Wanner is in control over there? Su Yanbing hasn't succeeded in some things. Thinking about it this way, I don't know whether to be happy or angry. I raised my glass and drank again. The next second, I saw Su Shui looking at me. What is she looking at me for again? What service does she want again? I don't want to think too hard. Just serve food to Su Yanbing. At that moment, Su Yanmi's phone rang. When she took it out to check, I glanced and saw. It was Lu Jinian. The male lead is here. Su Yanbing got up to answer the phone. I instantly felt the air was fresher. Everyone clearly relaxed as well. 2 minutes later, when Su Yanbing returned to the private room, I saw everyone toasting. The private room was filled with laughter and joy. The atmosphere changed instantly when she came in. The happiness on everyone's faces faded. I asked with great concern. Is there something going on? If you have something to do, go ahead and take care of it. Su Yanbing sat down next to me. She looked at me with vague eyes. Do you want me to leave? I grabbed Su Yanbing's hand. Strongly can sing. I just don't want to cause you trouble because of me. If you have something to do, go ahead and take care of it. I'm waiting for you. Su Yanbing's expression is still very cold. I'm fine. Lu Jinian just made a simple phone call. I secretly cursed this male lead for being too weak. I don't know if I'm just angry. Earlier, I felt unwell. A tearing pain suddenly hit my abdomen. I couldn't help but frown and massage my shoulders. Su Yanbing saw me rubbing my belly. Damn. Maybe I overate. Until I returned to the hotel, the pain in my abdomen became more frequent. I finally realized unexpectedly. Su Yanbing saw me coming out of the bathroom, my face pale. I was walking, holding my stomach, looking weak and fragile. Should we go to the hospital? I've got diarrhea. I lay on the bed, feeling so uncomfortable that I tossed and turned. Su Yanbing pressed close behind me. In pain, I couldn't muster the energy or mood to respond to her. I couldn't hold back my temper anymore. Yanbing, I'm going to die. I'm in a mood to love you now. Don't bother me. Su Yanbing ignored my temper. Her delicate body pressed against mine. I wanted to say. Her cold voice sounded. This dog of a person. At this moment, I couldn't help it. I was just about to scold her. The woman's warm little hand rested on my abs, gently massaging. I froze there. My anger suddenly subsided a bit. Su Yanbing tirelessly helped me massage. For a moment, my emotions were hard to express in words. Are you feeling better? I gave a slight hum. But I didn't have the energy to chat with her. I don't know if it's because she was helping him massage. I felt the pain lessen a bit. But I clearly felt Su Yanbing. Her body was increasingly resistant. She was still disgusted and sensitive to touching me. In the end, Su Yanbing really couldn't do anything about it. But no matter what, I can't open my eyes. Until there was a knock at the door. It was obvious that someone had washed their hands of danger. My complexion was still a bit pale. For the first time, I felt that Su Yanbing was determined to achieve her goals. And she was still trying to piece it all together. A normal person still has to put in the effort to be normal. That night, I tossed and turned endlessly. By morning, the price had risen. The pain in my abdomen finally subsided. Fortunately, it was daytime. I had 2 days off. I went to the bathroom and came back. I was starting to feel sleepy. Su Yanbing woke me up. Come back with me. I can't even open my eyes. I wasn't going anywhere. I just wanted to sleep. Su Yanbing let go of me. I just turned over. While I was dozing off, I felt like I was being lifted by several people. But I can't open my eyes no matter what. When I finally woke up, I found myself lying on the bed in Su Yanbing's company lounge. I had gone out, and I saw Su Yanbing cooking in the kitchen. The aroma of chicken soup wafted out. Making me dinner isn't just empty promises. So that was it. I looked at the letter. Su Yanbing saw me. Gave a kiss that broke no argument for 2 minutes. Su Yanbing looked at my belly. Are you still feeling uncomfortable? Being sick is all about being alone. Rarely being taken care of for a while. But it was someone who would ruin their own family. I stepped forward to hug Su Yanbing with complicated feelings. Accompany her to continue acting. Thank you. Absolutely for a while. I felt nauseous again. Su Yanbing looked at me. That glance seemed to be mixed with countless emotions. I don't understand and don't want to think about it. Saying goodbye while holding my stomach. I'll lie down again. I just lay down and picked up my phone. After replying to the message, scrolling through the gossip in the entertainment circle, the rising male star, Qin Ming, has collapsed. The star's personal photographer, Liu Yunfang. One of these two is Liu Jinian's competitor. One is Liu Jinian's photographer. It seems the last time they called was to deal with these two. Su Yanbing cares so much about Liu Jinian. Yet she still has to act in front of me. This shows how determined she is to ruin the Gu family. When Su Yanbing walked in with the dishes, I couldn't help but glance at her a little more. Su Yanbing handed me a bowl of chicken soup. Shu Yan handed me a bowl of chicken intestines. First, drink the intestines. I took it and drank it. I unexpectedly glanced at her. I didn't expect her cooking skills to be this good. Su Yanbing was watching me intently from the side. The taste is good. With one glance, I returned her gaze. It's delicious. It's the best chicken soup I've ever had. You take care of me so much. Are you being taxed heavily? Will it delay your work? It won't during work hours. Just during the time it takes to have a meal. Su Yanbing answered a few phone calls. By the time I finished eating and lay down, she's just working. I brought my computer back. This afternoon, I lay in bed typing on my phone. Reply. Su Yan walked over to take the hand. She saw me typing on my phone. She couldn't help but furrow her willow-leaf eyebrows and asked, "Who are you chatting with?" I heard the voice and turned off the screen. The beautiful figure looked towards the water. The fitness instructor looked towards Yanbing. I saw her complexion was quite pleasant. Talking to my mom. She loves to worry about things. Su Yanbing stepped closer to look at me. Her expression was still somewhat skeptical. I hurriedly grabbed her hand. You should go back to work. You worked. Su Yanbing looked at me while I held her hand. Her expression softened a bit. I came in to check on you. After saying that, she kissed me. Send M. Playing with my hand. Get some good rest. You go ahead and be busy. No need to worry about me. Call me if you need anything. Recently, Su Yanbing has been kissing me more frequently against her will. She even runs in during work breaks to check on me. If I weren't clear about Su Yanbing's intentions, I almost drowned in her false gentleness. A wolf in sheep's clothing. It really is. I was pierced by her. It felt like I was suddenly energized. Writing the script became even more exciting. When Su Yanbing came in after finishing work, I saw that I was writing again. Her face instantly matched her tone. Who are you chatting with this time? No one can know about me writing the script. Naturally, I couldn't tell Su Yanbing. Seeing her come in with an accusatory look, I told another lie. Chatting. I was just bored and aimlessly browsing online. I saw someone commenting that you had an affair with Liu Jinian. I wanted to reason with them. I was also afraid that everyone would laugh at what I said. I finished speaking. Then I saw Su Yanbing come in with an accusatory air. But she quickly seemed to come back to herself. I looked at Bing humbly and affectionately. Work hard. You used to arrive at the company the earliest. Implicitly, I don't dare to disturb her now. I even had to be careful about what I commented online. I was just afraid she'd dislike it. This deep emotion was beautifully portrayed. I felt like I could win an award. I couldn't stop thinking about how I could still act in front of Su Yanbing. She kissed me with red eyes. There was a hint of affection. Body. Not anymore. She released me and looked at me like a stranger. It felt like I was the only one in her eyes. It's been a day. Skywalker. She would only break up with me later in the evening. Su Yanbing took me to the banquet hall of a 5-star hotel. It's the anniversary dinner of the Su Group. Almost all the industry partners showed up. Seeing us, everyone came over to greet us. Su Yanbing took me to the event dressed to the nines. They were still wearing matching outfits. Who in the business world isn't savvy? The jokes that circulated were gradually forgotten by everyone. One by one, they praised the couple for their beauty and talent. Liu Jinian arrived very early. I kept an eye on Su Yanbing, hoping to wait for her, thanking her for standing up for me. Seeing that Su Yanbing brought me here, she even held my hand while wearing couple outfits. Suddenly, we became the center of attention. Listening to everyone saying we make a great pair. Watching Su Yanbing making sure to check on me during her socializing breaks. He felt as if his heart was pierced by 1,000 arrows. Then Liu Jinian saw someone toasting us. Su Yanbing knows I'm pulling away. He declined on my behalf. It's not suitable for him to drink alcohol as he feels unwell. After a while, the assistant brought over a cup of hot drink. There are endless drinks at this occasion. Yet Su Yanbing went outside to buy me a hot drink. Liu Jinian felt a sharp pain in his heart. If Su Yanbing cares so much about Gu Haoming, why do you need to vent for yourself again? I couldn't help but glance at Su Yanbing while looking at the hot drink in my hand. Real couples aren't this attentive, right? Is it necessary to act to this extent? Su Yanbing calmed her hands. This line seems unclear. Please provide context for accurate translation. I continued to play along with her. You suddenly started being so nice to me. I feel like I don't even know you anymore. A little scared. Yan shot a glance. Su Yanbing blinked and asked, "What are you afraid of?" I looked at her with deeply affectionate eyes. Afraid of getting a taste of sweetness. Which day will you suddenly change back? Su Yanbing played along very well. In front of everyone, she kissed me on the cheek. At that moment, Lin Xinyao happened to walk in and said with a smile, "Intention. Zhuang." Only then did they release me. Yan let go of the ball. Wen Mumu crossed her arms and mumbled. Who was it that said they didn't like Ji Yu Haoming last time? It's only been a few days, and they're already showing off their love in public. Look, they've arrived. I immediately stepped forward and said with a smile, "You all take your time to chat. I'm going to the restroom." After seeing me leave. Look. Wen Mumu was relentless. Ice. It's not that she doesn't like him. Su Yanbing's grip tightened. Just the thought of touching Ji Yu Haoming still disgusts her. How could she possibly like him? It's just an act to get back at Ji Yu Haoming. I came out of the restroom. I saw Lu Jinian walk up to Su Yanbing. I discreetly gave them space. I found a corner seat to rest. Su Yanbing's gaze pierced through the bustling crowd. She spotted me sitting in the corner. Su Yanbing increased the distance between herself and Lu Jinian. Then she walked toward me. Lu Jinian felt as if his heart had been suddenly ripped out. He had loved Su Yanbing for 7 years. He believed Su Yanbing had always been interested in him. He didn't expect that Su Yanbing wouldn't want to say another word to him now. He turned and stumbled out. He didn't know how he made it outside. By the time he realized it, he saw a car speeding towards him. The dazzling car lights made it difficult for him to open his eyes. It also made him forget to react. Then Lu Jinian was hit by the car and thrown out. A wave of pain instantly engulfed his entire body. Before losing consciousness, he saw some words emerging in his mind. Every word was clearly visible. Lu Jinian saw his name. I saw his entire life. Xu Yan also arrived. I'm fine, I just smiled. Su Yanbing walked over to me. Are you tired? Su Yanbing took my hand. Then let's go home. On the way back to the hotel after the banquet, I was scrolling through my phone out of boredom. Suddenly, I came across a trending news topic. Lu Jinian car accident. I opened it to take a look. I saw Lu Jinian lying in a pool of blood. There are also photos of him being carried on a stretcher. It looks quite serious. How could Lu Jinian have gotten into a car accident? In the book, it mentions how Su Yanbing brought down the Ji family. But Lu Jinian didn't have a car accident either. Could it be that they just argued because of me? What if something happens to Lu Jinian? Isn't this dog woman's hatred for me even deeper now? I couldn't help but glance at Su Yanbing beside me. I was just thinking whether to tell her or wait for her to find out herself. Her phone rang. Su Yanbing slowed down and answered the call. Hello. Are you a family member of Lu Jinian? This is the City First Hospital. Lu Jinian had an accident. They are currently trying to save him. Su Yanbing ended the call and looked at me. I need to go to the hospital. Are you coming with me or going home to rest first? I pretended to be tired. I want to go home. If you have something to do, go ahead. Let me off at the intersection ahead. I can just take a taxi. Su Yanbing glanced at me. Aren't you going to ask why I'm going to the hospital? As soon as she asked this, I also feel that not asking seems a bit nonchalant towards Su Yanbing. But Lu Jinian is dying. How could Su Yanbing still be in the mood to act with me? I glanced at her. She took me home before heading to the hospital. I don't want to do things you don't like. Su Yanbing finally quieted down. She even showed a sense of guilt. You used to hate it when I pried into your affairs. I got home, took a shower, and lay down on the bed. I felt completely relaxed. I didn't want to wait for Yan Shui. But not waiting would seem like I didn't care about her. Soon, she would start filming a new drama. This barrier. At this moment, it was Yan. I felt that my love for her was overwhelming. When Su Yanbing got home, it was already past 10 o'clock. She opened my bedroom door. She noticed I wasn't asleep yet. As she walked over, she saw me on the phone. So she called out my name. Phone. I turned around and surprise showed in my eyes. You're back. Su Yanbing looked at me and asked. It's late. Why are you still awake? I've been waiting for you. Upon hearing this, Su Yanbing's gaze flickered. There was obvious surprise in her eyes. I pretended not to understand and asked. At that moment, Su Yanbing came towards me. With a hint of warmth. I knew how to make Yanbing finish quickly. I reached out my hand to touch her body. Su Yanbing kissed me deeper. But in the end, she still pushed me away. When she came out of the bathroom, I had already fallen asleep. Su Yanbing looked at me. Her gaze lingered for a long time. It seemed to be trapped in a fog. She took a long time to regain her composure. When I woke up, it was already past 10 o'clock. Su Yanbing had already gone to the company. The news also had the latest updates on Lu Jinian's accident. He is currently in the intensive care unit. He hasn't passed the critical period yet. This must be troubling Su Yanbing. She must be annoyed with me, thinking that she'll have to go again tomorrow. I plan to go home today to see my mother. I spent the day shopping with my mother. I bought gifts for the family. When I got back, my mom couldn't wait to take out the gifts I bought. He said with a beaming face that his son bought it with his own money. When Ji Yu Wana heard this, she looked over at me. I took out the gift I was going to give her. You have one too. It's inside. If you don't like it, you can exchange it. Ji Yu Wana saw that it was a necklace. She glanced at me and happily said, I love it. I inquired about the company's recent situation. After eating, I took a nap. When I woke up, I received a message from Su Yanbing. She asked me to go to the company. Reluctantly, I went over. Su Yanbing raised her eyes to look at me. I looked at her curiously. You want me to come to the company at this time? The next second, Su Yanbing took out a beautifully wrapped gift box from under the table. It was a limited edition video game console that I liked. She looked at me, unable to hide her affection in her eyes. She asked. Su Yanbing opened her mouth and asked, Do you like it? I almost took off my clothes and came out. I composed myself quickly. I couldn't help but raise my gaze towards Su Yanbing. Did she buy it for me? Su Yanbing's voice was tinged with medication. There was a moment. I even sensed the illusion of affection. I didn't expect to see it in the afternoon. I even started to wonder if she liked him. Lu Jinian is currently unconscious. How could Su Yanbing still have the mood to act in front of me? Could it be that I'm to blame? To get revenge more quickly. Just as I was questioning this. During this time, Lin Xinyao sent her a photo. When I opened it, it was a photo of me picking out a necklace. Right after that was another photo. It was a photo of Ji Yuaner wearing that necklace. Lin Xinyao thought I bought it for Su Yanbing. If I hadn't sensed Su Yanbing's feelings towards me last night, the necklace appeared on Ji Yuaner. Su Yanbing glanced at the photo, her gaze flickering. She looked at me playing games on the sofa. I noticed Su Yanbing looking at me several times, but she didn't say anything. When we got home to eat, she glanced at me several times. She said nothing. After finishing the meal, she looked at me even more, still not speaking. I wanted to make sure everything went smoothly for tomorrow's shoot. In the end, I took the initiative to ask. Su Yanbing seemed a bit jealous. What about my gift? I was just stunned for a second. Su Yanbing seemed to have found the answer. You bought gifts for your family. You also bought gifts for Ji Yuaner. But you didn't buy me one. This is how much you love me. I didn't expect Su Yanbing to find out about the gifts today. If she finds out that I don't like her now, wouldn't the seemingly harmonious days be lost again? I looked at her with tender eyes, anxious and wise. You've been holding this in all night because of that. Their gifts were just casually bought. Western. Your gift is something I made with my own hands. It needs some time. It's not finished yet. Su Yanbing listened to my explanation. Her expression softened a bit. In the morning, I was among the alarms. Su Yanbing reached out and pulled me into her embrace. In my dazed state, I surprisingly felt a bit of warmth in this embrace. The danger period has passed. I could only hear Su Yanbing's lazy, hazy voice. I've arranged a driver for you. Your driving skills are too poor. Don't you? In the future, drive yourself. I'll listen to you. Who am I? Su Yanbing seemed to want to hear a title. She reined it in a bit. Who are you? My wife. Su Yanbing kissed my lips. She only let me get up when she couldn't take it anymore. Su Yanbing received a call from Lu Jinian's mother. It was said that Lu Jinian had woken up. It made me feel a kind of intoxication. Wants to see Su Yanbing. Su Yanbing was sitting in a single patient room. She heard Lu Jinian calling her Sister Cloud. In her usually indifferent eyes, the world seemed to shake in an instant. Sister Yun Duo. Lu Jinian looked at Yan Shui. The love in my eyes is not in vain. Su Yanbing looked at him. Still, there was some shin. You are Xiao Jin. Lu Jinian's voice was tinged with emotion. Back then, I helped you find your way. FTZY. Bamboo Mountain? These 2 days of unconsciousness. I got up. No wonder I felt a sense of familiarity when I first saw you. When I saw that cloud-shaped birthmark, there was a sense of familiarity. So we met when we were children. You are Xiao Jin. I have never forgotten him. She has always mourned for Xiao Jin. That's it. Whenever I think of him, my heart feels warm. When I was filled with despair, I remember them fleeing back then. Xiao Jin was a good person. Xiao Yan was gracious. And she watched helplessly as the young lady fell off the cliff, powerless to help. That was Su Yanbing's regret for not being able to save him. Engraved with memories of Xiao. Engraved with Xiao Kong. And it was Lu Jinian whom she saved back then. Su Yan still had faith. Since Lu Jinian woke up, he found that he had little understanding of things. He was trying to figure out how to change his fate. He didn't know much about this novel. He could only recall brief snippets from before his coma. A few lines revealed a rough outline of his life. Su Yanbing had never loved him. Saving him was merely due to her regret for the white moonlight. Her favoritism towards him was just despite Ji Yu Haoming. From start to finish, he was just a tool in their relationship. Ji Yu Ming is dead. This tool of his is also gone. His experiences were once again bullied by everyone, just like before. Heart. Why should one have such a twisted ending? And before he died, he learned about the white moonlight hidden in Su Yanbing's heart. This was the first step in changing his fate. There aren't many descriptions of being trafficked, but the key points are sufficient. Sister Yunduo. I'm hospitable. Lu Jinian should say what needs to be said. Physical discomfort. He wants to transform. If you have a headache, hurry and rest. Su Yanbing connected the dots. Once you're ready, we'll talk slowly. The gentle voice pierced his ears. Lu Jinian couldn't manage for 7 years to make Su Yanbing look at him with such eyes. He still felt fortunate to have himself. Hurry up. Su Yanbing looked at Lu Jinian. Her heart was still stirred because he was herself. She felt excited and hot thinking of the little Jinian. Then I'll come back to see you later. The matter between her and the little one. Only the two of them knew. Only Jinian called her sister La. Even the brave little boy from childhood grew up completely different from childhood. Shu Yan had concerns. After all, one person's influence can be significant. Su Yanbing was very timid as a child. She escaped from abduction and wandered outside for many years. That's what shaped the person she is today. While Lu Jinian lived for a long time in an environment where his father abused his mother, even a bold personality can be worn down over time. Just thinking that Lu Jinian grew up mostly in the fields, Su Yanbing regretted it, regretting not caring enough for Lu Jinian all these years. After returning to the company, Lu Jinian sat in his office chair and calmed down for a while. Just started working. I finished a day's shoot. I returned to the hotel and picked up my phone to open it. I just saw the trending topic about Lu Jinian. No wonder Su Yanbing hasn't bothered me all day. So it turns out Lu Jinian is awake. Lu Jinian saw the trending topic. Looking at Su Yanbing, she spoke. Sister Yun Duo. Don't come here if you're okay. I'm afraid someone will gossip. Afraid that brother Hao Ming would overthink. Su Yanbing looked at him gently, comforting him. You can rest assured. With me around, no one dares to gossip about you. And no one dares to bully you anymore. Hao Ming wouldn't rant much either. Lu Jinian kept his head down and said nothing. I don't know if it's a professional habit. Tears slid down her cheeks. Su Yanbing's gaze became increasingly intense. I'm just too happy. Lu Jinian said hoarsely. I never expected the crybaby from childhood. Are you really not disappointed? And has taken care of me for so many years. Lu Jinian knew what Su Yanbing cared about the most. The experience with the white moonlight from childhood. The first time bringing it up, Su Yanbing wanted to step forward to wipe his tears. You are also doing well now. But for some reason, my face appeared in her mind. That face waiting for her to come home. Sister Yun Duo knew after I was Xiao Jin. Who knew he would be so impressive when he grew up? Su Yanbing looked at him. Xiao Jin is the one she truly cares about. The person she has not forgotten all these years. Su Yanbing recalled what Lu Jinian asked her before the accident. Remembering how Lu Jinian confessed to her after getting drunk before. At that moment, Su Yanbing's phone rang. It was me who sent her the message. I forgot my game console at your office. Bring it back home when you wake up. Lu Jinian saw Su Yanbing looking at her phone, secretly biting her lip. Sister Yun Duo, you've been tired all day. Hurry back and get some rest. Su Yanbing stood up and touched his head. Take good care of your injuries. I'll come to see you again tomorrow. Su Yanbing didn't reply to my message. She made a phone call, ordered that it should not appear online again. Any news about her and Lu Jinian? She returned home wrapped in exhaustion, looking at the empty living room. Yet my figure resurfaced in her mind. She lay in bed after taking a shower, looking at the empty seat beside her. She uncontrollably thought of me again. She thought again about being kidnapped as a child. At that time, she and Lu Jinian were only 5 years old, locked away in a dark room without sunlight. Su Yanbing was scared and kept crying. Lu Jinian coaxed her like a little adult. Su Yanbing tried to find Xiao Jin. He even sang to her. Even if Su Yanbing didn't say a word, Lu Jinian still chattered incessantly beside her without getting tired. She saw the birthmark behind her ear. Xiao Jin called herself Sister Cloud. He said his parents would definitely come to rescue him. Later, on the way the traffickers intended to transport them out. At that time, I will definitely have his parents send him back home. They had a chance to flee. Xiao Jin and Ling bravely took her along to escape. But Zui Zi discovered it in time and chased after them. Xiao Jin hid herself for protection. She single-handedly diverted the traffickers. She watched him fall off a cliff with her own eyes. Singing, right? Su Yanbing thought he was dead. Now he is alive and still loves himself. At that moment, she felt a sense of revenge. Nothing is more important than being with Xiao. I woke up to the sound of the door opening this morning. I was startled awake by Yan's opening the door. Su Yanbing glanced at me before entering the room. I'm here to discuss something with you. I put on a gentle look in my eyes, looking at Bing's somewhat tired appearance. Let you show a little. A deep, affectionate gaze. Su Yanbing locked eyes with my affectionate gaze. That feeling of urgency suddenly felt blocked. I noticed her about to speak. What is it? Shu Yan Xiaojin. In the end, she still opened up. I'm here to talk to you about divorce. Divorce. My chest tightened. All drowsiness vanished. You doubted you heard it wrong. Divorce. The GU family collapsed overnight. Su Yanbing wants me to experience this. It's like falling from the clouds into hell. Su Yanbing looked at me with disbelief. It was a name. But thinking of Xiaojin, she could only ignore that fleeting image. Divorce. A forced fruit is not sweet. I know you like me. But I never liked you. She's here. She came ready with her knives for revenge. She got her revenge. I secretly pinched myself hard. That kindness you showed me before. There is affection. Song Ji-yu has a liking for Lu. Only then did I hurt myself to the point of red eyes. I feel that the pain of being dumped has to be portrayed convincingly. This way, Su Yan can feel the thrill of revenge. Only then can I get a divorce smoothly. Su Yan's eyes turned red. It felt as if there were hands pulling at her heart. A thread of wealth began to emerge. She was trapped in her own desires. It was Ji-yu Haoming who was wrong for forcing the marriage first. She gritted her teeth, suppressing her inner feelings. But thinking of Xiao Jin, your past kindness doesn't hold up against the past skeletons. To get back at you for forcing me to marry before. From beginning to end, I only had protection for you. I thought it would fast forward so quickly. It reached the original ending of the story. My fingers clenched as if I couldn't stand steady. Biting her lip, looking so sad she couldn't speak. Su Yanbing handed over the tightly clenched divorce agreement. I originally planned to deal with the GU family. I'll let you be left with nothing before divorcing. But I really don't want to be with you anymore. Let's wipe the slate clean of our grievances. If you divorce now, I won't get involved with the GU family anymore. Taxi. I can leave the marriage without touching the GU family. It's all due to lack of common sense. Move. Fingers trembled as I took the divorce agreement. Putting on a sad act, a few tears fell. Written in black and white on paper. The room. Su Yanbing looked on. My heart feels as if it has been pierced by a sword again. A sharp pain suddenly struck. I suddenly lifted my tear-filled gaze to look at her. My eyes were shen de, filled with emotions, sorrow, and confusion. Carrying confusion, lost in thought. In just a few short seconds, it felt like our past was replaying in my mind. Struggling to speak, I could barely get a word out from my throat. After finishing, I bit my lip and picked up the pen. I signed my name on the divorce agreement. Su Yanbing lowered her gaze to the signed divorce agreement. VIVZ. There was no thrill of revenge in my heart, nor any joy at the end of this marriage. Instead, there was a kind of indescribable anxiety. Su Yanbing stiffly accepted it with her fingers. My tears were welling up in my eyes. The paperwork. Just let me know when the time comes. Bing looked at me, tears about to fall. She was holding back her sadness, desperately trying not to cry. My throat felt as if it were being choked by an invisible hand. But thinking of Xiao Jin, she tightened her grip on the divorce agreement. Let's do it today. I suddenly thought of Lu Jinian. It seems that it was all Lu Jinian's fault. I want to have him quickly. I was overjoyed inside. Eyes showing on the surface. Ask the car on the surface. Limited on the surface. A word that is difficult. 1. Catch a small goal. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. After saying that, I turned around with my back to her. There was not a trace of sadness or sorrow on her face. Yan looked at my moving shoulder, thinking of her crying face. The pain was uncontrollable like a mountain. I gripped the divorce agreement tightly in my hand. Pick it up again. Waiting for you inside. I can also get into Su Yanbing's car. All Su Yanbing's car sales. The car's place. Welcome. It will definitely be done. Hearing the sound of the room, I suddenly burst out laughing. The GU family won't go bankrupt anymore. I also want to regain my freedom. Enjoying a wonderful single life now. This time, Su Yanbing did not go back on her word. 3 hours later, after the two finished the formalities, they came out one after the other from the Civil Affairs Bureau. I didn't dare to show happiness in front of Su Yanbing. I always looked lost and deeply affected. There was no conversation the whole way. I kept my head down and walked out. I didn't expect Su Yanbing to suddenly stop in front of me. I almost bumped into her. I looked up and met Su Yanbing's deep and somber gaze. What kind of look is that? Seeing me so sad and miserable. It's not painful enough yet. I won't give Su Yanbing the chance to speak first. I know you hate me. I won't disturb you anymore in the future. You're causing trouble in your life. I will keep my distance from you. I hope you can also follow through on your words. Let the GU family go. I will come on time in a month. After I finished speaking, I walked in the opposite direction of Su Yanbing's car. Afraid that if I took any longer, I would reveal the traces of my hidden happiness. Ming Yanbing watched my departing figure. It's like slowly stepping into my own world. It's clearly something worthwhile. But soon her hand. I saw the words, Little Jin, on the screen. Her gaze instantly became warm. Only Lu Jinian remained in my mind. I have been enjoying a bright future all the way. Returned to the hotel happily. Treated the entire crew to drinks. Marong Yan showed a hint of curiosity. You look happy today. I smiled widely. How can I not be happy about filming a new drama? I no longer have to deal with Su Yanbing. I will no longer be shut out by her. I hate the damn 30-day cooling off period. I hate that I have to wait another 30 days to get the divorce certificate. Finally becoming single. Otherwise, I will definitely go to the club and celebrate tonight. Without Su Yanbing's interference. Working overtime on the new drama. It was finished in a week. Plus Marong Yan's promotion. Marong Yan and I are trending again. In the hospital, Lu Jinian lay against the hospital bed. Looking at the trending topics, it was about to be fully occupied by me and Marong Yan. The comment section was full of people shipping us too. His expression changed again and again. Once this preview came out, I stole all the limelight from Lu Jinian. This is the so-called protagonist Halo. So even if Lu Jinian took Lil Jin's identity, because he isn't the real protagonist, Su Yanbing isn't as nice to him as she is in the book. Although Su Yanbing comes to see me every day during this time. Be true to oneself. But the package is quite different. Lu Jinian keeps. Don't believe he can't change a single word. Lu Jinian sent a message to Su Yanbing. Sister Yunel. The doctor said I'm recovering well. I can be discharged from the hospital tomorrow. In another VIP room. Today is Shi's birthday party. Over a dozen men and women gathered around a table. It was quite lively. Su Yanbing sat quietly in the corner, drinking. Every second of those 20 seconds is a kiss scene between Mu Rong Yan and me. The lively noise beside her didn't affect her at all. Seeing the brightened phone screen. It was a message from Lu Jinian. Su Yanbing put down her wine glass and replied to him. Then I'll pick you up tomorrow. After sending, she was about to put her phone away. I saw that the trending topic was Mu Rong Yan and Jiu Hao Ming dining together. My name stood out remarkably. After a brief pause, Su Yanbing still clicked in. It contains quite a few segments. She opened one. They're highlights edited by fans. In the clips. I keep eating and eating. No translation needed. Context unclear. I don't care at all about my image. My appetite and mood seem exceptionally good. Occasionally, I can hear Mu Rong Yan's voice. Su Yanbing glanced at the trending list again. Only then did I realize that the trending topic was almost taken over by Mu Rong Yan and me. Su Yanbing opened the preview stock. Open black lens bracket seeing just 30 seconds in. Not sure what she was thinking. But in the end, she still stayed time and again. She raised her glass and drank it all at once. This past week, she looked as if she were possessed by a group. He would think of me when he got home. He would think of me at the company too. Clearly, those memories were all a play she put on to get back at me. Yet I would always think of him when I saw something. But every time I went to the hospital to see Xiao Jin, I clearly kissed Jiu Haoming. I clearly liked Xiao Jia. I would unintentionally think of him again. Yet there was no expected affection. Instead, he would inexplicably think of me. Thinking of Jiu Haoming being frightened by me, even gritting his teeth in anger. In an instant, I could give a shocked fake smile and act obedient. Remembering Ji Yu Haoming's affectionate gaze at me, I even wondered if I was feeling sad right now. Many times I felt the urge to contact me. My heart suddenly became restless and hard to bear. She felt she had gotten too deeply involved. She forced herself to step out. I didn't expect Sister Yanbing to have a day of reminiscing about someone. Seeing my intimate scenes with Mu Rongyan, it was like a needle poking into Su Yanbing's eyes. Lin Xinyao was bored over there now. I came over and saw Su Yanbing staring blankly at the photo of me. Couldn't help but tease her. But a week has passed. Liking someone is not a minor affair. You can stay here with us. But don't deceive yourself. Su Yanbing looked up at her. How do you all think I like Ji Yu Haoming? Ask yourself honestly. You've been coming here to drink almost every night this week. Is it because of him? Su Yanbing's fingers stiffened. At that moment, the phone rang. Su Dan initially thought I was just playing around by going to shoot a movie. I saw the trending topic online about me and Mu Rongyan. The sense of tension instantly rose. Quickly call your daughter. Why aren't you keeping an eye on Haoming while he's filming? Look at him getting close with other women. Hurry and get him to come back. The family doesn't lack this little bit of hunger. Letting him continue to film like this. Your husband is already someone else's husband. Because they have not yet obtained the divorce certificate. Neither of them told their parents about the divorce. Su Yanbing started counting the rankings. Su Yanbing was just being dismissive. Hang up the phone. Just raise the wine glass to drink. Hearing Lin Xinyao beside her, the voice of Marong Yan came through the phone. Thank you, Aunt Chin, for the carnival. The number of online viewers in the livestream reached 100,000. Chin Shujun trended on social media, went into the livestream to recharge at the first opportunity, and self-disclosed their identity. In just a few minutes, a crowd of onlookers gathered. Marong Yan is also aware that Chin Shujun is my mother. Connected with him right away. Aunt, can you hear me? Chin Shujun was requested by Marong Yan to connect. I can hear you, I can hear you. I heard Mom's voice. Only then did I walk to the screen. What gift did you give her? Marong Yan became unhappy. Aunt giving me gifts shows that she likes me. This goes without saying. Chin Zhao Zhen said with a smile. I am a fan of Xiao Yan. I give her gifts. I am high on it. You aren't even live streaming. Mom gives you gifts too. Finished replying. Isn't that just wasting half the money? Marong Yan happily replied. Aunt, if you like me, I'm very happy. No need to give me gifts. Chin Shujun said with a smile. Aunt's little gesture. Hao Ming's first time shooting. It must have been a hassle for you to take care of him on set. Come over for dinner when you have time in the future. Aunt will make you delicious food. Marong Yan immediately agreed. You're really not being polite at all. Marong Yan glanced at me. Mom interrupted. Xiaoyan, don't pay attention to what he thinks. Lin Xinyao deliberately made sure only Su Yanbing could hear. I can't see the screen. After the call ended, I looked at her curiously. You wouldn't be getting a divorce from Ji Yu Haoming, would you? Su Yanbing stood up with a cold gaze. She went straight home. The internet is flooded with news about me. Su Yanbing always thought that the divorce would affect me. I would be sad and upset, unable to eat or sleep. But from the photos, it seems like my face seems to have some. I look confident and radiant overall. The comment section is no longer filled with mockery of me. Everyone is praising me. Ji Yu Haoming repeatedly claims to love Su Yanbing. But after the divorce, he seems completely unaffected. Instead, he seems to be getting better and better. Yet I clearly don't like him but still care about him. Recently, if you can avoid staying in Zhangcheng, then don't stay there. Marong Yan also finished her live stream. Back in my room, I habitually picked up my phone. Suddenly, I scrolled to see a comment from someone in the city. That's when I thought about Zhangcheng. To welcome an upheaval of a higher level. In the book, Lu Jinian left Zhangcheng 2 days later. As a result, she encountered the upheaval. Su Yanbing rushed over. The original character hated Lu Jinian for this. So someone was hired to beat him up. Now the main storyline has changed. Lu Jinian has a fracture. It definitely won't be good. But the upheaval will still arrive as scheduled. I was considering whether to mention something. I know better than anyone how to talk about such things. No one would believe it anyway. But it's like rending vibrant lives. I ultimately decided to bring it up. I replied to this netizen from Zhangcheng. I've been studying the stars at night recently. There will be a major upheaval in Zhangcheng in the next couple of days. For the sake of safety, I had my fill of food and drink. Then I privately messaged the mainstream media in Zhangcheng. There may be one in Zhangjiang City. The speculation about a big earthquake told them. After posting, I put my phone away and went to sleep. I woke up and it was already past 8. I opened my phone and found it was because of last night's reply. This is not a big deal for me. Everyone should still pay special attention to some things. I didn't expect that all my good intentions would be interpreted as his own intentions. I got criticized and made it to trending topics. Their malice is increasing now. By then, their impression of me will get better. I might as well take advantage of this wave of attention. Posted another Weibo update. I have no malice towards Zhangcheng at all. On the contrary, I really like Zhangcheng. I've noticed some abnormalities in Zhangcheng recently. In the next 2 or 3 days, everyone basically took it as just a joke. Being a bit cautious isn't a bad thing. You guys agree, right? Ji-Yu Warner immediately messaged me after seeing my Weibo post. Ji-Yu sent me a message. You are now a public figure. How can you make a joke about predicting an earthquake online? I told Ji-Yu Warner directly. I said I truly have a feeling that Zhangcheng will have some upheaval. Do you believe me? I watched as the other person was continuously typing. They sent me another message. It's not a bad idea to be cautious. These past couple of days, the Daily Necessities Company. The company is preparing a batch of relief supplies. I took a 2-day vacation. I originally wanted to go home. but I haven't received the divorce certificate yet. At this time, returning home means not going to Su Yanbing's place. My parents will definitely notice something. I'm afraid there will be more complications regarding the divorce. I've decided to tell them once I get the divorce certificate. But over here, Mom and Dad went to the hospital for their regular health checkups. They ran into Su Yanbing. Su Yanbing was helping Lu Jinian come out of the hospital. Lu Jinian's mother was following behind with some luggage. It looked exactly like someone. Dad's face immediately changed with anger. He walked towards them. Mom looked at Su Yanbing helping Lu Jinian. The expression is not good at all. Watching that little boy who protects her feeling wronged because of her. The man you take care of at home. Is this how you bully my son? Free to bully her son. Lu Jinian immediately panicked and explained. Aunt, it's not what you think. Qin Shujun thought about her son insisting on acting. In an instant, I imagined it to be. Because Bing likes this little star. Want to please her by acting in a play. Are you being too much? So they think it's normal to be with married women. Tugging and pulling is an extremely normal thing. Lu Jinian could only look at Yan Shui. Sister Cloud, let me go. Causing misunderstandings for uncle and aunt. Lu Jinian's leg is broken, he can't stand at all. Shu Yan can go public. My son is working hard filming outside. Coldly looked at my parents. Qin Shujun looked at Lu Jinian and said softly. Sister Yunduo calls out quite affectionately. You should cut ties with him completely right now. Don't blame Sister La. It's me being unilaterally in love with her. I want to be with her. It's me shamelessly clinging to her. She is just a bit adorable. I have never been able to do things like that. Ji Yu Wanner, who parked the car, stood in front of Su Yanbing. He tugged at his lips while looking at her. Why don't you bring him home? Su Yanbing looked at Ji Yu Wanner and sneered. Have you been wanting me to divorce all along? Ji Yu Wanner looked back at her, unwilling to concede. I don't wish for Hao Ming and you to divorce. Am I supposed to support you while you eat from the bowl and look at the pot? Su Yanbing. Lu Jinian stepped forward and explained. Either divorce Hao Ming. Su Yanbing coldly tugged at her lips, unwilling to back down. What gives you the right? You think you have that kind of status? I wonder how many bowls of rice you've eaten at home. You don't think you're part of the Ji Yu family, do you? Ji Yu Dongguo slapped Su Yanbing across the face. She was so angry her face turned red. Lu Jinian immediately got anxious and his eyes turned red. Sister Yun, are you alright? Su Yanbing shot Ji Yu a grim look. She helped Lu Jinian and walked away. Sister Yun, I'm sorry. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have been misunderstood. Su Yanbing looked at him darkly. Why did you just? Did I say something wrong? Lu Jinian just said he liked her and was clingy to him. These things only make people. Su Yanbing thought about what Lu Jinian looked like as a child. She didn't want to think about the past negatively. She glanced at him before speaking again. It was just her overthinking. But why does she look at Lu Jinian like that? I only feel trapped inside. All I feel is frustration and irritability. I dropped Lu Jinian off at his place. Yan was left surprised. She borrowed some time to handle something at the company and left. Sitting in the car, Su Yanbing opened our WeChat chat. The divorce paperwork has been processed. And then she never sent another message. My finger lingered on the screen for quite a while. Eventually, Su Yanbing decided to send me a message. I want to see you now. I received a call from Qin Shujun. She said Ji Yu Dongguo was hospitalized. I was on my way back. I saw the message Su Yanbing sent him. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Did he drink a bit? He even sent the wrong message. Shu Yan replied. I sent it to the wrong person. Are you coming back or should I come find you? My eyelids twitched. We have completed the divorce procedures. Our faces are already torn apart. Our relationship is no longer something that can be seen. If you have something, just leave it here. Su Yanbing didn't reply to me anymore. I thought about how she had disappeared for many days. Suddenly contacted me and suggested meeting. I have an inexplicable bad feeling. In the hospital ward, Qin Shujun was both angry and worried. In front of us, she had to be so justified. I underestimated Lu Jinian. I bullied him before. I still thought I misunderstood him. I realized he has always been after Su Yanbing. Ji Yu Wanner was sending me messages while comforting me. Not long ago. He no longer only sees Su Yanbing. He now has things he wants to do. He has his own life. Divorce. Leaving someone who doesn't love him. It might be a good thing. That's when I knew my father got sick because of Su Yanbing. Thinking about the book, he was so enraged by Su Yanbing that he had a brain hemorrhage. I started to feel a bit worried. After entering the hospital, I headed straight to the ward. I walked towards Ji Yu Dongguo, who was lying in the hospital bed. How did he suddenly get hospitalized? What did the doctor say? Ji Yu Dongguo was looking at me. Qin Shu Zhen was also looking at me. Ji Yu Wan was also looking at me. But no one spoke. I saw Qin Shu Zhen's eyes turn red. I thought Ji Yu Dongguo was very ill. So I stood up. You all didn't say anything. I went to ask the doctor. Ji Yu Dongguo looked at me, worried. Major matter. Floor. It's just that her high blood pressure flared up. I immediately laughed and said, she has high blood pressure. My mom is this worried. Tell me, what virtues do you have that make my mom love you so much? Zhen Shu Zhen's eyes became even redder. Did Qin Zhao Zhen's eyes get even redder? Who is worried about him? I'm worried about you. I eat well and sleep well every day. What do I have to worry about? Look at me smiling happily. Qin Zhao Zhen feels even more heartbroken. This is her own son. She knows best how much she loves Su Yanbing. Moreover, there were frequent trending topics about their love life recently. After Su Yanbing was good to him. I've completely changed. You and Yan have been quite close recently. They dare to flirt with other men confidently. Qin Zhao Zhen tentatively asked. But now Su Yan is in front of them. You with Yan. I glanced at him and then at Gu Dongguo. Just don't hide it from me anymore. I already know. It's her bad luck. Since she has already done this, I don't plan to continue with her either. Qin Shujun stepped forward and hugged me with concern. How Ming? Mom and Dad will always respect your decisions. Su Yanbing doesn't know how to cherish it. I had it figured out on the way back. As soon as Su Yanbing's name was mentioned, Gu Dongguo's anger flared up again. Wanner is just here for the salt today. Starting today, all cooperation with Qi. I stepped forward and said, Mom and Dad, don't worry, you guys. I've already figured it out. There are many things I want to do right now. Su Yanbing means nothing to me. It's just a foolish experience from my youth. An experience of hitting the wall without turning back. She will become a thing of the past. I comforted my parents well, and Gu Wanner left space for the couple. Then we went out together. Gu Wanner and I found a nearby restaurant to eat. This was our first time having dinner alone. I only focused on being the cook. Gu Wanner would glance at me from time to time. Her eyes seemed to contain words. I'm not foolish. I told my parents I wanted to divorce Su Yanbing. This gave Gu Wanner, the secret admirer, some hope. But she is also extremely self-aware. Such a deep and mature woman. If I weren't clear about Gu Wanner's feelings, she has always been in love with the original. The one who, even after doing so many outrageous things, still deeply loves the original. I can't help but be moved. When we were halfway through the meal, my phone went off. Su Yanbing sent me a message again. I'm at the door of the private room now. If you don't come out, I'm going in. I want to reply with a curse. As expected, my intuition was right. This dog woman wants to cause trouble again. I found an excuse to go out to the bathroom. I opened the door and saw Su Yanbing. I was a bit surprised. To be with the one you love. Why do you still look so haggard? Is taking care of Lu Jinian too hard? I was a bit impatient. Strong, huh? What do you need from me? Su Yanbing's gaze flickered slightly. She reached out and pulled me into a nearby private room. I looked at her with impatience. The divorce paperwork has been in process for a week. You'll regret it. Realizing you've fallen in love with me. Su Yanbing stared at me with a mocking face. It was very glaring. How Ming? Don't talk to me with that attitude. I immediately scoffed. So what attitude do you want? Don't forget. You said it. You never liked me. I just want to sign and divorce you. Everything in the past is wiped out. It's been a week since we last met. Su Yanbing looked at the man right in front of her. My heart surged with turmoil for a long time. She came to find me to confirm something. It was only at this moment that she realized. I had unknowingly moved into her heart long ago. So when she saw me laughing with another woman, only love for her would cause discomfort. Seeing me about to shoot a kiss scene with another woman, all the torment she inflicted on me, was merely an excuse for wanting deep affection in my eyes. The acts she played with me, were truly what she wanted to do with me. Su Yanbing fell silent for a moment, pursed her lips and spoke. I regret it. Smelling a scent. You must think. I don't want a divorce anymore. I suddenly felt like thunder on a clear day. Why? I was so angry I gritted my teeth, previously playing with my feelings. When I thought you loved me, you forced me to divorce. To cruelly hurt me. Now I've finally managed to move on. You said you regretted and didn't want a divorce. Do you think you haven't had enough revenge? Wanting to take revenge on me once again. Su Yanbing recalled the things she said to me before. I could only lower my head and say softly, no, it's not. Hearing that, I was so angry I laughed. It's not revenge. Did she really fall in love with me? My mocking expression was particularly glaring. Su Yanbing couldn't say a word. Her silence seemed like tacit approval in my eyes. I don't even believe my toes. Laughed again. As if I saw the funniest joke in the world. Do you think I have no brains? Especially easy to deceive. Su Yanbing stepped forward and hugged me directly. I stared at her without moving. Let her kisses fall. There's a slight sound in the private room. My chaotic breathing grew heavier. In the end, Su Yanbing pushed me away once again. Her eyes were filled with suppressed turmoil to the extreme. Her complexion was extremely poor. I confirmed once again that she still found me disgusting. I looked at her with confusion. She was so close to Lu Jinian that they were tugging at each other in public. Why did she suddenly come back pretending to love me? I really could hardly bear it. I slapped Su Yanbing across the face. Su Yanbing. It was me who pressured for marriage back then. But I have also received the lessons and torment I deserved from you. Isn't that enough to offset your resentment? Does that make you want to deceive me again? Su Yanbing didn't expect me to hit her. She looked at me, and then at my reddened eyes. Remembering my previous deep affection, Su Yanbing's unpleasant expression softened. This time I'm not lying to you. I used a bit of acting. But seeing Su Yanbing endure it with just one slap shows her acting skills. Checkbox with check. Instantly feeling inferior. Do you think I'm blind? Su Yanbing's gaze momentarily faltered. I didn't. For the first time, Su Yanbing felt she had no words to argue back. How Ming? You trust me. She doesn't understand why there is still disgust. But it's definitely not because of the tax policy. Maybe it's because the desire for revenge was too heavy before. The hatred is too strong. The celebration is intense. It was just a formed instinctive reaction. I coldly laughed in response. A week ago, you said with your own mouth that you never loved me. Everything is an act. You and Lu Jinian this morning. Pulling and tugging caused my dad to be hospitalized. The disgust in your eyes is so obvious. Now you say you like me. Are you a chameleon? So changeable. Su Yanbing just looked at me deeply. How Ming? Whether you believe it or not, I won't even divorce you. My heart suddenly choked painfully. Su Yanbing. I no longer love you. I stopped loving you the moment we started the divorce process. You forcefully keep me by your side. It will only make me hate you. Su Yanbing felt as if her heart was being squeezed by someone. I can only struggle helplessly. The annoying type. She doesn't believe in the 7 years of deep love. How Ming can let go of everything in a week. What is going on here? Clearly, her progress with the male lead has made a qualitative leap. Why are you still trying to discuss me? Is it because I didn't die like in the book? Achieving the effect she wants. Only my death would satisfy her. I'm just not myself. I feel irritable and restless. Su Yanbing firmly grabbed my hand and said, "Come home with me. I want to shake it off." Yet she pulled me even tighter. Su Yanbing looked at my unwillingness to go with her. I can only threaten. Her expression became distant. I gritted my teeth. My fists were clenched tightly. Su Yanbing saw that I finally stopped resisting. So she pulled me out the door. I need to get my phone. Only then did Su Yanbing stop at the door of the private room. You wait here. I'll go in and help you get it. I immediately refused. I'll go get it myself. Su Yanbing remained firm in her reply. We just talked about getting a divorce. In a flash, Su Yanbing appeared, pulling me along. I can imagine how sad Ji Yuaner must feel upon seeing this. I clenched my teeth. Su Yanbing pushed open the private room door. Ji Yuaner saw her. Her expression instantly dropped. Don't forget about the video in my hand. Su Yanbing's eyes darkened. Come and get something for Hao Ming. Ji Yuaner stood up. I was with another man this morning. Now you're here trying to curry favor again. No one is as good at time management as you are. Su Yanbing looked at her, her gaze sharp. Two equally stunning and perfectly shaped women. Four eyes met. There was a palpable competition between rivals in love. Su Yanbing saw through Ji Yuaner's thoughts and replied, "You want me to get a divorce? Unfortunately, I have no intention of divorcing Hao Ming." Ji Yuaner's fingers clenched tightly, unable to endure any longer. Su Yanbing, if you have the capability, just don't threaten him. Su Yanbing retorted, you really have to be capable. Why don't you marry Hao Ming? In these 2 years, Ji Yuaner has seen me being targeted by Su Yanbing, tortured into becoming less and less like herself. She regrets it at every moment. Hit where it hurts. Ji Yuaner directly stepped forward to grapple with Su Yanbing. I pushed open the door to the private room and walked in. I saw two people fighting.